Practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums. This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetic and modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing.
Me?
Want you to smoke the natural herb.
Sweet.
Some call it marijuana.
Sweet.
Some call it sesame.
Sweet.
Some call it lamb spread.
The tea.
And some people call it
done show. There we go, baby.
Hey man, I only got 2 hands, 7 things.
I'm your host, Adam Dunn,
I'm Dave Charnick.
and we are live in the studio. Full studio today. We got lots.
We have a waiting room.
We have a waiting room. We have an endless amount of guests coming through. But we're going to start off right out of the gate with our buddy Vince.
Hi.
Cadlebec from
Hello.
Did you pronounce that right? Cadlebec, right?
Yeah. Did it. Nailed it.
Cadlebec. Yes, I got it now. After 3 shows, I can figure it out.
Yeah.
I think I totally fucked it up on the first one, but I can fuck this right out of the gate. So I got Dr. Joshua T Goodwin from here in Colorado.
The T stands for totally awesome.
From Operation True North, and coming in with Vince. So they're out gallivanting. I'm sure after an incredible night at the Meow Wolf, which I totally missed, which I was bummed, but at the same time, was no way I was driving all the way up to come back home and then make it.
Can we just qualify it too? There are plenty of us that missed it. Some were there in honor of Mr. Cadlebec, but it started at 10 o'clock, man. Okay? Some of us are asleep easily 45 minutes before 10 o'clock rolls around.
Bro,
you know.
You got to dig down deep where champions
Got to go
are
deep.
born. You know what I mean?
There's no champion here, buddy. You don't listen to the show. There's no champion here. I'm mediocre at best. Okay.
You want people to remember your name. You
I
gotta dig down
strive
deep.
for mediocrity. I let him be the
You almost
extreme.
get there too. So close.
A few more weeks, I think I might.
You're just
achieve
below
it.
the threshold of mediocrity. Yeah. But we also have Jenn Doe coming through with her crew, or their crew meaning one other person, but and they're here checking out maps, which was going on all week. Cece's been working it, and it has, it's funny too, because it's like when you bring that many psychedelic sort of, influence people together, you'd expect it to be off the Richter, but it's not. It's completely the opposite when you get there. Everyone's just like,
Oh, I know.
so chilled out because, it's like,
I don't know where you were walking. Where I was walking, I saw some hipsters, man, that really needed dance safe or, what do we call it back in the day, cahoots or whoever it was.
Yeah.
They went hard early and you could see it. There were very few of them, but there were a couple of them there. I mean, it was 100 degrees today. The sun was baking, and there were people lying on the grass in front, just fully just taking it in. You're gonna need a little enhancement to make that a thing right now. I would think.
I used to call them hippies, but this lawyer was like, we like to call them legacy users.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, that works for me. Yeah.
I like that.
I got to work on my vocabulary.
Kids change the nomenclature. Legacy user.
That's right.
Anybody calls me a hippie again, we got a problem.
I mean, legacy is getting kind of rinsed out, though, isn't it? Jesus Christ. Every industry's now got
Wait,
the new
you said
legacy.
legacy and Jesus Christ in the same thing? Come on.
I did. We also have author Joe Dolce coming in, too. He is back in town now. He's writing a book about modern psychedelics and a handbook for people to kind of get people in microdosing and moving their way up into macrodosing. We're moving their way up to macrodosing. But
where you should be anyway.
Exactly. And Joe's awesome. He wrote another book called Brave New Weed, and I met him back in the day in Amsterdam. Came to the Cup, and he was doing his investigating for the book, and I said, well, I'm moving to Denver. You can come check me out there. And he came to Denver, and he sat in the green room at the Hood Lab with all the craziness around him, and he was watching people do dabs and trying, what is this? And it was funny because he'd just sit in the corner, and then people would come in and they'd be like, who's that? And I'd be he's writing a book. Just do what you do, you know what I mean? And so
he's just observing.
And then I got to give him his first dab, and then carry him up the stairs
He was
after his
lit.
dab. You know, he's like, he got to the hotel. He's like, oh, he was like, he was crawling up the stairs. You know what I mean? So I got
must
to,
be so proud.
It was good. No, it was perfect. I was like, yeah, you got to do it. I was like, you got to do it for the book, man. You got to do
Yeah.
it. So, and it's funny because he kind of is following after kind of Pollock's style. You know what I mean? Like he's breaking down the stigmas and he's showing it from a, you know, a curious author's point of view instead of it being just like, you know, a stoner trying to write a book about weed is usually not the best book.
When
know?
you say it's Pollock-esque, are you saying that the book will show up under blacklight or something?
Not that
like
Pollock. I'm not talking about.
Oh,
Pollen.
I'm talking about the author from the book from.
How to Change Your Mind?
Yeah.
Michael Pollan.
Oh, Pollan. Sorry, you mean Pollock. Yeah, Pollan. He's the first guy that ever interviewed me back in the day, which was pretty.
What,
awesome.
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Because he was working for New York Times. He came over to
hell
Amsterdam
yeah.
and interviewed me, and then later on, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that was great. It was, yeah, it was perfect."
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That dude changed the game.
for sure. So yeah, we still have Joe coming in, and who knows? You never know. This is that kind of week when I have a feeling after the show's over down there, they're going to be coming through.
Oh, yeah.
To see what's going down.
And let's thank, shout out to Fungi Farms, who sent along a chocolate bar for Vince.
Yes. Thank you. Beautiful
to,
packaging. Lovely branding.
Yeah, and so you want to hit up Fungi Farms with a Z.com and tell him you heard about it on the Adam Dunn Show. He'll take very good care of you.
And you know what Vince says? It's good packaging. It must be.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
He loves colors and put
Oh,
things
yeah.
together.
It's awesome.
You're talking about the guy who put the R in rave.
That's it. I mean, hard R.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Just tripping balls.
So it, and we'll get to the whole rave thing because we've talked about that for a little. But something we barely touched upon until I told myself to shut up and save it for the show. But you reminded me when we were driving over here and we were talking about you going to Meow Wolf last night, and you're a very recognizable figure in the psychedelic community.
Yeah.
And my question was, holy shit, what did your pockets look like before the end of the night with everybody walking up? Because people walk up to him everywhere we go and like, oh, you got to take this nug, smell this, I grew this with the stuff you said too, and I used that and the other thing, and you really, if you accepted everything, you've got bags of shit. So I just wonder what's the highlight?
Well, I'm also an executive officer at the company that is hosting the event. So I have to, also play it cool. No, the highlight event in that regard is actually getting to meet the folks who run the Shulgin Labs, which I don't know if you know about Sasha Shulgin and the Shulgin work and, pioneering, MDMA and TCB.
My favorite book back in the day was just going through T-Call and P-Call.
Yeah,
and I
just
was
T-Call and
like,
P-Call.
I was just like, ah.
Yeah. And so like his protege, like being, providing things directly from their lab that was really magical. So, of course, I didn't take any of it.
Of course not.
I was completely sober last night.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course you were.
High on life.
Yeah.
Now there's certain names attached to certain things, and when you hear Shulgin, you're like, ding, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, we
Yeah.
are down. I love the fact that he, the whole reason why people love him so much is the fact that he would, try every single analog, and write it down. And,
Totally.
And it was just great. It was like that was, and that was funny when he wrote that too. It was like such a crazy time period too. It was like, we had that little moment where it was legal and everything was like cool for that minute, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the hammer comes down, and then it's like you just realize like, he made such a huge impact at that moment. And I was living in Florida at the time, and it's like I graduated in '87, so it was just like right at that transition.
Totally.
Like it just finished down there. It was kind of like it was, but you knew it was coming from the exact, and it was
Yeah.
totally different analog compared to when I got to Amsterdam and then was there, and I could really see the difference between, it was like way different,
Yeah. No, and doing it all out of this, like, I got a chance to visit the property a couple years ago, and it's like this. It is a shack. Like this chemistry lab is in a little tiny side shack of the house, and just him and his wife, him and Anne in there. Just, it's like such an amazing story.
It's got the full on, like, it is the lab that looks like the lab of your nightmares almost. Like even though it's like it is everything that you'd think.
Oh, totally.
Like it's nothing sterile about it at all. It's stuff like, and it's like it's funny because it reminds me of so many grows I've been to also, where you're just like, those are the ones that, and kitchens too. Those are the ones that produce the best shit because they're not. It's all sterilized and perfect, you know what I mean? Like they're all of a sudden just like there's a patina on everything, you know what I mean? And everything has a little seasoning going on. And so from the lab point of view, I think he had the same deal.
I loved it because when we rolled in, it's so loud and it's fluid, and so I didn't really know who he was or any of the context. And so we kind of start moving around, and he and I ended up together, me and Paul, and we had this beautiful conversation, just connected with him as a human being with no context professionally in any way. And I was like, man, I hope I'm as cool as you are one day. And then I had no idea professionally even what he was doing. He's just a beautiful human being altogether, and it was fun.
That's
was
awesome.
really
It's
fun.
like when you hang out with so-called famous people or whatever, and this is like I for the most part, try not to like talk about their shit that everyone talks about because it's like it's like oh really, okay, unless you really fucking are deep, if you got deep cut, that's gonna fucking rattle their brain or something like that, sure. But if it's just like that kind of classic thing they've heard a million times, just like treating them normal, and then you can find out the real things.
I mean, you just want to ask the question: Almond Joy or Mounds? I mean, how normal are you?
It's a pretty easy answer.
Both.
Oh yeah.
It's clearly almond joy.
I was gonna say
Of
Almond
course,
Joy. Almond
of course.
It's like
Not me. I'm trying to go both.
Are you Team Mounds over here?
No, I'm both.
he's
No, there is no both because it becomes an Almond Joy.
Bro, this is America.
He's
It
conflict.
Okay.
becomes an Almond Joy. You add
No.
Mounds to Almond Joy. You just have less almonds on an Almond Joy,
No,
but it's
no.
still Almond Joy.
It's the same as M&M versus. Oh, sorry, shit. I should turn this shit off. My bad.
Amateur.
Hold on, clutch your pearls, Adam.
Ruined the whole production.
That thing in military, when someone drops their weapon, they make you drop with it and do a bunch of push-ups. We have to start
I have
doing
no
that.
idea.
Wait, drop your
Your
what?
phone, you have, like if you drop your weapon, like it just falls over.
Drop
They
your
say-
weapon.
Yeah, they say drop with it. Like so, you got to get down and do a bunch of push-ups. So you look ridiculous. We'll start doing that when the phone goes off.
Are you still
Give
in the
me 10.
military after you drop your weapon?
You take the boy out of the military, but you can't take it out of the boy, or whatever they say.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that since you're. We never had you on the show. We've had Vince. He's old news now. Right?
Dude, this guy, so he reaches out to me on LinkedIn, and he's just like, I'm starting a psychedelic assisted therapy clinic up in Colorado, and I'd really like to meet you. And then he says, I promised you it will be worth your time. And he's like, I'll come down to Santa Fe, and I promise you it will be worth your time. And, I get hit up a lot of messages and stuff, but for whatever reason, his got through. And
Sounds like us.
yeah,
Squeaky wheel syndrome. It
Yeah.
works. See,
And so I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, come down on Thursday. And it was like Sunday when he reached out. And then Monday goes by. He's like, okay, cool, I'm coming. Are we still on? And I ghosted him. And it was because I was busy. And then Tuesday happens. Hey, so I'm still planning on coming. Like, what's going on? Ghosted him. Didn't get back to him. Wednesday night. I'm coming down tomorrow still. Are we on? And I was like, oh, shit, dude. Like midnight. I was like, yeah, we're on. And we get to, we have a 1 o'clock lunch. And fucking big wig, Vince business dude is like on a phone call with a board member at 1 o'clock for 45 minutes, leave him hanging in the restaurant for 45 minutes. So I like ghosted him for 4 days and then left him hanging for 45 minutes after our lunch. And I walk in and have this lunch with him. And he's like, cool as the other side of pillow, just fucking no problem at all that I was late, and starts to share his story, which talk about here. But like I was just like, damn, who is this guy? And it's like we need to like go deeper. So I invite him over to my house later on. He brings this amazing bottle of mezcal. We do some other things too, and just was like, wow, like who is this motherfucker? Like amazing story, So
Yeah. We hit it off, man. I felt like we'd always been friends. We were just going through the steps to catch it up. It was like that. And, you don't run into that very often, where you just connect with someone real fast. So it was fun.
No, it was similar experience. He's very, very approachable when you think about that he probably shouldn't be, but he is.
So tell them what you did in the military. It's not to say you're in the military. Like tell them what you did. Like
Oh, tell us what you're allowed to tell us.
Yeah. So,
I mean, tell them what you're not. I mean, he talks openly.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the format, right? Sometimes some things you can talk about.
Yeah. Okay.
So I spent 20 years in the military. The biggest part of that, working for the Office of Special Investigations. If you guys don't know what that is, it's the original Men in Black, right? So our organization did all the UFO stuff back in the 60s, and Project Blue Book.
Guess got better and better.
Yeah, we do all that.
I'm sorry, you said an hour. You can go.
I
He's
know, I
staying.
know.
He's staying for the whole thing.
I'm just gonna get high and enjoy this.
Yeah, they do all the research technology protection. It's all the Area 51 spooky stuff. But the organization is cool. We're a mixture between like FBI, CIA. We're federal law enforcement agents. I ended up doing most of that time. I was counter-espionage. I was a counter-espionage case officer. So I was a spy. And I'd go behind enemy lines, build human informant networks, put them in terror cells, work with special forces to get them killed and captured. No, I'm good, brother. I'll be sleeping back here cuddling you guys.
It's okay.
But yeah, so I, 6 tours in the war, over 1,000 days. I got blown up, couldn't walk for almost a week, some traumatic brain injury, Purple Heart. I just loved it, couldn't get enough
It's
of
like
it.
Afghanistan or which
Iraq and Afghanistan,
Okay.
both, yeah. And
Okay.
then
back
40.
back to back, pretty much.
Yeah, oh yeah. I traveled 200 days a year for the better part of 2 decades and over 40 countries. And,
They give
yeah.
you your lobster and steak or whatever.
Oh yeah, surf and turf for every Friday. Yeah, of course.
You're like, oh shit, we're going now. We're going.
Yeah.
It's happening.
That's right. Yeah, so that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Well, that's a lot of big. It's a big nutshell.
It's a big fucking nutshell.
Yeah.
I'd like that. I'd like to see that nut.
And you went in when you were like you started young and went in like
Yeah, I signed up at 17, and
Okay,
then
that's
right
young.
the day after I graduated high school, I left. Yeah,
Right. So and where you're coming from?
Texas.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah.
And then and so 20 years you said, and then
Mhm.
and then did you get because of all the different injuries
Mhm.
along the way, did you get taken care of on the way out? Or
I
was
did,
it-
yeah. So I did 20 years, and I retired, but I medically retired because it was just more beneficial. Like you come out with a disability already, and then instead of getting like 50% of your base pay, I get 70, and all this kind of stuff. And so my medical records are like 4,000 pages long, and it was kind of a better path for me. And we can talk more about it and kind of how we got here, but I was done.
What can you tell us about UFOs?
They're real.
Right to it. No foreplay.
Yeah.
No anything. Just
Yeah.
straight to it.
No, raw dog.
Let's hear. Okay, Vince.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
You're welcome anytime. You want to.
Yeah. Man, I could tell you all kinds of stuff about UFOs. Where you want to start?
At the beginning, that UFOs exist.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
They do exist.
Well, something's going on. Does anyone know what's going on?
I don't know. So I can tell you we don't know, right? Because these things are
We, as in like the government, the military, the people like yourself at the higher levels.
Yeah, I mean-
We are the Men in Black.
Yeah,
Yeah, Black don't know.
Yeah. Like I mean, of course, I had all the clearances and stuff, but they compartmentalize, right?
Yeah.
So you only need to know what you need to know, and on the investigation side, it's extremely difficult, right? So imagine, I don't know, some UFO comes over and turns off a nuclear silo, and some soldier sees it, and so you roll out to do the investigation. This is from a law enforcement standpoint. And you're like, so what happened? You're like, this disc came over and just turned everything off, and then it just blooped out of existence. Like, what the fuck do you do with that? Like, did you get a photo of it?
Hold on. Is
No.
it BLOOPED out of existence?
Bloop.
Is that the
just
technical?
fucking,
Okay.
yeah,
Good. Got
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
and
Write that down, Sarge.
Yeah.
It is blooped.
yeah,
Okay.
it blooped that way, and then you're like, okay, well, what do I do with that? And then, even if you got a picture of one of these things, and let's say there was some crazy ass writing on it. We all been to Meow Wolf. There's all kinds of crazy writing in that joint. So you don't know, like it could be an enemy, drone or something, and they're just disguising
What about
it.
that thing in Brazil? What's the deal with that? That ball.
The crash thing or what?
Yeah,
Which one?
They have this ball that's about that big.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
that.
they've got it,
Uh-huh.
and it has writing all over it,
Mm-hmm.
and it was floating. They have a video of it. It's kind of floating around. It kind of looks very like could be helium or something, because it's not doing anything crazy. It's not
Yeah.
pew pew pew. It's not doing right
Yeah.
angles or anything. It's kind of
Right.
like and
Yeah.
then you see it. It hits the ground. They pick it up.
Mhm.
Of course, what's first thing you do is like, oh yeah, Elliot thing, gotta go grab it.
Let's
Like,
touch it.
let's touch
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
touch
hold
it.
on.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. No, salty.
And
Yeah.
it has some like weird like seam on it, so that it's not. It's definitely not like, oh my god, that could never be made in a million years. You can fucking, especially with 3D printers now, they could pretty much come up with something you would never imagine could have ever been made on Earth. You know what I mean? Just with structures, but it does have anomalies about it. They've been, and they haven't opened it up yet. And I'm like, let's fucking open that bitch up. Let's see what's inside.
I mean, maybe they have. They just hadn't said anything. And
all the South American sort of UFO things are pretty weak though. Like they showed those little statue things; those look terrible. That was the lamest ever. You were just like, man, it's like somebody like dipped an Elmo doll in concrete or something. It had like nothing about it. Looked really.
I just want to say, Vince asked you if UFOs existed 3.5 minutes ago. You've dodged the question.
No, I said
He
they were
said
real.
away. He said right away.
I said right away.
I want to know, where do we go? Who knows what? How do we? What? I need a little more.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know. I mean, these things are so advanced. Again, like, unless one crashes and some little green man jumps out, it's like, hey, I'm Bob. I'm from Mars.
No, it's not Bob. It's Paul.
Paul too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's all that movie. Yeah, but you don't know, right? And so we don't know if it's enemy technology or what it is. If it's man-made or like, we just don't know. And so until you can do it, and the problem is like. And some of this, I gotta be careful what I say here, but like I heard a story about a UFO that was in another country, that likes to kick a little ass, and of course they want to shoot this fucking thing down, right? So as soon as the airplanes like lock into it, like Top Gun, it just turns them off. And then it bloops out of existence. Like
once again,
blooped again.
Bloop again.
Like, but again, like, what do you do with that? Like to the point they couldn't recover the airplanes. They had to like jump out or something. And so
they turned off the plane completely. Like it was like it shut down. Its
like it
engines,
didn't blow them up. Nothing.
No,
and
that's the beginning of the new Battlestar Galactica. When the Cylons come back and the Vipers are gone, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna Cylons coming in." They go. Boop, boop, and all the Vipers turn off, and they're just floating like, they're all gone.
Yeah, I guess just to sum it up, we don't know. Like at the ground level, there might be some weirdos, some 6 people in a basement somewhere that might know the full picture. The rest of us are stuck, doing the investigation and pulling in.
You heard it here. You heard it here first. There's 6 weirdos in a basement somewhere that know everything.
That would be my assumption.
I
that's
think
true for all things.
He gave it away.
That's true for all things.
We need to have AI search the database for any use of the word bloop.
Bloop.
And we track back, and that's how we're going to find where these
Maybe I'll start that trend now. That's a new scientific term.
Bloop.com.
UFO.
Remember, you have 24 seconds to buy it before they hear it.
So were you actually doing were you going physically to Area 51?
No, so like I said, I was a spy. And so, the reason we...
I don't know if you're allowed to say that.
He said it.
I can now because I'm retired.
How about that one guy that's on all the TV shows that's a spy?
Not a spy.
That looks like he's like some trendy dude with the big hair.
What is it that they say about James Bond? Everyone knows him, so he must be the worst spy.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm retired now, so I can talk a little bit more about that. But the reason, so this is why OSI got that Men in Black kind of fable. So back in the 50s and 60s, it's atomic era, Soviets, and we're all trying to race to get the bomb. And so at Area 51, we were building all the stealth aircraft, SR-71s and the B-2s, everything that we have today. We were working on that technology, and they were testing it out of there. And so there was something like 17,000 reports during Project Blue Book, and 11 or 12,000 of them were us.
Right.
And so we would show up just to see, making
Cool.
sure that our secrets aren't getting out. They're not taking pictures of our aircraft. And then, but there was something like, even back then, like 800 incidents that were just like, well, we don't know what this is. And if you look at some of their old stuff, it's like blurry photographs, and again, the farmers like, it went that way, took my cow and went that way or whatever. Yeah. And so again, the same problem was that, and the finding was there's no proof that these are extraterrestrial in nature or a threat to us in any way, or that was not man-made, because we couldn't prove it. It doesn't mean it's not what was happening. It's just. It's not what you know. What
well,
you
I mean, if
prove.
you go back to like 1990 and you compare it to now, and you look at the technology that we have, we've got some freaking pretty crazy advancements, which are like somebody somebody's talking to somebody somewhere. Like,
yeah.
just tell me the secret of how we're gonna do it, because it's like there's some shit that's happening now that you like.
Yeah.
Are like, dude, this is, if you thought of, like, if you went back into medieval times with a phone, you'd be like the most fucking amazing sorcerer in the world, right? It's like, and the fact that we're communicating like it ain't no big deal, and like, you know, I don't know. So okay,
Dude, if you had a phone like this in like 1999, you would be a sorcerer.
Yeah.
Like,
If you had a phone like this 5 years ago,
Yeah.
Okay.
What's funny is my friend Mark, he'd be out, and he went to Japan. I think it was around 97 or something like that, and maybe a little earlier, 97, 90, and he came back, and he was like, Adam, dude, you're a phone guy. Like, and this is back when I had the big Ericsson giant fucking block phone thing, and he was like, dude, they have cameras on the fucking phones, videos. It was like it was just at that time period where it was like, and I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, dude, it's crazy. And it was like, it was like stuff that nowadays people just be like, of course it has it. I mean, what are you kidding me? Like, you can get a burner phone that has all that for $40, you know?
Yeah. I heard
Hold on. I don't think we could use technology going backwards to prove anything to do with UFOs. I had this conversation with he
you
called
could.
himself a technologist. And what he said is that every bit of technology, you can just trace it back to actually when it, roll it backwards. There's no like, all of a sudden they handed us microchips before we had microchips. There was a progression all the way up.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
so I'm not saying it doesn't disprove the blooping theory.
Yeah.
But we can't roll that one back.
Well, let me ask you, what do you guys think they are?
Orbs.
Yeah, whatever Vinny said, I
Did you
agree.
say orbs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's orbs. There's craft. There's
Tic Tacs. There's like
there's all
some that are
kinds
like,
of shit.
yeah, there's all kinds. Yeah, there's all kinds.
Yeah.
We see
There
them
was
coming up
orbs.
out of the water and all kinds of
There
shit.
was
May-
orbs
maybe
out at
befo-
the hemp fields.
Maybe before we even answer what we think they are, we address the fact that how narrow would it be for us to actually think that with everything that has to happen to make life happen, and it not only happened once, but possibly like a dozen extinction events on this planet that have happened, and yet life still comes back, and we're just made of all the shit that's out there already. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's maybe the fact that we just don't have a car that's capable of getting there. But
yet.
they might.
Not yet.
What is technology for us here? 100 years old? Not even,
Yeah.
right? Since we were horse and buggy.
Yeah.
So
We only see 1%.
yeah, we don't. We're
Yeah.
totally unaware, and that ties back to psychedelics too, right? I personally think that you can tie almost every religion that has ever spawned itself from somebody having an encounter with some psychedelic substance and thinking outside the box, or and just, hey, I went up that mountain. You did, Moses. Tell me about that. Oh yeah, this bush caught fire, man, and talk to me. I mean, that's mushrooms.
Have you heard of the Immortality Key, the book?
No.
And so, yeah, it's great. The Immortality Key is like an archaeologist kind of like going back and being like, was there ergot, which is the precursor to LSD? Was there ergot in the sacrament, in the wine and beer from ancient times that they would drink and then have a connection with the divine? And it's like, he's like, yeah, there definitely was ergot. Like, they had no way of filtering and killing ergot off in the process of making the barley wine. So there's absolutely ergot in it. And like trying to go back and actually get samples of, whatever they're called, whatever goblet they served it out of, and finally getting proof, yes, there was LSD essentially in all the sacrament. And then it talks about like how the Roman Catholics would come in, came in basically and like
Said, hell no.
filtered and extracted it out. Yeah. And like the church as we know it right now is like, this is how you get the divine.
Yeah.
Not letting, and everything else is illegal. And just like the response, just kind of the domino effect of how it affected like Western government, how it affected, the politics we have today.
Threatens the patriarchy.
Well, I mean, that in ancient Greece, they were definitely all those wines that they would talk about were always concoctions. They were never like
just wine.
alcohol. It wasn't just like
Yeah.
we made a good year this year. It's like no, they were like always coming up with something new, and like check out my wine. You know, it's like, and so you know, and of course that's like. Even when you're fucking 15 years old and you're tripping balls, you're coming up with, oh my God, dude, I figured it out.
Yeah,
like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? And
I
you have
got the
that
answer.
moment where you're like, fuck, I know
Yeah.
it. And if you can somehow remember it or tell it to the right person and then they can remember it, then
Totally.
you might have figured it out. But then a lot of times it's absolutely nothing. Like the next day you're like, oh, I figured out how dust collects underneath the table because I always thought, how could dust get under the table? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was always like something in your brain that you just thought
You know what's the
solved the fucking
the
biggest
craziest drug for that is ketamine. Like, you can have a K-hole and you can have the most profound feeling that you can possibly imagine. Like, what you're experiencing is the truth, like some deep truth.
And then you need to get it out of there somehow.
And then you like come back from it and you're like, that was kind of bullshit. Like, that was kind of just like a dream or something. Like, there was nothing to that. I can't pull anything from it, really.
I mean, that's like the whole thing with nitrous with me though too. Like
Yeah,
nitrous as a kid
nitrous.
used to get me to the edge of thinking that I figured everything out, and then it would totally collapse, and I would like come out of it like, dude, I had it all figured out just like 2 seconds ago. Oh, it was so close, because it'd always be like this duality thing would be going on in my brain, and it was always like.
Sorry.
You can never have this and this if you want. Like you have to make a choice. There was like some weird like thing in my brain that
This is from nitrous. You
Oh,
had
yeah.
this.
Yeah,
Oh,
disassociatives, man.
every single time, and it was so
Disassociative.
on point that it would be like, oh, here it comes. And it was even funnier was like a couple years ago when Vinny and I got the Vindicator going, and I had like a classic, it's like with nitrous is a little bit like DMT, where you have like a good run, 3 bad ones. Now they just don't quite get you there, and then you got the one that got you there again, and you're like, I have faith again in this whole thing. It's gonna work.
Yeah.
And I had one of those, and it was like there was like a little song in my head from when I was a kid doing all these whippets that I would like play this song in my head, and I forgot about it for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And when I was doing the nitrous, it came back to me, and I was like, oh my fucking God, it's the song. It's hit back. It was like, dude, and I can't remember it now because I'd have to be on nitrous to remember it.
Yeah.
But it was like so like, and it just starts to go on its own, and you're like,
It's a crazy one.
it's the fucking
You
song.
would
I don't
love
touch it.
my cousin Jeffrey, the dentist who gave me the bottle of Quaaludes, because
I bet I would.
he took me to his office when I was 17, and he, put the nasal thing on, and he regulated it with oxygen. And there was barely any nitrous coming in. I mean, when you see what a doctor can do with that, when you just said that experience, and I asked you the question, I'm like, really? It all came back to me. He took me there. I mean, and I was there, and I remember coming out of it, him going, just relax for a sec. Don't try to explain it all. Just relax for a second. And I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, 40 fucking minutes. That was just intense.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, now you know what a minute under nitrous feels like. And I went, a minute? And he, oh my
Isn't that
gosh.
crazy? Like, we are put into psychedelic states as kids in the medical system, like at a pretty early age, whether it's nitrous, or
Ritalin.
What's funny is the one that like the anesthesia that they use for kids is ketamine. And so,
Really?
because it's like safer for like there's less possibility of like bodily reaction. So they
Now we know
basically-
why Adam kept breaking his ankle as a kid.
Nah, never broke a bone in my life. One of them.
Oh, you're
I'm
one
an
of those.
alien.
Yeah.
Could be an alien. That
So
was
really,
one of the things.
ketamine.
That was one of the things. Oh, you
Yep.
never broke a bone? Could be an alien.
Hold on, let me text the team. Let them know.
K-hole.
I got one over here.
I think we found another one.
Oh, wait. I see the vans outside, bro.
It's just another example of how Western medicine is just conditioning kids for future drug use.
Oh, I know.
But it doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? The
No.
psychedelic side of it is very interesting. It's when they give kids Ritalin for being ADHD, that's setting up to be speed freaks. But
Totally.
I don't know how. I mean, we interviewed someone, nameless, whose kid, a teenager, is taking very low microdoses of psilocybin, right? And
Yeah, but that said person said, "Oh yeah, I do a microdose like a gram." I'm like, that is not a microdose. Like that is not a microdose.
All right.
So I'm not sure what his idea of a microdose
Yeah.
is. Thanks.
That term is so funny because it just like makes people feel better about doing it or
right,
something.
exactly.
It's like I'll talk to like people who are colleagues of mine who are like business owners and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, I just microdose. It's like, okay.
Do you ever ask them, well, how do you feel when you microdose? And they always go, I feel amazing.
Yeah.
And you go, well, the clinical definition of microdose is subperceptible,
Yeah,
right?
subperceptible,
So
exactly.
it wouldn't be something you would take and then
Right.
you feel that effect, right? Because you're taking a dose, and don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
More people should be dosing psychedelics throughout the course of their day. Maybe we would have far less negativity just everywhere.
I got one of those honey sticks the other night. It's like two milligrams, like tiny, but it was like it worked. You know
At
what I mean?
Shroomski?
Yeah.
Should you be taking anything at a Shroomski event
Oh,
after
this
what
time
happened the
I
last
asked
time?
100%. I was like,
What happened last time?
oh, I just
We'll tell you the story. Don't you worry.
All
I
right.
don't miss an opportunity
ready.
to tell
Yeah,
this
okay.
one. He went to the Shroomski party
This is the
last
one.
month.
Yeah.
Do you know Shroomski, right? The magazine.
No.
They promote it's art, psychedelics.
Okay, cool.
It's very cool production.
Yeah.
Like it is.
Professional.
It's one of those deals where you're like, well, I'm glad you're printing a magazine still because
Yeah.
it's not fucking easy. You know what I mean? And you can see the pain in his eyes when I said, "You're running a magazine?" Like he was just like, "I know, dude." He's like, like, and then you can, but he's
Wow.
putting it all into the. He's creating a really
Beautiful.
great magazine where it's like it is what it's psychedelic and it's got great art and he's working with a lot of artists, but you can really tell where it's like it's hard, dude.
Well, you could have just been describing Meow Wolf, right there. I'll get you in touch with Nick. So
That's
you guys
awesome.
should
Please do.
should definitely talk.
Yeah.
Totally lost my train
So
of
what
thought.
happened?
Don't know what I was.
What happened
okay.
at last
Tell-
month's?
Oh yeah,
I'm like
so,
on the edge of my seat.
So Adam's wife is Cece. She's our human resources director, and they were at a mushroom event, and the head guy, the guy who's very proud of what he had created, this chocolate pyramid.
No, it was one of his main sponsor guys, but it was
Yeah.
it was a guy who he had done these pyramids, and it said,
800 milligrams.
and I thought, oh, I thought it was weed. So
Are you
I'm like,
talking about
wow.
and I'm like,
Are you talking
800
about
milligrams.
like Toblerone, like a?
It looks,
like a
yes, almost like a Toblerone.
Is that what
but
we're talking about?
well, hold on, you're jumping ahead. So
Okay.
he doesn't have it yet.
Okay.
This guy gave it to Cece to give to Adam. And so they recognize it's a mushroom event. He's handing mushrooms to her. She hands it to Adam because he's Adam fucking Dunn.
Yeah.
Okay? No one would expect that he would ever, I mean, he's living the living legend, right? And so first thing he just assumes is because it's chocolate, it's cannabis. It just hits, right? It's not anything like,
Yeah.
and we have this
Also 'cause
thing.
the dose was so high that I thought it can't be mushrooms. Like that wouldn't be the right dosage, right? I was like, no one's gonna be that much. I was like, so 800 must be. And I was thinking, wow, that's pretty good. That's like because for me, edibles don't really work unless it's like 500 plus. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, okay, now it's working. The
So
next
a
day.
How
regular,
big is this thing? Are we talking?
no, this big, like a golf ball.
It's chunky. It's
Yeah,
chunky.
it's like a chunky.
Yeah,
It's a chunky chocolate.
So he's talked about this on the show before. Possibly you haven't heard it, but that the greatest high you could ever get is when that you actually forget
Oh yeah.
that you ingested something, and all of a sudden you're in this space, and you go, oh, yeah, I ate that. Okay, so he eats this, and long story short, makes it all the way home to tell us the story the next day that he comes into the studio, that he has found a revived, he's been reinvigorated, that there's actually someone out there that can create a cannabis edible that can do what it did to him last night. So we're like, well, what did it do? He's like, dude, we're driving home and the road signs were sort of collapsing in, flattening, and then expanding all the way out, man. And the way he's describing it, if it was a THC experience, you're like, no, I don't want that. It doesn't sound good. And he's going on and on about this. And,
No, the key was that I woke up the next day and I thought, dude, I feel great. Like normally I'd be
Yeah.
like, I'll be ruined, you know what I mean? And I was like, so I asked the guy on the show, I was like, how did you do it so you don't have such a fucking hangover out of it? He's like,
Being that it's not THC,
And he
and,
looks-
he goes, being that it is THC and there's no mushrooms in it, he goes, oh, no, those were mushrooms.
those were mushrooms. And I was like,
And we're all at the same moment learning this on the air doing the show. And it was so great. And because it was truly one of those where you ingested something you did not
but
expect.
there was, and then I go back into time and I'm like, there was clues the whole time though. There was clues.
Yeah.
Like I got an audio hallucination, which I only get when I'm doing mushrooms, which is kind of like a little,
Yeah.
like a little like bubbly sound.
Yeah,
Like and I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I heard that. And thought, that's kind of when I'm tripping. Normally I would hear that. Oh well, no big deal. And I laughed and then it was just like the classic word. I got visuals where I don't normally would. It's like, man, this is so good. I was like, I thought I finally found a weed product that was like gonna hit every bell and whistle that I wanted. I was like, this is it.
What was the dose?
800 milligrams.
Oh, so less than a gram.
Just under a gram.
Wow,
Yeah, just so
okay,
it's like
so it's like
perfect.
subtle, like-
just enough to get you like
Yeah.
get your attention for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
You were
yeah.
like,
No, that can't be right. It was more than that, wasn't
no,
it?
Yeah, it was 800. It was just under a gram. Yeah,
Oh,
800
okay.
Yeah,
milligrams.
that's nice. Yeah.
And it was,
yeah.
but it was like unexpected because I was thinking it was weed, so I thought it was going to be a really strong weed thing, and there was no weed effect at
Yeah.
all. And then there was a definite mushroom effect, but it was, it was somehow it got me, and like I said, because I didn't know, it was even making me more excited about
It
everything.
was Mark that said out loud, he goes, the way you're describing this, I don't want to eat this, whatever it is. So don't bring it in. And just seeing, because I'm sitting right watching this happen when he says this, and it's like,
We've had a few shows like that though,
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
like I figure it all out on the show. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm an idiot. All right, well there you go.
Yeah, I had a fucking terrible experience with that. Like not knowing you took something thing, where like I went into the shop and I was like, hey, can I have some CBD? And they're like, yeah, sure. And they're like, give me some CBD gummies or something. And I just want CBD. I'm not a THC person, so like I'm like tripping out right now, even from the couple of puffs I took. And so like I'm like, sweet. So I'm just trying to do the CBD. I'm trying to get some sleep or whatever. So I go to bed, and I take I don't know, 50 milligrams, maybe 50 to 100 milligrams, and I fall asleep, but then I wake up and I am fucking tripping balls. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Is it THCO or something
It's
crazy?
Delta 8.
oh.
Yeah.
No.
They're
And
so
it was
bad.
just like,
Yeah, they're so like uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's so
I don't-
uncomfortable.
It's nothing good about it. You're like,
Yeah.
okay, they took all the wrong parts of the
Yeah.
weed high and amplified them, and then suppressed all the good shit. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
that's not doing
And I was
right.
like, shop dude, there's a big difference between me taking CBD gummies and me taking CBD gummies that have Delta 8.
Yeah.
Please, your one job here.
Maybe it
What
was
a
new.
fuck.
And THCO was this very similar thing like that too,
Oh,
where
yeah.
it's like,
Oh, that's Vinny, right?
and,
That's
and Vinny did the same thing where he ate some, like 2, I believe, and then it's about the same amount of milligrams, and he got fucking really high, and then he like started looking it up online, and it
while
was like,
he was high.
and it was like if you tried, like you can't even dab THCO, it's complete poison if you dab it, like you have to eat it. It's the only way you can get, like it was just like this, no, I don't want to do any of this, and it was just like, he said it just kept coming and coming and coming, like these waves of fucking like raw,
we did an
I got
entire.
roofied by a stripper once.
What? Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah,
getting somewhere.
but that was the only
You
time.
can go now, Vince.
That's the only time, I got dosed. I was like, oh shit, something's wrong. I know that
Trying to
feeling.
rob
though.
you? Trying to
Little bit of
rob you
panic.
or
Is
something?
this the story you're going to
no.
go with right
Yeah,
now?
like,
You're
I'm
going to
saying-
really, this is,
Hey,
you're,
no
the,
one was
the
more surprised
stripper
than I.
roofied you. Okay, okay.
Like,
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, I went to the bathroom. I came back. I maybe had a drink and a half.
This is
you
in
know,
America
just
or
hanging
this is
out.
another country?
No, it's in America.
Okay.
No, I was while I was
In
overseas.
Colombia,
too.
they were down with that. They love that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Certain places, you'd be like, 100% they were robbing you. Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what they do.
I have a feeling that's probably like they probably had somebody out in the parking lot waiting or something. And
not
yeah, I
going
came
down.
back and from the bathroom and I took a drink and then she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go on stage. I'll be right back." And I was like, "Man, I don't feel so good." And then I just got this like gut intuition, like I should get the fuck out of here. So I get in my truck. I started driving home or to the hotel I was staying at, and I was like, "Oh, fuck, like something's really wrong." And like I could barely get into the hotel room, and then like I basically shut it down, just passed the fuck out right on the bed. And I woke up, I was like, "Oh, fuck," that's.
Was she
bad.
there?
Who are all these
Did you have your
people?
wallet?
Sitting at the end of the bed.
Why are all these cameras here?
Yeah.
This is fucking weird. I'm gonna take a nap. So
No.
yeah.
Were your underwear on, but in reverse?
Yeah, no. I fell asleep just like I walked in the door.
Just
They
like
hit me so hard.
Damn.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that sounds like they were trying to rob you.
That's what I think. Yeah.
You know what? You can give the name of the strip club out.
Dodger
you know.
Fantasy Ranch, Dallas. I recommend it to everybody. I also went.
He went back 4 more nights in a row.
They had this like steak. It was like a
I
buffet.
keep leaving your cup out.
They had
Please, somebody roofing me.
They had this buffet, right? You go eat some like lunch. I was like, well, lunch and titties. Okay, I'll do that. So I go in there. It's like the next day, right? And this woman comes by and she's like, you want to lap dance? I'm trying to eat my baked potato, you know? And she's like, that's too bad. And she like snaps her fingers and her nipples caught on fire. She had these like matches that like she split that were on her nipples. And and I think I gave her $400 after that. Like she totally got me.
Wow. She
So
snapped her fingers and lit her.
yeah, it was like, she's like, it's too
I like-
bad.
that's a good
and it
move.
was like,
That's a good move.
And then they just lit
Gotta
on
get
fire.
your attention.
And I was like, come on over
Made her
here,
$400.
girl. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
that was
rolled
a-
right in. Yeah,
Damn.
sales at its finest.
Okay, top that story there, Vince
All right.
Cadlubeck, Meow Wolf founder. Go ahead. What do you got?
Please. Don't put me on the spot.
Well, you at least know how to bring talent to the
Yeah.
show. So
Well,
that's good.
just
Yeah,
so you
totally.
understand how much he felt in what you were doing is when we spoke, he's like, dude, I'm coming in, but I'm bringing someone.
Oh, I
okay.
appreciate that.
I'm really, so
Yeah.
he's our new talent scout.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
actually
Add that to your
It's not a
resume.
bad idea.
He does attract amazing people. Like, you hang out with him for a full day, you're going to bounce off cool people.
How he ever answered my email years ago, it just the way the timing was. It was the first venture outside of. No. Did you do Vegas
We did
before
Vegas.
Denver?
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of Vegas.
Oh, come on.
No, it's just because I'm not that commercialism that guy, and
yeah.
I haven't found there's more to it, and I have every time I go there, it's Vegas for me, and
Yeah,
I'm doing
yeah,
something
yeah,
else.
yeah.
But Santa Fe
Yeah.
changed me. I mean, I brought my kids there. It was amazing. Denver, it's when I discovered Itch.io that first night that we were there, and that's an amazing,
Dude, when there's
amazing band.
parties in that space,
Yeah.
it is like one of the most amazing magical things. Like and when like the party takes over the entire exhibition and people are just like kicking it in every room.
You mean like last night at 10 o'clock when it
Last night at 10
started?
o'clock. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
It's special.
God. 10 a.m. would have been a much better start time for me. I would have enjoyed that. I would have come. I would have tripped balls and taken an Uber home,
That's the champions hour, buddy. You got to get out there.
how about I'll work back up to it, and I'll get there. Yeah, I'll get there.
No, train like you fight.
Oh, that would be bad. That would be bad. So, did you say that you're on the board right now of maps? You're
No.
On what are you on the board of? When I made that joke that people were giving you all. What is the main thing that you're
Main
doing
thing I'm
these
doing.
days?
Yeah. So like, I opened a sweet restaurant in Santa Fe called Escondido, which is badass. The chef is
It's a barbecue Mexican spot.
just straight Mexican.
Just checking.
He's just seeing if he stole our
It's a
idea.
coffee shop, and it's like
Do you
this.
serve Ozo coffee there?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay, good,
Not
good,
yet.
good.
Not
Yeah.
yet.
But no, my main thing is Meow Wolf. I mean, it's like 100%. I'm chief vision officer of the company.
That's what it is.
So I came back. Yeah, I came back into the company in August, and yeah, we're trying to do big, crazy shit.
Is that not the most perfect title for you?
Chief vision officer.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's kind of also like real flimsy. It's like okay, vision.
No
like,
boundaries. No boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, it also just like I don't know, and
Dave's the party guy.
and it's also stupid to be like there's one person who has the vision because like we are a company of like
visionaries.
1,600 people and a creative team of
It's
like
gotta-
300.
Still got to be a top visionary, and no matter how you look at it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I think the thing is like what I'm especially good at is being able to like distill from a lot of things simultaneously, like what people are excited about, at different parts of the company, and then start to like put together what all these things have in like what are they all different puzzle pieces of, and then try to like figure that out from a business strategy perspective. Like, all right, cool, I see how this all adds up to where we're going to be 5 years from now, for instance, So I do that. That's like my that's my life right now.
Is there? I mean, because I know that. I mean, the lore is one of the big parts of the whole thing,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
that's what I figured out after going to the different. And I feel like the Santa Fe one had the most kind of like, because it's got you start at the house, and then that whole vibe really had the built-in lore, let's say, because it's like you kind of see
You
like,
feel
I
like-
got to figure this out.
Yeah.
Vegas, I didn't even try because it's Vegas. You're like, who's
Yeah.
actually gonna pay attention to anything here? They're like, when are we going to the strip bar? Fucking Spearmint Rhino after this? Yeah, whatever.
Watch your
dude."
drinks.
Exactly. And then the one here has a lot of stories, has a lot of vibes to it too, because of the fact that it's like so well thought out. Like,
There's so much story in the Denver exhibition.
like it seems.
What's funny though is like it's. Just, it's
my question is,
Oh, yeah.
are you guys? Is there anything that thread that runs through them? Is there a thread already there?
There's
or-
a thread there.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I just wasn't sure because I couldn't
Ooh,
really see
everyone
it.
take notes.
so. Here's the thing. Like, what's interesting is like we think about the fiction as something that people architect. So like, but we at Meow Wolf have a belief that we're not just architects of this fiction, we are archaeologists of this fiction. Like, we're learning and figuring out what this fictional world is that we're trying to tell. So it's like we know this world over here, we know this world over here, we figured out this character here. Oh wait, somebody else is talking about this character over here. They must be connected. How are they connected? So we're actually trying to like figure it out, as it's happening.
It's one of my favorite parts of going to Meow Wolf with him. Like last night, we were walking by and there's this little vending machine. It's got like a face on it. And he stops and he's like, here's the whole backstory. And it's like this god of vending machines and things.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, like something that just seems like it's randomly sitting in a corner. It's got an entire narrative.
It does.
Beautiful. It's fun.
Yeah. It's the Denver one is just like it's so hard to you're immersed in it, but it's like there's so much content and it's hard to like find it all.
It's an amazing
It's a crazy
experience.
Which is
fucking
good
maze.
because it means you can go back. And
It's the most like I walked through that building and I'm just like, this thing is a fucking miracle. Like, who in their right mind would pay for that? Like, say like, yeah, we're gonna put up, like Revesco had to put up like 15 million to build, 30 million to build that building. They had to have faith in us to be able to pull off something in there, and they risked $30 million to build that building, and then we designed like the most insane fucking thing that like costs also like $130 million itself, pretty much, or whatever. We don't actually have a real number on it, but like, and then it's architecturally really difficult, and it's like it's 300 400 artists all working together simultaneously, like and it happened, and it's there, and you walk through it and you're just like, what the fuck?
Well, speaking of money, I don't know if you're probably aware, they just changed the ticketing. You can get, I believe, like a Colorado locals pass
Oh, nice.
for like $80 and go in anytime you want
Yeah,
for
that's
a
where
year.
it's at. That's where it's at.
That is amazing
Yeah, that's
because that's my thing about going to events. I do not have the attention span
Yeah.
to go there for 8 hours. I love the fact that I could go for a half an hour when driving past, or an hour or 2 hours, then leave,
Yeah,
and then come
yeah.
back again, and not have to go, well, I fucking paid how much to get in here? I got to stay until ad nauseum. So
Yeah.
I think that's a game changer for me. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
You won't ever find me there after
so
10
what's going
o'clock,
on with
though.
New York? 'Cause I heard
Yeah,
New
hell
York's
yeah.
happening. Is that going to be down to the water or something like that? or-
Yeah, it's on the
Docks?
east side of Manhattan, South Side Seaport, and right next to the Brooklyn Bridge, and yeah, it's a dope site, and we're fucking.
Is that another? Is that
We're
another
at
one?
it.
Is that another one we're going to build it from the ground up, or is it something where
No.
you're retrofitting?
The
something?
building's there already.
Okay.
So yeah, we're going.
What
we're
was
going
it
to
before?
I don't know. It's like I don't know what it was. I don't know what space we're taking over. I know like ESPN had their offices there,
Uh-huh.
and somebody else I can't remember. They like moved out, but yeah. Anyway, it's gonna be a dope project.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it's going to be
There's
that far from High New York City, the Jason Harris project.
Nice.
We have, there's a museum down there for THC right now. They might even sell cannabis. I've gotten their license. That's amazing. So after
Yeah.
New York, is there any international
No,
plans?
I don't know. Not sure. No.
No?
I mean, we're looking at places, but
I mean, like I would think someplace like Amsterdam
I
would be
know. Fucking
amazing for it. You
Yeah.
know, Barcelona, France, Paris.
Betty.
You know, maybe not Paris. They're a little stuck up there.
Yeah, it would be like.
So many tourists. Though.
No, but Amsterdam. That I would say that. I think that could.
The funny thing is, like I was saying, I think on the last time we were on the show, was like it reminds me so much of a Dutch art project in a sense because there's so much money getting pumped into the Dutch art scene from the government that people would get like huge grants to do whatever the hell they want, and they would do crazy stuff where you'd be like, you know, and get away with it because the Dutch were just like, okay, yes, very nice, very good. We built a town, you know, like there was this one. There's this one place called Free South America, which was on the water. It was an old warehouse, and it was like, you know, from the 1600s. So it had dirt floors, even though there was 5 stories tall, but there was dirt floors because it's been used for hundreds of years. And there's a big giant freight elevator, and they built like a complete Western town on the 3rd floor, skate park on the 1st floor,
Of course they did.
nightclub on the top floor. And you just, and so every time you open you go up this thing, you'd be with like 20 people in an elevator, and everybody'd be all weird and wacky. The elevator door would open, and it would be like a complete other, we're in a Western town? Like, what the fuck? And then you close it, and you go up to the next floor, and you'd be like, skate park, what? You know, and then you go to the next floor, and it's like, total Euro disco, you know, and it was like, it was such a dope spot. And the thing is, over there, the squats were the whole scene, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were always in these crazy buildings. There was another one that was even more, well, they're both pretty famous, but there was another one which was the former Belgian embassy, and it was,
Of course.
it was like this amazing building that had all the secure, like, you know, it was an embassy, so it had like the concrete things out front to keep tanks from fucking going through, tank traps. It had
Right up your alley,
and
right?
It was,
You know those things.
and it was the same situation. It had elevators that went up,
Yeah.
and every floor was something different. And you were like, this is the classic, like, you could never get away with any of the shit in America, because in America they'd be like, what, you're going to squat this place?
Have you
And you're gonna-
have you been to, or do you know about City Museum in St. Louis?
No.
Okay, like it's the most amazing piece of experiential art, I guess. Like kind of it's kind of like it's 100,000 square foot indoor, like kind of like playground.
Okay.
With all of these like makeshift slides and
I like
crawl
that.
spaces.
I like it.
And like
Me like.
ceramic mosaics
Continue.
sculpted into like it's
They're doing a lot of places like that
fucking
here
massive.
too. That you notice after you guys came into town, now all of
Yeah.
a sudden there's these like little mini
Oh,
vibe
yeah.
places where like,
It's just-
come check out it's a bunch of selfie booths, but they're
No.
just basically like
they
weird
fucking suck.
weird art things. And they're
Yeah.
they're not nearly as
Totally.
on point, obviously, but they're.
No, totally.
Welcome to the club of getting ripped off,
And
man.
you're like,
Okay.
you're
all
like,
good.
what is this weak ass shit?
City Museum though came before us. They've been open
Right.
for like 30 years. They're
Right.
like a huge influence of ours, and it's I mean, you're not that far from St. Louis. I mean, like if you're there, like it's worth it. It's remarkable.
We're not that close.
What really?
Well, we can
I mean,
make
in
the,
a on a grand scheme of things, maybe if you're looking at it globally, but
Oh, I guess you're right. I guess you're right.
if we're looking
Where
at
am I again?
it, like you're just up the road, it's just down there. No.
I just am.
Thank
like,
you, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, anything outside of New Mexico just kind of feels like.
Oh yeah, you guys are
Yeah.
close.
Like, you guys are close.
Anything. but yeah, it's awesome to see that people figure out that, like, you know, it's all about the creative simplicity of things and going like, fuck, I wish I thought of that. Like those are the things that always,
Yeah.
yeah, especially when it's like, I mean, obviously, I think the difference between Vegas and Santa Fe was that entirely. Like Santa Fe had the vibe of like everything was like very artistically thought
Totally.
out. Like, oh, this is amazing.
Totally.
Whereas Vegas was like, okay, we need more money because we need to I need to project on the wall
Yeah, yeah,
3D
yeah.
things, and I was like, there's no, because once you got projectors, you're kind of like
Yeah.
cheating in my opinion, just because it's cool, but it's not nearly as creative as like taking something that you see every day and turning it into something else. And
Yeah.
you can go like, oh fuck, that's fucking.
No, but that magic of that first project is elusive, and it's not just in like, you know, for us. It's like think about bands, you know, where like that first album is like
They gotta keep
fucking-
playing it. Gotta
fucking
play
magic.
it.
Like how did it happen? I don't know. Fucking magic. Like what do you do after that? You know, you keep making more records, and like you know, you try your best to like have them, you know, but you keep that like that first one. It's like,
Well, yeah, I think that how many people, I think the fact just going down the slide of the washing machine, that one particular thing probably,
Yeah.
because that's what got everybody, in my opinion. Like, that's like, what? They got, and then you
Yeah.
do it, and you're like, dude, and it's like, how simple was that? It's a fucking washing machine, take the front off, put a slide behind it. No projectors, no craziness, no
Totally.
$1 million ideas or nothing.
Totally.
But that alone, just because it made people into kids instantly, like, oh, I've been on the slides 35
You know,
years, and they get on a slide, and they
what's
go
so,
down
you know, what's really interesting
5
too?
feet, and they're like, that was amazing.
Like the trope of there being secret passageways in your house is a well-used trope. Like it's worked in multiple big stories. You
It's
know,
the game of Clue.
but nobody ever did it in real life. Like we were the first ones to be like, oh, why don't we create portals out of a house? You know, but
I won't give anything away, but if you're in Vegas, look behind the T-shirts. Just saying, look behind the T-shirts.
yeah,
I think what I like about Santa Fe is the story.
That's
Right, it's
same.
all
Yes.
about the
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
And so, you know, you land, they do a good job of like, I mean, you can just go play around if you want, or you can dig into the story and you can kind of engage with the story at any level you want. I do love that
Yeah.
for me.
No, my kid was totally into that, and it's like, and then that showed me what I would have probably missed because I would have been cruising through like looking what's trippy, right? And but he was like, no, he was like into the story the whole
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? And then
yeah.
it was like, okay, no, that is, you know,
and the
the-
story is about like a family who is diving into the occult to try to bring their child back from the dead. You know, like they're playing with like they're playing with like witchcraft.
What could go wrong?
Essentially.
nothing goes
But,
wrong,
like,
and it
but,
never,
like,
right? No situations. what could go
so it's like a pretty dark, like it's a pretty dark story, and like you know, for like 8 or 9 year olds to be running around, you know, and if you read some of that narrative, it's like if an 8-year-old wanted to pick up the mom's journal and read through it, like, yeah, there's some pretty like heady shit in there. But what's kind of cool,
They knew
is,
what they
like-
were getting into when they brought their kid there.
yeah, no, but what's cool is like kids can grow up through layers of Meow Wolf. So it's like when you're 5 years old, it's just like, oh, that really weird, that cool playground. But then you get to be a teenager, and you're like, oh wait, there's a story here. Oh, cool. Like, you know, it's just a really sweet kind of part of this projects like this.
Yeah, no, it's and that's what makes it possible to keep coming back too, because it's like you're not going to figure it out unless you're some fucking genius.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to go in there. I got it all figured out. You know what I mean? And nobody's really.
Those fucking Meow Wolf
Has it-
fans on Reddit and
I was gonna
shit.
say, has it been people been like
Oh yeah.
fucking telling about Santa Claus or anything? It's like, well, you didn't know. It's like, is there anybody breaking it down for anybody? Like,
Yes,
Yeah.
big time. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, there's people who
was there a
have-
first guy? Was there a first guy though that kind of like cracked the code?
there is a dude. He had great YouTube videos. What was he called? Like the food theory. The food theory guy was cracking some codes. Like he knew about expansion plans that like we had never shared in our in our story universe.
Not
and
Ian
in our
Carroll. You're not
extensions.
talking about.
Like,
You're not talking about Ian Carroll. That guy.
I don't know. I don't know.
He was the guy that went around all the supermarkets and like looked at all the labels and figured out who owned what. Like, oh,
Maybe.
this is owned by them, and then therefore those guys are owned by them, and then he kind of broke it all down so people would know. Like,
I don't know the actual guy's name, but
anyway, that guy's pretty cool.
that is sweet.
So I think we kind of took a tangent when you mentioned strippers trying to
yeah.
roofie you.
Actually, no. Now I looked up something too. You ever heard of? Wait, I wanted to ask. You've heard, and you've probably heard of it too. That's in Colombia. They have a thing they call it the devil's breath, and it's called.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna ask about that actually earlier.
Oh,
Where
I
you-
see.
where
We're on the same.
You control someone's mind. They,
Scopolamine.
yeah.
Scopolamine. So they blow it into your face, and then you basically are at their
At their-
will,
yeah.
and they can take you down to the. Come on, we're going down to the fucking ATM. Take all your money out.
Wow.
And then we're gonna do this, and then give me your keys to your car, and you're like, okay, no problem. And then when you come out of it, you're like, what do you mean I gave the keys to my car? You're
Wow.
like, yeah, you'd be like that.
I've never heard of this.
You told these guys to come in and move the
Yeah.
entire house out.
Wow.
Yeah, you
And this
changed
is
your
the-
will.
Yeah.
This is the substance that is like at the core of the false flag, like conspiracy
Oh.
theories. So like
Oh,
when it like
I've never
like
heard of it.
the guy who shot, you know, whenever there's like a false flag or what conspiracy theorists say is a false flag, like mass shooting.
Like a MK
Like-
Ultra, MK
Yeah,
Ultra
yeah.
situation.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is total MK Ultra right here.
Yeah.
This is like the perfect version of it without,
Right.
like they were on the wrong tip. They were like,
Yeah.
no, you try this acid, man. And like, woo, like, no, we don't. Should have
Yeah.
done this one. They could have gone straight to the point.
Who knew?
But yeah, it's crazy because they
What
all.
news source this come from?
This is just well-known, documented shit. It's not nothing to even worry about which source it is. It's
No, I never.
It's from the Guardian.
Scopolamine?
It's from the Guardian.
The Guardian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, reputable.
Oh, super reputable. Yeah, I don't trust
They
everything.
use a
say.
capital G.
It's on the internet. It must be true.
No, but it's been around for a long
British.
time, and it's definitely. But it says it was used by Nazis and obstetrician. Nazis
Yeah.
from Nazis to obstetricians.
I believe it.
Great.
Okay, well, so back to the work you're doing helping vets out.
Hey.
Maybe tell us a little
Yeah,
bit
since
more
they're all
about
watching
that.
and they're like, he hasn't talked about us yet.
Since it's Denver-based and we
Yeah.
are sitting in a Denver-based studio by the way, we're at Sohai Cafe and Viper Pit Barbecue if you want amazing barbecue.
Oh, it smells so good.
4300 West Alameda. So I will give Vinny credit. Do you see how he did it?
Yeah.
He brought us each a fork with one piece of meat on the end of it. And he's like, oh, I know you're going to go on the air in 5 minutes. Here, have a big bite of this and think about it the whole show.
I was like, woo, man.
Think about it the whole show. So you know what's waiting for you on the other side.
You
when
know,
you're
I'm from
ready.
Texas too. I like barbecue.
Yeah. So 4300 West Alameda. Tell them you heard about it on the end, don't
Yeah.
you? So, Denver-based?
Yep.
And how did this come about? I mean, because we know it's necessary, but there's a big difference between something being necessary and somebody actually acting on it and making it happen.
Right. Funny. It starts with a titty bar. Just
Of
kidding.
course
Just
it
kidding.
did.
Just kidding. But I am going to bring it there. So,
Shotguns, or is this something else?
like I.
Oh, tangent. He's just about to tell us.
Like I
You're
mentioned,
taking it back to titties.
like I mentioned before, I 1,000 Days at War, right? 6 tours, and for me, I loved the war. It was coming home that was really tough for me, and whenever I would sit on a Sunday morning in peace, I would just fall out of alignment, right? And then I would find myself doing just stupid shit to dump adrenaline into my body. I'd get half in the bag and riding my motorcycle too fast, or doing a whole bunch of shit I shouldn't do because I was just chasing that. It just became this became the false, and that became the very real. And so I went through a journey, and it's a whole long story in itself. But on the other side of it, I was kind of looking for a purpose, and I did my doctorate in business, and I knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I knew that, but I was thinking titty bar. Nippolopolis, but you guys can have it because I decided.
You
not
have
to go
20
that way.
seconds.
20
19,
seconds.
18.
In Nippolopolis.
Wow.
So anyway,
I'm Greek, so that sounds really very exciting.
or I was thinking something motorcycle based, whatever. And
Nippleopolis.com is now taken.
that's it. yeah. But so my
Wait,
my,
it's owned by Vince Cadlebeck. What the fuck?
Over there,
yeah.
guy's gold mine over here.
My wife she's been a therapist for 25 years, and at this time it was probably 20. We've been about 6 years, and so she was like, I've been thinking about, because I was about a year away from retirement, and I was like, we were going to Malta on vacation, we were in Europe, and
His favorite place.
yeah, it's a cool place, yeah. And so I was like, look, I'm thinking about building a business, and she said, well, I'm thinking about building my own practice, but I don't really know where to start because therapists, they don't get that
Malta.
training.
And she's like, you need a lot of work. So.
Yeah, and so I told her, I was like, well, I'll build it for you, and then I'll just go do my own thing. And so we basically started, and then just because of my background, people started asking me to speak, and then I was doing a bunch of public speaking, and then vets would call, and they would talk to me. They're like, look, man, I think I need some help. I got a clearance. I don't know about this. And so I talked to them for an hour, and then they would say, you seem cool, man. Can I just talk to you? And I'm like, look, okay, I'm not a therapist, but I'm going to get you in front of
play
somebody.
one on the radio.
Yeah. So we built this company, Operation True North Colorado. And really the idea was all the therapists would have been military first responders or spouses of or children of before they became therapists. So they grew up in the lifestyle. And so a boutique mental health company, and a lot of that came from just how hard it was to find somebody who's culturally competent, that could deal with that, like that I didn't have to explain what all these acronyms were, and that I could just kind of get in and do the work. And we ended up just changing lives, and I was kind of on my own path, and then I found psychedelics. Of course, it's running rampant in the special forces community, and I've got some friends that I served with who brought me into it in a very good way, and it was very positive. And so I ended up landing on the Colorado Natural Medicine Advisory Board. So I was the vice chair for the first year, helping, kind of get it stood up. And then I sat on the health equity subcommittees for veteran, representing the veteran issues, and then the emergency response subcommittee, just because of my background. And, helping try to cultivate this. And, you know, I guess in the end, when you spend your whole life in service to others, you find that nothing actually fills you the way that does. And so it was about finding a new mission for me in a way where instead of like hunting and killing, you know, criminals, terrorists and whatever, maybe let's bring a little love and a little kindness back in the world, and let me spend the rest of my life, you know, giving. And so that's where we're at.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks.
Less
Amazing.
killing, more
Absolutely
giving.
amazing.
There you go.
That's it, baby. Yeah, that's it.
Less killing, more loving.
Make love, not war, right? Yeah. I still
Make
like war,
love,
though.
not death.
Yeah, I'm still into that, though. But,
And so, what's the website for
OperationTrueNorthColorado.com. Yeah. I know
It's a
it's
nice
mouthful.
short website
Mhm.
address. That's cool.
Well, you know how it is. You start a business.
OperationTrueNorthColorado.com.
Yeah, so I was half drunk, and you know, like I said, we were going to Malta, and we were staying at this Hilton Frankfurt before we hopped. And so I just
Oh, you stayed at the Hilton?
I bought it like
Not at a castle.
you know, they say like if you have an idea, you should do something with it with like 10 seconds. So I just pulled it up and I bought it
Don't
like
do that
right
to me,
there
dude.
on
I'll
the spot. Yeah, yes.
We're going to get along great.
yeah. And then I was too far into it to turn back, right? So here we are. It's a mouthful, but whatever. You know, it turns out most people don't even give a shit. They just they're like,
OperationTrueNorthColorado.com. You only
Yeah.
have to enter it once. Your computer should
yeah.
remember it.
Just Google, you know, military therapy. We usually pop up pretty high on the list because we're awesome.
And I'm sure it's global, right? It doesn't matter where you are. You reach out for help.
Well,
or is it,
you know-
or is it face-to-face Denver-based?
No. So we do virtual stuff, but the way therapy licensure works, you know, it's done by state, and
Oh.
there's a whole thing, and so it kind of depends on the situation. But my one
most,
goal.
Most people are just going to do AI anyway nowadays. They'll be like, well, I'm not talking to humans.
Yeah,
I'm just talking
yeah.
to AI. Let it decide my life for me.
Isn't
It's
it?
like,
Yeah, I mean-
great idea.
There's going to be a place for that for sure. But I think for me, my goal is that anyone who comes in front of me, I'm going to move them a little farther down the path. And so if I can't help you, I'll find you someone who can. You know, and I'm in a good place where for us it's not about making money. It's about helping other folks. And so, you know, we'll take the time and we'll find them. So you call me if you need help. I don't care where you're at in the world, and I'm going to get you somewhere. So
That's
How long you guys been in operation now?
we're a little over 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
And you have a certain, do you have a brick and mortar?
No, we do everything virtually. And
Okay.
so it actually worked out for us, and it had to do with the kind of lifestyle we wanted. We wanted to be able to travel and do
Right.
different things, and they weren't doing a lot of that in 2019. And we figured that military families would be perfect because we just came out of 2 decades of war, and they're already used to managing relationships online. And then COVID hit. It's like starting a roofing company 3 months before the biggest hurricane, and we were just perfectly saturated in the market. And then you know, we took off. So awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, there's, we've talked about this before. There are many takeaways from surviving, you know, the plague or pandemic.
Yeah.
But the huge one for me is that when people talk about therapy, it is spoken about in such a positive light. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you finally are getting into therapy. Good for you. You know, I won't say I told you so. You know,
Yeah.
whereas 6 years ago,
Yeah.
4-letter word.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
you say that, you know, oh yeah, well, I had a therapist in the 70s. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Man, you know,
You
I mean,
know.
we battle. I mean, the stigma is rough because, you know, you can lose your job, right? Like if
Well,
you
it
have
does
a
have the word.
clearance,
It
and you
is
carry
the
a
word
gun.
the rapist too. That doesn't help. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah.
It's got the rapist in it, so it's kind of.
I like the rapist for 500, please, Alex.
You know.
You know, we had to learn some lessons of it, like even advertising, right? So for military and first responder communities, therapy's like Viagra. They want it, but they don't want to interact with it on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to keep that shit on the down low, right? And so there is a different way to go about it. But you're right. The stigma is definitely getting better. Most people get it, and it's still archaic the way we look at it. Like, what's actually bothering people isn't what we thought was bothering them. I don't know if you guys want to dig into that, but we have learned a lot of lessons. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll find time to go deep.
Yeah.
This won't be the last time you're on the show, but
Oh, thanks.
I've lost my train of thought again. So, you know.
because he knows he can feel that.
Yeah.
Vince is like, we gotta go. We got parties to go to. We got people calling me every 5 seconds. I'm like, I gotta go.
You give me the high sign anytime you need to leave.
We're
Remember,
getting close.
we don't do the whole. You're just gonna have to just put the headphones down and walk out. And, well, like that was
mic
Vince.
drop. I'm out. I'm out. Vince out.
I was a child of play therapy in the 70s. So I wouldn't talk to my therapist until he took me downstairs to the pizza place and I played pinball and realized I just had a 30-minute conversation with him by the time I was done. And I know somebody like Rosendog is saying, like, we think you could have played pinball for 30 minutes on a quarter. It was multiple quarters, fucker. Okay. But now play therapy is integrated into almost the way kids come up through elementary school. It's common practice to try for parents to recognize right now that society is such an influence. They can't be the only voice. That kids need to know they can trust others to when they need help. That their parents aren't always the the end all be all for the answer. And I think getting your kids to learn how to communicate properly in a therapeutic environment is good for all of us, especially when they eventually become adults. I remember what I was going to say now.
I'll be the last. I'll be the last of the generation of just put it all down in there deep, son, and don't ever
Rub a
cry.
little dirt in it.
I'm still part of that
Two
generation.
years ago here, I was celebrating the fact that the sessions I attended were all about MDMA for use in phase 2 clinical trials with veterans who had PTSD. And the one that was just too close to home was those with borderline personality disorder.
You see.
And then the FDA fucking killed them. And now we don't have that research.
Which is like the most obvious ones. It's like, come on now. Vets, PTSD, MDMA, there's nothing to worry about.
It
for
wasn't.
adults.
It wasn't
Like,
the subject.
a lot of marriages might happen, and a lot of rekindled
Bro,
relationships.
look,
A lot of.
I do want to say that
it's not gonna hurt anybody.
I am worried. I love psychedelics, right? And anytime I mention this in public, I feel like the Matrix is about to shoot me or something. Because anything that is counter to like let's legalize it all and go for it, gets a little bit of shit on, But I've seen it dissolve the hero out of people. And what I mean by that, like, I have friends like Muscular, he's on steroids, he's like slaying the chicks, loves war, just living life.
Are you talking about you right now?
No, not me. He finds psychedelics. He ends up quitting his job, leans down, he's wearing linen pants and neck bling and playing the centaur, and now he's like going to be a shaman, and he's now a conscientious objector. Like, he just doesn't think that there's any reason for violence and war. And he's swapped to Buddhism, all these things, and on a very personal level. Yeah, on a very personal level, it's beautiful for him. Make love, not war. But on a society level, it's terrifying. Because, we need people who can bring violence to evil people. And we need folks who can run into burning buildings and stop child predators. And, heroes. We need heroes. And so sometimes, if it's not done the right way, it takes it right out of them. They're not able to function. And, what you see is that in the studies, they'll do psychosocial assessments or some depression screening tool to say, look how happy they are. This is working for them. I'm like, tell me what their fucking career progression is 18 months after. Because I bet this is what it looks like. They try to go back to work. They very quickly realize they cannot do it. If they're close enough to retirement, they'll get to like a peer support role or some admin role where they can stay in and get their retirement. And if not, then they'll quit and leave. And so, not in every case, of course, right? Spectrum and all kinds of things. And so I'm really interested in seeing more research that is culturally competent, focused, and like more protocols that says, hey, we're going to use this medicine to help you get in there and do your job, not just, go to Costa Rica, do Mother Ayahuasca, now come out and wearing linen pants, and I can no longer be a hero.
That's your clinical definition of setting, and intention. And it sounds like whoever that person was beforehand did not have those three in alignment and lost their path.
Right.
Your path and support will keep them in alignment.
I don't know. Right?
You're going to try.
Now, a lot of people won't even talk about it.
Watched it with Tyson. I mean, that was like the classic where he got onto his psychedelic trip and he leaned down a lot, and then he tried to come back, and it was like it wasn't going to happen just because it was like, you kind of have to stay that ferocious fucking maniac that you are.
Yeah.
And if there's any hesitation, you're gonna.
Yeah, and we
fuck
know
you up.
psychedelics it's the ticket. The ride is what matters. And I do believe that there is a way that you could use these things to help you. Like, for example, you need this monster in you, right? Jung talks about the shadow. You can't be complete without a shadow. Well, heroes need this monster, right? I'm going to go in here and I'm going to fucking pop this dude in the face, or I'm going to go kick in this door and I'm going to take this child predator out by his hair or whatever it is. They need to be able to turn that monster on, get in there and do their job, and then turn it off at the end of the day and go to 8-year-old's birthday party. And that's hard to do.
Well, it's the same as like I think everybody, when it comes to psychedelics, is like, if you're a family, if you have a kid and you're like have a sort of schedule and things, it's so hard to like fit that in that schedule because you're like, because what happens is, just about coming up, and all of a sudden the kid comes in the room. I got a fucking ride. You're like, no,
Read me a story.
Yeah.
And you just don't, you don't want to. You just don't want to have the responsibility that you need to take care of that first. So, I think it's, similar in a bigger scheme when it comes to people. That whole lifestyle is based on, like you're saying, like either violence
But that was
or,
cool. Last night though, we sat in Meow Wolf, and there's firefighters that from one of the departments around here. I don't know which one, but like, they're cool shit, and they're trying to get it into more of their colleagues, cycles, and and so I don't know. Like I would wonder if obviously that is a true assumption that
guy?
the assumption that we lose our hero.
Yeah, but that guy that was talking to me was the peer support person. He did exactly what I'm talking about.
He's the example. Yeah.
Technically a firefighter, but he's doing peer support, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is that kind of project, we see. And for veterans or people who are out of it, who need to live a beautiful life again, 100%, 100%. But giving it to someone actively in a service, like, hey, let's open them up so they're super aware of energy and pain and all this shit, and then put them in dark shit every day. Okay, we may have to tailor how that works. And
Wrong tool for the job there.
Well, I want to see. People smarter than me who are really talented with this medicine and that. You come at it from that place of, we're going to help you do that. And I think there is a way to do it. I don't like when I see the veterans talking about this, that it's the folks that are out telling them how great it helped them, because it helped me too. And then let's give it to people who are still in. And no one's talking about the other side of it. And I'm like, oh man, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying, come on, let's get some smart people to look at it. Reasonably.
I saw Full Metal Jacket. Okay,
Yeah,
I understand.
yeah.
We need. There's a time where you have to break the jar in case of emergency and let that soldier out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Show me your war face.
I guess just sum it up, man, and we'll go back to Vince for a while. But Carl Jung in his book, Modern Man in Search for a Soul, he says if you open a medical textbook and next to an illness there's a whole list of treatments, it's because none of them are particularly effective. If they were, there'd only be one, right? Here's the problem, here's the solution. So, and that's the way it is with mental health, right? Like, there's so many different options because we're all so different. And I've had friends that were working their way down the list and they didn't find it and they ended up killing themselves. And, I'm kind of tired of that shit. And so, I'm not the guy that thinks mushrooms are going to change the entire world, but they might change one person's world entirely. And if we can put it on the list, fuck it, let's do it, and...
That's getting ripped off, by the way. That one is totally getting ripped off. That
Wonderful.
I know Rosendog's like, wait, did he say mushrooms can change one world entire? He's rewinding right now.
I love it.
That's a
Yeah.
good one.
Well, good.
That's a really good
Well,
one.
thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me talk about what I'm up to.
No, we need you to come back.
And if you need to do a literal meet and greet with meet here, you can always do that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
If you have to do that's why I was asking if you guys had a brick and mortar, but if you don't, if you ever want to do kind of meeting up here, this is
I
a good
appreciate that.
spot.
And barbecue.
Yeah, I
Can't go
appreciate
wrong.
that.
Yeah, nice.
It's not a bar, so there's no alcohol, so you can't fall off that fucking way.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Might
that to
be
me
a
is the
little
most.
grass.
That's like
Oh
the
my
most
God.
destructive part of anything. That's like that one's the most
Yeah.
obvious.
It's always the fucking alcohol.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
It's like, oh, you got
it's
a
good.
problem? Do you drink a lot? Oh yeah, stop drinking.
It's good because it works until it doesn't. That's a problem.
It's horrible. I'm seeing a side of alcohol in people that I guess I'm fortunate that I have lived this long and not seen that side, and I'm seeing it from a different perspective of the fact that I don't know if I'm going to call it a virus or they call it a disease, but they're certainly a slave to alcohol. No question, beyond slave to that drug. I'm glad it's not a part of
at whatever level. That's the thing. I'm so grateful for ketamine in my life, like doing it, recreationally on weekends. Like, I don't want to drink. Like, they don't work well together, and it's such a better, I don't know, it's such a more interesting, inebriation to me at least, for a weekend than drinking. But yeah, like, it's like I don't drink anymore, like, completely, and it was definitely two or three a night, pretty consistently. It's like
I was watching somebody's thing the other day, and they were just like, it was like a wife category, like just basically just writing down, like, every time her husband had a drink, she'd put a little thing. First, woke up in the morning. Drink. By the end of the day, it was 21 drinks, right? That was like his normal day,
Holy
just an
shit.
average
Every day.
And just like, and it was just like, damn. I was like, but you could see how easy of a slippery slope, because it's like, now it's over here. Now we're over at the bar. Now we're going over to our friend's house. Because it's that whole, like, celebrate or fucking commemorate or fucking. There's too many things that are all like
every fucking TV show. Somebody walks into the room. They're pouring them a drink. They don't have drinks. They have what they call them decanters, right? Their actual glass where they pour the liquor into it so that they can decant it, not pour it. It's cigarette smoking. It's the same thing. There's influences.
If you watch old movies and everyone's got a cigarette in every single scene, you're like, holy fuck, dude! Every single scene.
I know.
Vince is calling an Uber.
He's like, get me out of this place. He's like, oh boy.
I'm texting the person we're supposed to meet for dinner and telling them that we're still doing the podcast.
Because this conversation is awesome. I'll tell you, on the alcohol piece, so I went through this intensive outpatient program kind of at the end that was built for special forces, right? So it's like Delta, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, spies, and this thing was awesome. Like, we had our own therapist, and I was her only client for 10 weeks, and we each had our own. This thing was wild. And they come in day one, and they're like, look, we're supposed to tell you are not supposed to drink while you're doing this program. But we know, just dealing with you guys like you are, if we come in and say alcohol's the devil, you're going to laugh us out of the room. And we were like, yeah, that's true. And so she's like, so here's what I would like. We don't care if you drink alcohol or even how much you do. We care about the mind frame you're in while you're doing it. So if you had a great day and you're celebrating with a friend and you want to have a beer, go ahead. If you want to have a glass of red wine with a steak or something, great. If you come home and you're like, I had a fucking shitty day, I need a drink, we'd like you to do something a little healthier. And for some reason, it changed my fucking mind frame, like my relationship to it. And so, I don't think it's necessarily like, hey, you got to cut out every Oreo cookie. Like, but you just don't need to eat them all day, every day. Like, have a couple every now and then. If you can do it. Some people can't, right? Some people can't tell. But for me, that's what it is.
Cookie Monster's one of those people.
No, I'm not. I'm an all or nothing. I have to cut it out.
Go.
I
Go
have
in
to.
or no.
I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
Dave can't stop.
I have trouble, so I know.
Oh, yeah.
But I used to weigh over 300 pounds, so I'm well aware of that, and I cannot allow myself that. In my life. I have a very addictive personality. Yeah. The reason why I'm not a cocaine addict, because I've never tried it. Because if I know, I saw, I looked at my friend, I'm like, holy shit, I'm going to fucking love that.
Yeah. I would say psilocybin kicked my love. Like, again, it changed my relationship to it. Like, I realized alcohol was not doing what I thought it was. I like a glass of red wine with a steak or a margarita or bourbon with a friend or something, but
It's
not
a lot,
10 of them.
It's a lot.
Shit.
Yeah.
I'll sip on it.
It's a lot of where you're living, what you're, because it's like, I think about because I lived in Amsterdam for years, and it was like, that was, it was like Thursday to Sunday. You didn't even come home. You know what I mean? You were just like, we're out, we're going, we're gonna keep going. No, after party now, and then we're gonna.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're going to Meow at 10 p.m. Fuck.
Yeah.
10 p.m.
Like
I'm talking like days in a row.
Yeah.
Well, the other night at the Shroomski party, Katie's like, oh, well, I'm not going to get there till 9:30. I'm like, oh, that's how wind is out of my sails.
It was all Katie's
Then
fault.
I'm like, let me call Adam. Adam, what time you and Cece getting there? Probably not till after 8. All right, fuck it. I'm playing poker, putting my shorts on. It's just too late for me. I'm not. I can't do it.
Where's your Dave's a party guy? Come on, Vinny. Come on.
He's there. He already used it a couple of times. He already used it a couple.
Anyway.
But it's kind of like, what journey are you on right now? My journey is not that. My journey is trying to figure out where I am in my own headspace as I enter into my new life and existence. You know, it's been when you live a life a certain way, caring for someone, being daily responsible for their life from when you're 24 years old, and I'm 55 right now, and it's only a couple of months that I don't have that right now. It very enlightening, very exciting, but scary as all fucking get out. You know, so gotta figure that out, and being out late is a comfort zone that I'll attempt and conquer when the time is right in my journey.
That's right.
You know. Yeah. Oh, what did the Uber say? 8 minutes?
We probably should go. We're like a little bit late to a kind of obligation.
All right,
on
send me
very
the bill
important.
for your Uber.
Yeah.
Very important. Very important.
Yeah.
No, it's
And-
awesome. We always love having you in, Vince, whenever you're here. So.
Yeah. No, sweet.
And we also have Joe Dolce just rolled in, so we have guests lining up, just like we
Nice.
said. We weren't lying.
It's a full audience.
Yeah.
in
Thanks
here.
for having
Yeah, yeah.
thanks for having me again. This is fun.
And before he comes on, and as you get off, I just
Good
want you
night.
to go say hi to him, just because as I knew you were coming on the show, I was like, he's in town. I was like, perfect guy. I need to. I was like, you got to meet this guy.
So
Cool.
everybody needs to go to meowwolf.com. If you are a Colorado resident, you need to look into getting yourself the annual Colorado Pass. I don't know if it's something that they're going to offer in perpetuity, or you got to buy it now.
Yeah.
for the summer.
No, it's ongoing.
Okay.
The annual pass.
You-
Yeah.
it's too cheap. It's like $80.
$80.
So
Totally.
you have to get it. It wouldn't have gotten you in last night at 10 o'clock. That was a donation to Portal, and so you should look into Portal, who sponsored
yeah,
that
that's
event,
awesome.
because I hear very good things about them.
It's amazing. And if you haven't been to an event at the exhibition that's like a full takeover, we do them. They're called Danceportations every quarter, and they're just bonkers.
And I didn't get to, ooh and ah over what you've done for the community. And you really should understand that this conference we have right now, who know if it would ever have been a thing if Meow Wolf Santa Fe didn't begin and spark something
Thank
in
you.
thousands, hundreds of thousands, soon to be millions of people, in letting them know that they don't have to think the way that somebody told them they have to think, and that sometimes a refrigerator isn't just a refrigerator. Okay, sometimes shirts hanging somewhere is not just shirts. That you have to look right. They taught us, but we didn't learn the lesson that we do have to look behind the curtain. You really do have to go there, and there's more to what's going on right now, and I'm anticipating many more conversations about the potential of you letting something classified out and having fucking
Well, I
Will
appreciate
Smith
that.
show
Thanks.
up with his little flashy thing. Hello, you flashy thing, Kay, and and a talking dog.
It'd be
'Cause-
all my friends showing up. I'd be like, hey, what are you guys doing here? Oh, shit.
Yeah. Oh,
man.
what was I saying? Fuck, what the hell was I saying? Who are you? So,
Yeah.
thank you guys for coming
Yeah.
down.
Thanks,
It's
fellas.
Thanks
very
for having
much appreciated. We're not the best at goodbyes. Normally, if you were on Zoom, we would figure out how old you are by how long it took you to push the exit button.
So we just
But,
Irish goodbye. We just like you roll out.
websites, anything you want to give up one more time on your
OperationTrueNorthColorado.com.
yeah, and I'm sure somebody is typing it in the
Or just Google me, man. Hit me up on LinkedIn. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to find you help. You get across me.
I
I'm gonna
found you
help
on LinkedIn and on
Yeah,
Instagram.
that's
That
right.
was easy.
Yeah, it's super
it
easy.
was
Yeah,
not
you
hard.
find me, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Okay.
guys.
Yeah.
See ya.
Nice one,
Thank
as
you so
always.
much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Look at all hands going everywhere. Hands in every direction.
Thank you. Doctor,
Hey,
doctor, and doctor.
I know, right?
Yep.
And we
That was
have
cool.
and we have Joe Dolce coming in, but I want them to meet up first before. So
This is
and-
cool seeing,
people.
and I'm not even talking about them.
Yeah, you haven't seen
And
a
I
word.
see them.
You haven't seen a word.
Yeah.
That's why they're still here.
Oh, damn.
Usually you talk about them and they leave, and then we
Damn, they run. They didn't want.
They're like, oh, Dave Dave's included me in the show. And Mr. X hasn't even showed up yet. I'm surprised.
No, he shows up a little later usually.
So, but we do have a full house here, and we have the girls coming soon too. So we have the girls. We got Joe.
How awesome is that? You know, we don't give ourselves enough credit at the fact that we've gotten some really high-end A-list guests for a B-list podcast.
We always do.
You know, so that's
We can pull A-list out of our back pocket on
Exactly.
occasion.
Yep.
On occasion, and occasionally we have nothing. There's been a few.
But that doesn't
there's been a few
matter.
nothings. Which
That's okay.
Those are the.
What is this, by the way? This has some good
that is
flavor.
some Hawaii. It's called Hawaiian.
Who's this from? Or should
That's
we
from
even say that?
that's from the future. That is from the future. Our next week's guest,
No
who
shit.
was going to come on this week, but then, and I said, "Oh, I'll save the weed and I'll
Oh.
smoke it on the show." And then I was like, "Bring some
Did
more
they
weed."
believe it?
Of course.
Yeah. Tell them bring more weed.
But that is from our buddy Chris from Juicy Concentrates.
Ooh.
You know, have you heard of Juicy?
Of course I have.
Okay, so Juicy Concentrates. He's going to be here next week, and he's got a whole bunch of interesting industry talk, which we will bust into next week. I'm not going to even get into it yet this time, but we've got some shenanigans going on.
Well, speaking of future, then, I had a good conversation with Brett from Kaya, and he will be presenting our case to the powers that be about them, about us doing some marketing and outreach for them, and thus satisfying the fact that we get to smoke some amazing, because that's just, and their curing process was really fantastic, and it's not lost on me how cool it is that their arc is they inherited or they took over Truman Bradley's Southwest Alternative Care.
It was good that you figured that out at the end of the show, so you didn't hone in on that the entire time. 'Cause that would have been the entire show. Would have been, well, let's talk about
No. He was good at what he did, and he probably started the company with some of the best SOPs that were available in the day that he designed himself. When everybody else was fucking winging it and suffering from this thing that somebody might have brought from Amsterdam called powdery mildew.
No, it was the other way around. I brought it to Amsterdam.
Right.
I got it over here. I got it in Cali, dude. That was a Cali thing.
So, and shout out to Maps. I just got the 6 p.m. little text message that it's officially over.
Oh,
One in the books.
Dun.
Multidisciplinary
Adam did not
Association.
make it into the building.
Not at all, huh?
No,
And it was, I won't even say it out loud. It was great time. They took over the entire convention center, all 3 floors, up to the Bluebird Theater, everything. There were sessions on any topic you could imagine.
Yeah.
I will be honest, I was disappointed that the FDA, I'm not surprised, but that we were so close to phase, I get the number wrong, whatever the one, it's human trials of MDMA in a clinical setting for those with...
Or, I don't know.
Scaldone, if you're listening, just call in.
Call
okay?
in, take over
Just
the
tell
entire
us.
show.
Nope, we'll hang
And
up on
keep
you after
saying,
a few minutes.
So you got any chemical questions? You got any questions about
I'm a
like,
chemist.
I'm chemical chemist things. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, I knew that I didn't have enough time, and I was just like, I had so much to do that I was just like, you know, back and forth. Ain't happening. So I attempted to go today, and then traffic was crazy, and I was like, forget about it. Just gonna be on time to the show instead of late to my own show again.
I don't mind being the guy to, you know, having Vince here and having Dr. Josh, that maybe we should be putting out the, you know, like, what do they call it? Positive mental visualization. So maybe we're going to put something out there that sometime in November, we're going to throw the greatest ADSI anyone has ever shown. Professionally done, proper timing.
Now you're fucking it all up.
No,
Keep
it's
talking
no,
about
no, because that's the only way it's going to happen. We put the energy out there. It's going to happen because I'm not going to let you sit by and talk about it once last week and then never have it happen.
No, it's
We
happening.
have to do it.
No, I know.
So many people have came up to me after the Dude Grows Cup and were like, this would be a good thing to do. A good thing. So we're putting it out to the universe. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And even if we have to
Well,
involve
here's the thing.
Hoodoo Moses.
And here, exactly. And I already told you my concept, which was and we've done 4, right? But the first one being the one that we really have to redo the first one.
Was that where you met Rosendogs?
I think Rosendogs was there. I don't think
Okay.
we actually even like talked or anything.
He didn't come up to you. He was too afraid.
Well, I don't. No, I don't. He told me after the fact. Well, I was there, dude. I was there.
Are you sure? Can anybody prove it?
I'm pretty sure. But the key is, it's getting people to travel and the timing and not crossing over on somebody else's thing. And I've had so many situations where it's just been like, okay, we got to do it we have to create the right date that makes sense for everybody because it's tough, and doing that because you're like, oh no, that's when we all go to this. Oh,
I think there are enough people who really believe in this,
I know.
who want your concept that old just to go back in time-ish.
Well, the key is
they're here.
We had a huge lineup of things to do at that first one that all got completely sidetracked because
we have Mark now.
we had the MED. We had the MED on our ass. We literally had the MED.
Why would you say that out loud?
We had him on our ass. We did. Back then, when they were like, we were doing nothing.
It's Voldemort. You're whispering. Oh, shit.
Anyway, they called.
Fuck them,
They
man.
called in a fucking airstrike and took out our fucking event and like
Your centrifuges. They used a bunker buster, and that was the end of
I
that.
was like, well, there goes that fucking idea. That was.
Oh, well, let's call Dr. Josh back on for some military analyst of the bunker busting of the industry.
Yeah, they bunker
Yep.
busted my fucking show.
The MED, they came in. And remember how? Do you remember the language they sent out to everyone, to all? It was if we suspect that any of your employees at the Cannabis Cup were high or under the influence of cannabis, you will lose your license.
Ridiculous. Well, the funny part was, and then all the Cali people came and sold like 20, 30 pounds of weed at a time and had no problem with that,
Well, and I'd also like to go on record that they both left the show 15 minutes ago, and they're stuffing their faces with barbecue, and they haven't gotten their fucking Ubers yet.
Yeah.
So,
That's
I know
it's
it's
all
Vince's fault. I check his phone. I doubt he even texted anybody about being late to dinner. Okay? It's, who the hell knows? So who do we got? I see lots of people here. They're moving shit. And that one guy wasn't supposed to be here today, because if I knew he was coming here today, I would have asked him to bring something.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, but Mark said he wasn't going to show, but he's here.
It's okay. That's okay. Everything can be done in time.
But I don't want him
All
to
right.
leave before I'm
know,
done
she
with the
can-
show.
First Joe, then Joe. Joe's going to come on first because
Do we need landlady?
and the landlady could come on and hang out if she wants. That would be cool.
That's always cool.
And then, but we also have we've got all sorts.
We
of
have
ladies.
all sorts of ladies.
We got a plethora of ladies here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not just a bunch of dudes.
We even have an Oklahoman.
Katie's coming on.
Katie was
Yeah.
from the Oakland
Yes.
Yeah, you sit on Adam.
at the conference too.
Well, no, Katie has trouble not sitting far from me, so she has to
wants to
sit
be
right
close
next
to
to me.
Dave. Yeah. Of course.
Yep. Women have
There
that.
he is, the
that's- I have that
Dulcher.
effect on them.
Hi, Adam.
Hey.
You have no beard. I've never, I've never seen you without facial hair.
How do I look? Better?
You look good. You look really cute.
Yeah. Thank you. That's it. That's all.
Much younger.
Did
long
you
as
say
I-
he looks cute?
As
Yeah,
long
he
as
does
I
look
get
cute.
it cute.
he's
out of
a
Joe.
married straight man.
I
there,
know
buddy.
that. I don't care. He can still look cute.
But then again, he went to the psychedelic conference, so he might be dabbling right now.
Adam is a cute person. It's
It was all under there the whole time. You never knew. Because the funny part is his description of me when he first met me was that I had a small animal on my face or something like that.
Yes, it was, and
Yeah.
it was true.
And,
This is funny.
and then I met Adam Dunn, and he had a small ferret on his face or something like that. It was very,
It was a live
it was
ferret.
very
He has
descriptive.
shadow boxes of his ferrets. How many did you end up saving of your beards for?
I have
Nick?
plenty. I have a couple
Yeah.
of them. Yeah, I
That's
got
what
them
I
all
thought.
shadow boxed up and ready. They're all packed up.
When did you reveal yourself?
A couple years ago now, and it's still people talk about it. It's like the most talked about beard in the history of the fucking earth.
No, but
It's
you,
like-
you have to. You have
People
to
miss that beard.
You have to qualify it for a second. It was actually 2 beards. So he grew the one, he shaved it off, but then it came back, right? So,
they do
and-
that, they
but
do
the
that.
first
So they come
one
back, yeah.
is when he enjoyed walking around to people. When no one would ever. It's the first shaving that when somebody just walks up to you somewhere and sticks their face in your face, and you're like, "Who the fuck is this?" And it winds up being him. Then you have that moment. After that, it's old news.
Thank you.
And now it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Now it's the
Bring it back, please.
I got it. No.
Do you miss it?
No, not at all.
No?
Not at all. That's
Not
wild.
at all. Not at all.
It's
because
cooler.
If I could shave this off, I would.
It's just.
It hides my turkey.
It got so rinsed out. Everybody fucking copied my shit, and I was just like, all right, fucking bunch of dudes
Rinsed
looking like
out.
they
It
look all
got
the
They're
It's
so
great that you
rinsed.
look good
Me.
with and without it. There are some people that
Have to hide.
okay.
Have
That was
to
my
hide.
that was my fear, is that I would shave one day and be like, look at me, I'm old.
No, you lost enough weight that you don't have a chin, so you
I
do
didn't have,
fine.
I didn't have any weight to lose.
He
Oh,
was
you had
never-
beer weight.
My
Oh, when
beer
he
weight.
was drinking, it was you could see the chunky.
I
I don't remember Adam as
Yeah,
as
it was,
any
Nice.
I was
When he
hiding
was an
under the beard.
alcoholic.
I was hiding under that beard the whole
Yeah.
time. Anyways, welcome back.
Welcome.
It's been a while. You were at the original So High. Remember we had the reading.
I'll never forget it.
Of course, the highlight of your life, dude.
Are you kidding?
Highlight of your life. And that was the first book.
No, it was before So High. It was behind the fence in that warehouse.
Oh, yeah,
area.
even that.
remember what
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that? Didn't even have a name.
It was the van down by the river.
It was when Lodo was really not even.
Wasn't even
No.
dough. It was
it
just
wasn't
dough.
even just low.
It was-
Yeah.
It was still Hood Lab, but it was just like we didn't have
It was
much-
Hood Lab,
we didn't
that's
have much-
right.
Yeah, we had Hood Lab, and then we had So High, and now we're in So High 2.0.
And I still have your Hood Lab winter.
Yeah, it's the
the
Hood Lab.
turban.
The
Yeah.
hat. No, it's great. The hemp really
Oh, yeah.
works.
And did you
The Russian-
reset
the
and
Russian
tell
hat? Yeah,
everybody
the
who
Russian
he
hat, right?
is?
The Russian style?
Did he
Yes.
even?
No.
When?
I've-
When? You know, you
I've got
didn't.
no
He sat down.
introduction.
No,
No, we never
That's
do.
okay.
We never
We
do.
don't do that.
Introduce.
Okay,
You want me to
so
introduce myself?
No,
No.
no. Adam's going to do it now professionally.
this is a
Reintroduction of the new guest.
a
Take
real,
2.
a real true author. But previously, chief editor at
Details.
And Details was a great magazine back in the day. So.
When there were magazines
Like you
Print? Like on
I know,
paper?
we were just talking about it earlier. It's like it's
That
crazy.
glossy stuff?
with color, and
Oh.
it came off on your fingertips, and yeah, you
But
could actually make
and what year?
noise.
What years were those?
My God, 1992
Oh,
to
ancient.
2000. I'm old till about 2000.
Pre-Y2K.
No, that's good. That's right when we started in '93, and I remember because that was, I mean. Every flight you got on, you had to all right, I got to go over there. I got to buy
Read
like
something.
9 magazines before I get on this plane, right? And like just enough so I could pass out of the first half hour and not read any of them. But
Or you could have a Walkman.
but Details was a good one to pick up because there was like certain ones that were like some credible shit in there. You know what I mean?
Some credible shit.
But
We tried with some credible shit.
no, it was good. Actually, because we were talking about it the other day. On
You
it,
still
which-
haven't said
which-
his name.
Joe Dolce. I've said it 10 times. I have said it.
Very quickly
I
at the
mentioned it-
beginning
I
for a
mentioned it
second
as-
without not during the reset
when he
up.
walked into the show, and come on, come on now.
As promised.
But and I
Joe
did
Dolce.
a pre-intro before telling everybody that we did meet in Amsterdam back when you came to do your investigating for the
To see
first,
if I was going to write that book.
and then you were like, I guess it's got legs, kinda, but not really.
Well, that was, the Dutch, what was that, 2013 or so, and that was not a warm event in any
No,
way.
it's
It was
Dutch.
cold.
It's
It was
Dutch.
nobody was welcoming. The last
Didn't
day,
even say your name after
were
like
like
10 minutes. You're like, come
It
on,
was
man.
Dutch.
everybody was coughing all the time. It was freezing. There was no heat in the building. Not to be, too prissy, but Adam was the only one who talked to me. And I met him on the very last day, and he said, "There's no shit going. The lights are going off here, man. Come to Denver. I'll show you what's going on."
Yeah.
And I followed up, and he actually was there when he said, "Come to Denver," and he showed up. And
And it was perfect timing because you
It's
came like right at the
amazing.
heyday when shit was really popping off here,
amazing.
and things were like, whoa, everything was focusing on here, and Amsterdam really was dying, and
Yeah.
kind of did. And then, but you did Barcelona too, right? Didn't
Nope,
you?
never went to
No?
Barcelona,
Oh, I didn't go
no.
to check that out because that's where that whole European scene kind of moved because they
That's
figured
right.
out like, hey, they actually got good weather down there, and you can go out and eat dinner.
And people
at
are really
midnight.
friendly.
Way friendlier people,
Yeah.
exactly. Because, I mean, that you kind of hit the nail on the head about doing anything in Holland, which was it's in November, the Cannabis Cup,
was
which is the
November.
worst fucking time. It's wet and cold, and you're in these tiny little like places without good heating or ventilation, and yeah, it's
I was a little surprised, but it was also the end of It was the end of that version of High Times. They were wrapping up. It
Yeah.
wasn't really like they weren't really
and
investing.
there's huge news on that front too now.
Yeah,
which
Matt
is-
Stang is taking over again.
the Stanger is on it.
Do you know Matt?
Oh,
yeah,
very
well,
well, very well, very well.
when Adam called me up because I had sent we have a group thing on Instagram. I saw the guy from Raw Papers going, "You're not gonna believe what happened. I bought High Times
For $3 million.
I know,
That's like a penny.
I know.
It's nothing.
It
It's a penny.
Look, if they can, I have only high hopes. Okay,
Well, yeah.
only high hopes. I would love to see it go back. For me, it was an everything magazine.
Yeah.
It was almost as it made your heart pound trying to buy it, walking out at the door, that somebody would see that you were taking it as if you would have had like
No,
you
I'll
know.
take one hit.
It's amazing. And when it went corpy, and they attempted to do that thing with those New
Their
York guys.
distribution was so small, though. It was,
Tiny.
it was nothing.
It was really an authentic, like people loved it and
Yeah,
they
but
prized it. And
but it was people were
tiny.
scared to buy it.
Yeah.
And then if they bought it, what you would do is you would pass it around to your friends.
That's right.
So it was the most passed around magazine ever, like in history of magazines, because most magazines, like
What was the number you said? It was like
said-
24,
No, it was like I think it was like 10 plus, but
10 plus.
10 plus what? Passes?
yeah,
Yes.
which is
Okay.
huge in the magazine world.
Yeah.
Because, you
Not
know,
good for their profits?
No,
But
terrible.
really good for their readership. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you count readers.
And there are a lot of collectors out there, you know what I mean? So people would be collecting. Whereas if you get a lot of magazines, it's like, come on, dude, no one's collecting those.
TV guide.
No one's
that
got
would be it.
details. No one's hanging on to their details
Nope.
from back in
I'm
the
the
day.
only one.
Yeah, you got yours.
I
and
got
a few
mine.
people
Did you
work
bring any
there.
with you?
Oh, are you
Carry it
crazy?
around, carry it
I'm
everywhere.
bringing cards.
I saw those.
I brought
I-
2,000 of these buddy cards, and I don't want to take any home. So Katie told me,
Strategically positioned if you want to
do it the other way.
scan the.
For the QR code.
Yeah.
So it's not out until August, this book. So you'd have to pre-order, but at least it'll tell you a little bit more about it and a little bit more about me and why I did this.
Oh wait, we can do.
That was going to be my next question. I was waiting to ask, why did you do this? What
You know what
inspired you?
happened? Because I wrote Brave New Weed, this book on cannabis. Okay, so it didn't really sell a lot, but it was a gateway book. People thought, people started thinking I knew a lot about everything, all substances, because I knew a bunch about weed. A lot of it thanks to Adam.
Completely missed
So I started getting all these
Don't
questions.
throw your shoulder up, Patton. Just
Like people were asking me, like, if I do ayahuasca, will it hurt my heart? Or why, when I go to a rave, aren't my trauma's still there? Why isn't it helping my trauma? You know, if MDA works for trauma, why am I? A lot of questions. Are people really smoking a thing that you squeeze out of the back of a frog? I mean, all this stuff. And
no, they're boofing it.
they're boofing
They're
it,
boofing-
exactly,
yeah.
which apparently is unbelievable if you do that.
Boofing the boofoo. Boofoo
I can
boofoo.
imagine that.
But a lot of people were, and these were smart people, plugged in people. They didn't know, and I didn't really know, and so I went online, and I started looking for the answer, and I found there's some good stuff and some bad stuff, and a lot of marketing. Like this, there are a lot of people trying to make a lot.
Welcome to
of-
Colorado.
No, welcome to everywhere
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
capitalist, late stage capitalist America. Okay.
Come to my healing retreat center.
Yes, there's many of them, and that was another
It's
one.
like
It's
two
like,
people meet each other, like both hand flyers to their retreat.
well,
Wait, yours is on August 4th also? That's when the book comes out. I mean, the 5th.
love you. You're hired. But so I started looking into it, and then I realized no one had the answers, right? So I was Julie Holland, who wrote the foreword, is a psychiatrist and a huge psychedelic advocate, and a friend. So I went to her and I said, "Should I write this book? Like, should I do this? Because this is going to be a big lift."
Yeah.
And she said, "Do it tomorrow. Like just start." So I did. And
Spectacular.
I was really lucky because I was here two years ago to the 2023 conference, right?
Yeah.
And that's when there was the most bubbly before MDMA was sidelined. People were really excited. So
The energy's different this year. You can feel the shifts. There's
You felt it too?
yeah, there's
Good.
many shifts. There's
Oh.
many changes happening.
Yeah. It
There's
wasn't
levels
what
to
it
all of
was
this.
2 years
You
ago.
were there then.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I went to every talk about MDMA and therapy,
Did you?
MDMA and PTSD, MDMA and borderline, MDMA sex, whatever it was. I wanted to learn about it because
Do you like
I
it
ha-
or not? Do you like MDMA or not?
I do.
Does it like you?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, but I take it very sparingly. And
That's wise.
That's
minimally.
wise.
That's
yeah.
wise because
once you learn more about it,
It also starts. You build a. I can't remember what it's called. Some kind of weird tolerance that the more you do take it, the less effect it has over the years too. And I've noticed that too.
So Adam's introduced me to some people.
Everybody noticed that.
Yeah.
We've
That was
all
like-
noticed that.
We've all noticed that. Like, what's going on here?
It's just not the same love.
Wasn't it better back then?
But
Did I use the wrong cheat code?
No, but doesn't happen to me. It's
still powerful.
No?
Yes.
Okay, see, that's great.
Yeah, and maybe
I
it's
think it's because there's less unknowns. Like whereas like with acid or mushrooms, there's a lot more unknowns. Like it depends on. It's very different each time, and there's not. I mean, there'll be some similarities. Like as the come up comes on, very similar,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's like completely different each time. Whereas with MDMA, it's like there's like you kind of know every fucking plateau you're gonna get to.
You pretty much feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you know
And
it.
you're like, you're not gonna be like, oh my god, and then
I don't know.
occasionally-
Sometimes when you have that expectation
But-
like that, it can unlock something
it's
in the
more-
right setting where you can
You just
tap
relax
into
into
it.
it. Yeah.
Literally burst my heart wide open every time. I've
Yeah.
not had a time that it did not burst my heart.
That's so
just
beautiful, right?
Wide open.
That's wonderful.
Holy smokes.
Yeah,
Every part of
It's-
it.
it's
Every
very-
time. I'm so grateful.
So, but this was 1992. I did a therapist-led session
Oh,
with
well,
my
well.
girlfriend at the time, and so that was life. What do you need?
You mean you were
Actually.
fixed?
It was life changing for me because I'd never experienced anything like that before, and I was very lucky to get some from someone who was very reputable. It wasn't. It had nothing that you would say, "Oh, the kids take that one," and then they need a
double stack,
pacifier.
bro, double
Yeah.
stack.
It was
Mitsubishis.
never a pill form where I
Double
didn't know what.
stack.
That was
Yeah.
There was a guy, I didn't watch it, but there was some guy who did a complete breakdown of all the different pills back in the day. Like he went through every fucking one and like because there was so much hype behind everything, you know what I mean?
You
But
take a blue one or a green
Yeah,
one or
yeah,
a
I do know what you're talking about.
hyperdapapropazole.
Were you around when they used to make MDMA look like sweet tarts?
I might have been, but I didn't take them. I was very
That's-
fortunate that my psychedelics were Owsley's acid, and so
Oh.
I was in the right circle. That I didn't always get it, but the times I did, or Blue Unicorns from 1989, 1990 were.
I don't know.
These are literally myths to me. These are things that I
You can
only
Google
They
like,
are myths.
grew up hearing
are, yeah.
about. It's wild to now find myself in some of these circles where I'm like, wow, this is all.
Yeah, but they didn't know about Bufo.
No, people. a lot of this, just so much of this is just ancestral, so ancient knowledge, and also so brand new.
But our culture,
and so
it's
this
so
is like
brand
was
new.
a
Yeah.
great to be able to witness a lot of the elders speak at this conference too, because more space was held for that, and they're curious about the psychedelic movement. They're curious about the. They asked, I believe one of them asked, "Am I dressed wrong? I don't know where I fit into this," and so much about
That's
this
interesting,
conference
huh?
was like, how do we find that bridge between the old and the new? Because the new is curious, and so how can we, before we get to the conflict, I see that there's already conflict on many levels. However, before you get to conflict, there is curiosity about, what is coming up? How do we hold space for that? In a partnership, you hold space for that. And so that's what looks like is happening this year at the
I think that's right. I think it's a good, yeah.
there's like a bridge happening, and it's uncomfortable,
It's
because
really
people
dope,
are
yeah.
being introduced to each other with a lot of new and interesting energy. However, love and acceptance is available to all of us. And through these plant medicines, like you sit down and smoke a joint with somebody you never would have thought in a million years you would be talking
Well, that's
think
the nice
about
thing
that,
of
how
a
you-
conference, right?
And that's
Definitely,
medicine.
definitely more than the weed conferences.
Yeah, and you
It
can
is
have.
definitely
we
different.
had some we had some of
Definitely.
the weed girlies there. We have
Well,
Jenn
we have-
Doe.
We brought some weed girlies. We got weed
And
girlies coming on.
Yeah.
Girlies.
Think of
we
psychedelics
were
now.
talking about that, just how
There's no
There's
no
not-
prohibition now. There's no stigma. We now have an open
There's
forum
still
where
very
we
much a
can,
stigma.
well, but not here in Denver this past 4 days. This
we're
was a safe
communicating
space.
about it. Yeah.
Oh,
This
in
was
4
where
days.
anybody could.
Yeah, for 4 days, yeah.
For 4 days.
But that's a start.
That's a start. I
we
worked.
didn't. We.
It's a start.
So a few years ago, Adam calls me up one night and he says, "Hey, you know what we're gonna do?" I said, "What are we gonna do?" He says, "We're gonna devote one show a month to mushrooms because I
what a
hear
great idea.
it's going to be on the ballot in a few years. So we should start to talk about it and get in front of it." So years before this was a thing, we had on Travis Fluck, who
I
was
saw him
famous.
today.
I don't know who
for-
that is.
He wrote the ordinance that became the decriminalization here in Denver.
okay.
It was his stewardship of
He
an
started
idea.
the petition.
And it became
For Denver.
what we
It was for
have.
Denver.
Just for Denver County, and really, legally, didn't hold water at all. But everybody knew they could come to Denver, and nobody would fuck with them for psilocybin.
This man's
and
name
that
was
Travis Tyler Fluck.
Fluck?
F-L-U-C-K.
That's a
yes.
tricky last name, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
you fluck it up.
Yeah, don't fuck that up, okay?
Oh, that was perfect.
But we did it years before it was a thing. Before anybody said microdosing, we were experimenting with it on the show.
Oh, yeah?
We sat with Vince at the
Vince Meow Wolf?
yes in a mobile studio in the parking lot of Meow Wolf on opening night. And when he said, "I don't really smoke that much," and then he started smoking joints with us.
That's what he said.
And then no, I really shouldn't eat mushrooms before we go in on opening night. And then we all ate mushrooms and went in on opening night.
That's hard.
So
That could
it
be.
was.
Did he have a good time?
We all come on. How much of a high was that going in with the guy who
On the opening night?
yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, and having just interviewed him from our mobile studio,
Ah.
I'm using that term loosely. It was a
loose interview?
white van, a white cargo trailer.
Studio.
Turned it into a
The mobile studio.
Yeah, it
Come
was.
on, way to paint it for the
It-
audience.
that's
it
what
was
it was.
opening night. We literally were sitting on the sidewalk in front of the door.
And it was
It
the
was,
first time that
spectacular.
Rosendog said, because Mike Denver came on the show and he has very long hair, and he just made the joke, "Who is that? Mike Denver's sister?" And I've been using that now for years. He hates when I say that, but
Yeah, that's not very kind.
So did you? So let's go back to the book now. The book.
Yes, the book.
Did you do like Shulgin and go and try all these different?
I didn't try everything, but I tried most. I didn't try Ibogaine.
Yeah, that's something you only need to do if you really need to do it. That's not like
That's
try
what
Ibogaine.
it's. Well, you know, although I have to say, I found a group of folks in Tepoztlan, Mexico. Have you ever been there?
No.
It's this cool healing center.
Tulum, sort of near Tulum.
Not nearly as touristy as Tulum, and it's near Mexico City. It's an hour and a half away. But it's a really interesting, amazing group of people. And there's two groups there I found that are doing microdosing of ibogaine. So very sub-threshold doses that, you know, don't last for 36
I
hours.
was going to say seems super opposite of the normal.
Yeah. And they say it's a
wait,
super
Ibogaine is a 36-hour experience.
36 hours.
Does
And
it matter what dose you take? It's just always going to be a.
It's a flood. Usually, so the way it's administered here is usually for addiction or PTSD or for trauma medically. Okay, in Gabon, West Africa, where it's from, it's an initiation rite. So
my
at
gosh.
age 13, you're taking this large dose of this powder that's supposed to taste really terrible. It's from a particular tree in Gabon.
It's very. It seems to be. It's very individual. Like I know people have tried. Like they tried everything. Did nothing to them at all. I was like, really? Like,
Iboga?
yeah. And then and my mom even. My mom's like, we did Ibogaine, but you know, like I was like, really? Okay. So I think.
Wait, she
and-
did it while
I've
she was
had the
pregnant
same
with you?
experience.
No, I did not say she was pregnant, but she did it a long time ago. But James Bean, he said he did it, didn't do nothing to him either. So it's I feel like
Huh.
it's one of those things where it either works fucking really good, or it might not.
But
work.
he also has tremendous success with DMT, so maybe there's a part of the brain that can accept that type of experience. But
They're
can't
not
experience-
the same.
They're not.
They're really totally different chemicals.
Well, I'm saying maybe there's a part of their brains that one is functioning, one isn't, and
Whoa,
that's why.
you fucking brainiac over here.
I mean, well, we have different receptors that absorb
We
different
do.
chemicals. So if it doesn't work like that, then that just means you're not metabolizing it in your brain. We have a CB1 and a CB2 receptor where all they do is metabolize cannabinoids. So maybe that person
God,
doesn't
how tired-
have
how
that
tired are they?
ibogaine.
Fuck,
However,
dude,
it's
stop with the cannabinoids. That's all I do
no,
all day
I'm
long.
talking about that.
Converting your cannabinoids.
No, I'm
what,
talking
your
about
brain?
just how it.
They don't
your
know.
brain.
They have no idea yet
Right.
how it works because it's so new to the West. But it is
But it does
No,
have a
I
super
think
high
so much
success
of
rate.
it is like
Amazing.
microbiome connected
80%.
too.
microbiome. How so? Oh, in the gut.
Yeah, in the gut. I really
We don't
do.
know that, and it's
just
probably
like if you
really
make
true.
the connections with nature, you make the connections with the soil, you make the connections with like actually what our neurotransmitters are and how all of this works, how the microbes in the soil and the fungi and how all of it is such symbiotic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It only matches that would be the same inside of us.
That's a good point. I agree with you. Did you hear Paul Stamets' speech?
didn't.
You didn't hear Paul?
No.
Oh, did you hear Paul?
I did not.
Because he's a mushroom messiah, you know.
He's
Just
adorable.
before you
yeah,
talk about
I love
great.
Paul too.
Before you talk about Paul, just so you understand, I agree with what you were saying earlier. There was a general different tone here where when I walked in, so I did go on Wednesday. I walked around for about an hour. I didn't catch the same vibe, you know, and then I just wound up doing other things.
No, it's
so
funny,
I wouldn't be the person to say whether or not this was because I wasn't there enough.
Well, it was just a smaller. I mean, they said that 2 years ago there were 12,000 people.
Oh, wow.
And this year they said there were more like 8. Those are, and I only have read those estimates, so I don't know.
Well, and then they had it set up different too, so it was more spread out, which thank goodness, because last year some of it was a bit much, and so I think by design, even if it was a little bit smaller, that's okay.
Maybe it
That's
may
kind
have-
of the organic ebb and flow of everything, and not everybody that is absolutely in support of this or interested, curious, whatever, was able to attend.
And I
So-
think everyone was probably just a little bit deflated, and we just let it be
I think
known
so. I think so.
that
Well, this is
we had
also the-
such high hopes for MDMA treatment and therapy and the potential that it can be used in a Western setting, but fucking
Yeah.
FDA.
We fucked it up again.
We didn't do
It
shit.
actually,
they
you know,
did.
you
I
got to
mean,
say,
kind of what
you know,
Dennis McKen-
there were these interesting wars going on behind the scenes. I don't know all that much about them, but one other psychedelic group torpedoed
Of course.
MAPS. You know that, right?
It always
Symposia.
happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which company was it? Let's fuck them over.
Symposia. Well, you know, it's an interesting problem. I don't know if you guys want to talk about this, but like, who should control these things? Should it be doctors? Should it be the government? Should it be us?
We'd be hypocrites if we said anything other than us, because
Us.
that's what we've been saying.
I
for-
know, but it's a huge. So you know, if you look at it from a distance, right? MAPS is all about the medical model. So
I know.
and I'm not saying what Symposia did was a good thing, but
But psychedelics have always been part of like the immersion of the person who's giving is taking with them. You know what I
Yes.
mean? That's how it works.
Yeah, that's
always
how it
worked.
works.
Because you were testing, you know, you weren't just like, here you go, and call me in the morning type thing. You know, that comes out later when people are just out there trying to make money or whatever. But only the best, like mushrooms should be given, acid should be given. You know, it's part of the whole deal. It's like, you know, there's a connection. So it's like, hey, you know, and even if you don't trip with the person, you know that they're fucking like, they're not giving it to you because they're giving it to you because they've thoroughly tested it. You know what I mean? It's been
yes, yeah, and they
thoroughly
actually, and you know, I met a couple of the really old
And
the
those are good
elders of LSD, and they really cared about their product. I got to say, they were not.
No, people take pride in.
They were really like, why would you take that risk?
No.
And they really thought it was an ordination, like they had to do it for humanity. And you know what?
Well, no, it was never money. It was never
Look at
money.
us! Look at us today. How was their idea? Was it a good idea or a bad idea? You know, it's.
Well, it was always
it was
always
a very
the
interesting one.
It was. What else? I mean, look, we might be a better society today if we had more unity, more touch with nature, more love abounding, right?
Yeah, we don't-
believe
I think
that.
we would
That's
be-
my belief.
I think
Definitely
we would be a little better
definitely
off.
wouldn't be
Holy
less, that's for
smokes!
sure.
Yeah, more organic, more less.
More in
less
touch
of
with
the-
what we're doing to the world and the environment. It's so terrible, right? And
Unfortunately, the pendulum is swinging the opposite direction at the moment, but it's
Unfortunately.
our responsibility to share whatever we have with others. So
There's
that
a lot of light too.
yeah,
There is,
I
there
understand,
is.
and that it all must exist in this way. And so it is really up to us individually. What the real currency is your attention. What are you paying attention to in
Very
your
good
life?
point.
You have to be the change that you want to affect.
it's a really good
If
point.
you're constantly like this, like what are
What-
you? Are you really walking it like you're talking it to?
What are you paying
Are you taking
attention
good
to?
yeah, are you taking good care of yourself, your neighbors, your people? Are you like
well, it's like probably the number one realization that people have on psychedelics is about treating people better. You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like that's pretty much what it comes down. If you're
you're me and I'm you.
yeah,
I have to take care of you.
Like I've hardly ever had anybody come out of it with the opposite of that. It's
Yeah, me
usually
too, me
it's
too.
almost always that. It's like, oh, I need to take care of my mom better, or you know, whatever it is. And it's just because we all know what our mission is. We just don't. Some of us choose to fucking deny it or something. You know, like, oh well.
a lot of
You know,
interesting
and then all of a
programming.
sudden you're faced to it when you do psychedelics. It takes away that second thing where you're like, oh shit, I can't hide from myself no more. I'm like, oh fuck, there's nowhere to go. You know what I mean? And then at that point you got to just deal with it. And so for some people it's very difficult because they have so much that they're avoiding for so long. And for other people, it's like, oh, well, that's just fucking reinforces all the positive things you already are doing. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully you're just like, oh, well, I'm doing a good thing here or whatever. But, there's a lot. That's like when we do IO ceremonies, there's always people around us that are going through it, you know what I mean? And you're like, wow, dude, damn. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm all right over here because I ain't going through any of
Adam's
that.
always cool as a cucumber, no matter what we do.
It's like,
That's
He's
interesting.
Adam motherfucking
He
Dunn.
is.
Adam is so sorted.
He is.
He's just
no,
he's so
I got
healthy.
plenty-
Adam
I
is,
got
you know.
plenty- I got-
Let's hope he's not Rob Corey,
I
okay?
got
You know,
plenty- I
the
got plenty
poem
of,
guy.
plenty in there
right?
too, but not
So-
nearly to the fucking degree that I seem so. Oof.
I'm sure you have your own set of issues that you're working on.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
not. No one is saying that you're perfect and you can handle every psychedelic
No, you're pretty
experience.
self-aware,
Oh, no,
though.
no,
You know.
We're
no,
friends
for-
with him. He's pretty self-aware.
Oh, I'm well aware of that
You
too.
know?
I
Don't-
remember this is the first person I ever got jealous of in 1990. Going, fuck, I like that guy's job.
That's
You know,
funny.
as a 20-year-old, where
to
I
steal
didn't
it now.
hadn't given a fuck about anything, where I wouldn't have ever said or ever admitted I was ever jealous of anything. But seeing this kid, my own fucking age, who just moves to Amsterdam and is Jack Herrer's handler, it was a bit of a stretch for me to not go, fuck. I could just teach me your way, Obi-Wan.
It took 30,
It's funny
35
because
years
when you're-
later, then we're
It's just his existence.
Well,
All of
but
us
it was-
are, like his existence is that, and it's funny to be friends with him too because you see how his existence is just. He's one of those ultimate connectors. Like
shut the
in
hell up.
He
it's
found
the
me.
truth.
He always finds
He's
me.
like
I could
always
never come
surrounded
to
by the
Denver.
coolest fucking people.
Adam always he finds me when I come here.
No, people find Adam. He's like cool ass
Let's
people
go-
are
yeah,
drawn to
but
him.
you learn
Let's go
early
back to the-
on
let's
that
go
you
back
So
to
it
not
does
everybody
not
is.
surprise me that Joe is
Thank you.
sitting here with us because
Let's go back to the drugs that Joe took. What
And did you bring any with you?
Did you? So you didn't do ibogaine.
Didn't do ibogaine and
Obviously did mushrooms. 'Cause that's-
did mushrooms. did
MDMA,
more
ayahuasca.
LSD, and combined ketamine with high dose ketamine, which was pretty remarkable, I must say.
Intravenous?
No, I did nasal infusion, but high nasal infusion.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and I did it with these guys that had a psychedelic center in New York. It was such a cool place. All the walls were made of mycelium, all from mycelium network, right, that grow underneath. And one of them played the bells while I'm on my trip.
Not hippie at all.
And he
No.
but he adjusted
Was there
the
patchouli
sound.
in the
Of
air?
course.
Yeah,
He
was-
adjusted the sound.
Yes.
Oh, these were like serious
Grilled
therapists.
cheese?
Oh no,
Grilled
no,
cheese,
these are
anybody?
like serious therapists and practitioners, and it was so beautiful. But so ketamine with MDMA, because on the tail end of MDMA, ketamine provides a very nice landing,
So
much smoother.
I was talking to Vince earlier, and he mentioned that 2CB
amazing.
is
Love that one.
taken
I
at a
love that.
time schedule with LSD.
And MDMA.
No, not
well,
a-
he
not
was
with
talking.
MDMA.
No, he was talking about it with specifically with
Really?
LSD.
UCB after. That was the afterglow. It was like the.
Take it after.
Yeah.
oh,
Not
this
with.
fits.
Oh no, this was during with you. You take at a certain time because there's like
Dave's,
4
Dave's
hours.
just explaining candy flipping to like
I was
as,
gonna
as,
say,
a, as,
are
a,
you-
as a scientist.
No, I'm-
just minister 30 minutes.
I'm just saying that's an interesting concept, right?
Yeah.
Because now you can play with the times of ingestion
Yeah.
for a different experience.
Yeah, that's what makes it modern,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that was like the on that Vice show where they had the underground bunker with the LSD bunker with the Picard when the guy was down there, and then they had.
Leonard Pickard.
Yeah.
I interviewed him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
he's
guy's-
amazing.
That guy's awesome.
And he is
Yeah.
so he was the one who basically said he didn't say we did it because he still maintains that he was not the man making gazillions of tabs of acid when he was caught by the FBI. And he's a really brilliant guy.
Super. Yeah, he was
And-
he was like the source. For
He-
about a third of all.
And he was the one who felt that it was a mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
But he had this other
and
guy
he's
that-
a super bright guy.
He had this other guy that was working for
That's
him who was
spectacular.
some maniac, and that guy would do IV drips of DMT, and he had like he'd dial it in where he could just be like just kind of like could flow with it, and I was like, dude, you're out of your mind. Like, you know, and he had this girl,
Wow.
and
That is
he'd hook this girl up to it, and she'd sit there and fucking like dial it, like you could just get it right down to the.
Yeah, but you don't get to stop right?
Yeah.
How do you?
That's a
What
lot.
if you can't verbalize?
Oh,
I've had enough.
I have a hard enough time with the nitrous tank trying to fucking.
I was just gonna say this kind of sounded like that nitrous thing we did.
That's what you say is interesting though, because I heard a presentation on DMT yesterday, where they're trying, because it only lasts for like 5 or 10 minutes, right? It's a really short window. They're trying to they have successfully extended it to 60 minutes.
Yeah,
And have you ever tried
The
DMT?
chog.
No,
is
that's
that
what
the
Let me tell you,
chaga?
5 minutes is you are in infinity and beyond. Am I right? You've tried, yeah.
100%.
It is.
Yeah.
You are somewhere else.
Yeah, you don't need. I mean, to me,
See, 5 minutes is enough.
exactly.
60 minutes feels. I mean, but they said the subjects could endure it, and they felt it was good experience.
Right,
That's
and I think that's part of it is that like you don't retain a lot from those
No.
5 to 10 minutes. You're just like, as you're there, it's like it's happening, and you're on.
It's so beyond your ego.
Your head's on a swivel, and you're cruising, trying to like look at everything, trying to see what you can see, and
You're not even you,
No,
though.
can't-
I wasn't
I
even me. I
literally-
mean,
no, I literally remember asking. I could like consciously remember asking, "What are we? What are we?" And they were like,
you mean the elves? You were talking to the elves?
"Whatever we were, whatever." And
Yeah.
it's happened so many times, and everybody has these same experiences.
oh no, yeah,
And I'm,
it's
like,
usually a
gonna
little
continue
question.
to
You get this
see-
little question, or something comes to you, and it's like mine was. They 100% were talking to me too, and it was the same thing. It was like, you don't need to go there because you're already there. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm here. Like, gee, I was like that quick because I remember just going like, I gotta break through. And it
Break
took,
through
like,
what, Adam?
Break
and I
through
took-
what? That was my question.
And I took a big hit, and then I tried,
Look behind
I
you.
gotta keep going, and I took a second hit, and then I tried to do the third hit, and I just like froze, and then I fell. I was by myself too, totally like everything wrong, hard wooden floor, and I like.
Go slow,
I-
go
I
low,
landed on
not
the-
Adam
I-
Dunn,
I,
right?
Set and
I
setting.
landed on the floor, and the pipe like rolled across the floor, and it sounded so fucking crazy.
That's
it was
bad.
Like, it was like dingy 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 dingy. I could hear like this like thing, and I was like, holy fuck! Like it went like so quick, and I was like, I'm dead. That's it. I'm dead. I was like, you fucked up. You fucked up, Adam. You know. And then I was like, it was. I think those are what you need. You need those every so often, because the problem was I tried like a couple times before, and it was like. I was being a pussy, and I was like, no, this time I'm going in hard, you know what I mean? And it didn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand up in a
That's
room
like
with
the
corners.
ultimate ego death. That is your ego.
Oh,
that
yeah, no,
voice. So
Why,
it's
why
like-
didn't you just call somebody to
there's no-
administer with you?
No.
He's Adam motherfucking
Okay,
Dunn.
That's why, right?
because it was exactly because it was funny. I was out at some like club party, whatever, and somebody's like, "Dude, you got some DMT?" And I was like, "Actually, I do." And so they reminded me. So when I got home, I had this big giant like Greek pickle barrel, and I like it was filled with just random drugs. It's like the random drug pickle barrel, right? And so I like go in there, I get home, and I'm kind of buzzing still, and I'm like, I'm gonna find that DMT. I open it up, and I kind of like somehow just went straight to it, like
Through all the drugs.
through all the drugs, found there it is, right? And I was like, holy fuck, I got a lot of this shit. Like I was like, I got to make sure it works. And so then I was like, and then I like had this special pipe, you know, because you can only use one pipe for DMT, otherwise you're fucked, you know.
Yeah.
That's it. Never use that pipe
That's your
again.
DMT
That's
pipe.
your DMT pipe for life.
It's true.
So I had this big, huge wooden fucking Indian pipe thing, and I just went really hard to the fucking paint on that time. And I was like, all right, that worked. That was 100%. Like so.
That's Adam Dunn.
Well, and there you go.
When and if I ever get to a state where I feel comfortable
Cool.
enough taking that journey, I would have to have somebody around because
usually a very good
yeah,
idea.
Yeah.
I have a
We write
breathing
about
issue,
these
right? I
things.
wear a CPAP at
You
night,
really
so
need
it's like
to.
I need to protect my airway. I would be afraid, right? So that
You
would
should
be
be.
the wrong time
Yeah.
to ingest a substance like that. So when I can then feel comfortable that I am protected, you know, like I wasn't worried when my cousin, you know, who's a dentist who had done this a gajillion times, took me to a far off land. Same thing with potentially DMT or
First
some
message.
other.
The first message I had was they don't need computers in the jungle because the jungle is a computer. That was the first
Are
thing.
you really?
Yeah, that was the first thing. I
You
had.
remember?
Yeah, that was the first one, and that was at the CIA at my original spot, and I had this fresco painted on the wall that was like kind of 3D because half the wall was crumbling, so it made it look like an old like scenery thing or whatever, and it turned into a fucking jungle, and it was like microchip computer things going around, and I was all like, oh yeah, that. And I saw like it was funny too because I saw panthers and fucking all sorts of like South American things. And then I come out.
Isn't
of
that
it,
interesting? Isn't
and
that
then-
amazing?
And I come out of it and I tell my friend, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well it's funny because that's where it's from." And I was just like, "Fuck, dude, I don't know." I tapped in on some fucking. I was like, panthers, computers.
But you're not
jungle.
alone. But like that's what a lot of people report. That was
Yeah.
the amazing thing,
Yeah,
right?
and I got all the, and then then the second time was the elves telling me the fucking you don't have to go there because you're already there, and I was like, all right, these guys they know what's up. And I was like,
I had a similar experience on LSD, my first Grateful Dead show, my first LSD experience where I just said, holy shit, I can do this all the time. In fact, I want to do this all the time. They're old, I'm young. There's going to come a time where I'm going to want to see them. They're not going to be here. Problem solved, that's it. And that was all I took. And I saw 150 plus shows before Jerry will pass
Did you
from
really?
89 to 95. Really from 89 to 92, because then I moved to the West Coast. So there was a lot. I went in hard. That's why I said I never did cocaine, because everything I do,
just did Grateful Dead.
I
didn't do
just-
cocaine. I just did Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did Grateful Dead.
and a lot of LSD.
Understood.
Yeah.
So do you like 5-MeO DMT?
It's less less vibrant.
Less
It's-
thrilling,
Yeah, you get.
but it's amazing.
It's more.
I
I like the more.
You're on camera when you're
I like-
mouthing.
I like
you know,
the-
they
I know.
recognize that.
That's more like clinical vibe. I feel like.
Did you really?
Well, it just has more like there's less visual. More,
No, there's no
Yeah,
visual.
I mean-
It's
No
like that
visual, it's all-
whiteout.
Yeah.
For some reason, I loved it.
There's something about that's I like that too.
And then when it
Yeah.
comes back, like the way it fractalizes when it starts coming back, and
You
it's like
feel it
it's
in
like
every
it's like
cell of
it's
your
like a
body.
dream in reverse almost. It's just incredible. Like well, there's no words, right?
No.
That's the hard thing about writing
think-
a
I
book
think-
about this shit.
I was gonna ask you
I
about
think
that
and
too.
There was also
but you're
that was
quite
like
eloquent.
considered more that was considered more masculine energy, and the other one was
DMT?
considered more feminine.
More
energy.
feminine.
The more the raw kind of orange.
The frog is more
No,
feminine.
No, GMT. Just
Oh, DMT, oh.
So you have like the raw kind of form, which is like the orange guy. So orange looks like hash, kind of orange, gooey, whatever. That's considered the female, and then you had the powdered fucking white powder 5-MeO, which was more the masculine.
I didn't know that.
cycle, which makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
who the fuck knows?
I don't know.
Well,
Interesting. So what's your
so what-
what's the website for your book?
Ener-
yes.
Well, there is no website.
How do people get your book?
Yeah.
Well, you can't get it yet because it doesn't
On
exist as
August
a book.
5th.
You go to a bookstore.
He's got to write the
and you
whole
ask
chapter
for
about
it.
being on the Adam Dunn show. That's the whole chapter
Oh.
now.
And then,
Then
or you
I
could go
wanna
to
do
my
it.
Substack and follow that, and then you'll know when it's coming
Got
out.
it,
But
okay.
or you go to Amazon. By the way, I should have said this first. You go to Amazon and buy the
Oh. I
damn
heard of
book.
those guys.
What's it called? The title of the book is Modern Psychedelics: The Handbook for Mindful Exploration. You have to say the title, right?
You do.
By-
And it's long. And it's a
At least
long title.
once.
You did
Well,
it
just
wrong.
modern psychedelics.
I know.
But it's a good cover, don't you think?
I do.
Joe Dolce.
Spectacular.
It's very Beatlesque.
Beatlesque.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different take on it, and I like that take. I thought it was like very doors of perception
Okay.
in
There's
more
doors.
modern,
There's doors.
in
there.
more modern colors, like very literal.
I thought it was sort of very
They did a
San
good-
Francisco Grateful Dead
See?
based, like
It's
it
like,
was.
it's like psychedelic.
Yeah.
You
Well,
bring
the,
to it.
the Beatles got influenced by that, right? So that's
Yes,
that's
of
like-
course, of course.
They changed their image pretty fast. Like what?
That's for sure,
first
huh?
dose, they're like, "Pff, that's it. We're completely
We're not doing that anymore.
no.
We're
yeah,
moving to we're going to reinvent music,
Yeah.
That's right.
basically, right? We're just going to reinvent the whole genre because we're done with rock and roll was then.
And then Paul died, and then they had to replace him. Come on, we got to get into that conspiracy. You know
Oh,
that's true.
yeah.
That is 100% true.
Wait till
you
Adam
guys
tells
are
you about
fine.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh yeah, she's a
Oh, my
hermo.
gosh.
Come on now, dude. You don't know all these good conspiracies. You gotta keep them. Gotta keep them alive. Well, that's awesome. We have other guests coming in
That's
too.
fine.
So we
Throw me out.
throwing you out
Thank
to the
you, Joe.
wolves. Throwing you to the wolves.
Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure.
Make
really
sure you get some
nice.
barbecue next door.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Give us 5 stars.
It's only like 100 degrees
know.
outside, so I'll go
Well,
stand by the
The barbecue
fire.
is under
Yeah,
air
we have air
conditioning, and
conditioning.
Vinny did a great job
It's
with the air
misted.
conditioner here today.
Yeah, he showed me.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Vinny.
Guys,
We
thanks for
appreciate
having me. It was so great to
always.
see you, man.
Absolutely.
So
Always.
great.
Now you get to see
Thank you
the
for finding me.
No, for sure. I'm glad we got to
Come
link
back
up.
anytime.
So glad to see you.
Yeah, you too.
It's good you post while you're there and not like after the show. Like, man,
What
they
was
were
I
all
gonna
there.
say?
I hate when people do that. They're like, they don't till they get home. They make sure all the photos are good, and then you can't meet up with them.
Yeah.
I was like, he's in town. He's coming by.
Absolute pleasure.
So, and thanks for tomorrow.
Nice. And then everybody's been. Do you know how
Who
many
do we
people?
got?
Do you know how many people hit me up when they saw Jenn Doe was going to be on the show? They were like, "Oh my God!"
I ran into her and Kate at the conference,
I know.
and I like stood there and waited, fangirled out about Jenn. She's spectacular.
Oh, look, she's kvelling. You're kvelling.
Yes.
Oh, well, blush on camera
So you can come over here, Jenn, and then we can get another mic. I think.
if Vinny is listening.
Vinny, can we get one more mic? We can take one from over there.
Notice, Vinny, that Adam asked for it. I didn't ask for it. So
What's up?
We got
We
one
need
on this
another
side,
mic.
one on this side,
Or-
and then pull that chair over there, and we're gonna can we get a fifth mic?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so happy. to see
Get the
you.
fifth mic, and then we'll.
Oh, look, we
This
give
is
it
so
out.
great.
Yes.
love it.
Let me get you comfortable.
What did Vinny say? Hi.
I'm Kate. Nice to meet you. Are you a member of the tribe, Dave? I heard failing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. February 5th, 1983.
Welcome, welcome.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech
ladies.
haolam.
The ladies. You're gonna move over. There
Yeah,
you
we're
go.
getting
Yeah, we'll let Vinny come and figure it out.
Whenever.
So,
Now, this is, remember, we can do the proper reset.
okay, you can introduce.
No, you have to introduce.
Reintroduce
Go ahead.
the naked gardener herself.
Used to be.
Used to be formerly known as the
Formerly
naked.
known as.
Yes, you can go back into.
Are you
the,
a symbol or something? You're this coin like Prince or something?
No, that's not her coin.
No.
I know.
Should
I
have,
mean,
though.
like I said, I had calls coming in from all over the place.
Oh, good.
It was good. East Coast, West Coast,
Good.
Thailand?
Mexico.
Mexico.
Not
Good.
Mexico.
Yes, Mexico called. They were
Ah.
like, "Hey, we have heard."
Send her back.
Jane Doe will be on show.
Exactly.
Send her back.
No,
Are you
that's
from Mexico,
exactly
then?
what they said
No.
was that you're going back.
Oh, no.
That's what they said.
I need to.
All right, good. Well,
Hear me?
I
they're
need
waiting.
to. It's in the plan.
That sounded really bad.
Yeah.
Do it again. Sounded like some garbage. And oh wow.
That's okay.
Modulation.
We can do without it. Okay.
Modulation.
Proper modulation. Katie already found something else to do.
So
Yep,
how? So
she
you
makes
came
sense.
for the show.
Yes. Thank
Wait,
you
so
for
you're
having us.
Jane Doe. Who are you?
Oh, my gosh.
Not
Jen.
Jane.
Jen Doe.
Jen Doe. Sorry.
Jen, not Jane.
I'm Jen Doe. Sorry,
Jenny from
I'm
the block.
old.
It's a good. Could be a fake name.
It's
But-
Devin and the dude.
That's kind of what
Oh,
it was
thank you,
playing off
Vinny.
of.
Fucking.
Of course it was.
I make one mistake because you're old. And I'm sorry. Who are you?
Yeah, my name is Kate Averick. I've met Adam actually. We were judges at Dabadoo.
I know. I was gonna say. I was like, oh
Yeah.
wait a minute. I know you.
I was gonna say we dabbed together.
We go
dabbed.
way back.
You know.
The good old Dabadoo. How? And I guess she just did one in Berlin, right? Yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Success
She sure
as
did.
always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Well, now she's got Mossy to do all the artwork and all that crap. So it's like,
Did I see that she was making it not a competition and more of a hangout, or did they do the competition in Berlin?
I mean, you kind of have to. Now you set it up for, you can't just stop doing the competition because that'll.
I mean, I'd seen something. Maybe it wasn't the Berlin one, but there was one circumstance where I think she was like,
She's over it. She's like, I'm not doing that.
"Fuck the competition. Let's just get high together," you know. But
That's a
I'm
great
not sure, though.
idea. That's a
It
great
is.
idea. But if there was some place that was going to pass a rule, like you can't have a competition unless you have like official German judges,
Yeah.
Germany would be that place.
Yeah.
So maybe they just went, we don't want any fucking hassle.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's always a fun time.
There's a lot of different events going on for Mary Jane Berlin.
Mm.
Like there's
Oh, they're going nuts over there.
yeah, ADHD Dead threw a pretty big social event.
Wait, ADHD dead?
Yeah.
Where's my membership card? I should have that. What are they about?
He's a social entrepreneur of sorts. He's been throwing events in New York, and
think he
he
works-
just expanded over into Spain during what was that, Spanibus, and then most recently just did an event over in Berlin.
ADHD.
Yeah, but if you like to dab and you like heady rigs and you like to be in touch with a little bit more of the trad scene,
Oh, I thought you said dead. There we go. I think I follow him already. Yep. All right.
Heard you drop a few. You went to a few shows, huh? Only a few.
Me? Yeah, one or two.
Show him the hand.
What?
Show her the hand.
What? Oh, this. I shook this hand. Very hand.
I touched
I
Jerry.
haven't-
Are you
I
one of
haven't-
those guys
I
that
haven't
I've
watched
never
it.
cleaned this hand?
No, it hasn't. Yeah. Smell.
No, yes, it's never clean.
Yeah.
I have a general rule of thumb: I don't smell other man's fingers. I'm sorry.
Oh!
That's a very good.
Yeah,
rule.
that's it. That's quite smart. It's probably kept you alive. There
Very
you go. Thank
smart.
you, Vinny. Thank you, Vinny. All right, so Jenn Doe has
Hey,
someone.
Odie's watching, so you gotta be very respectful.
Who's watching?
Odie's watching.
Hi,
He's
Odie.
watching your
Hi,
every
Odie.
move. He's watching your every move.
What did I do? What? I haven't done
His
anything.
friend is here.
Yeah.
I like the hippo.
He always does. He always
There's
does
a
that.
black
He always
van
does that with
waiting
me. Where
outside.
he always does that with me though too. Where he's like, I got a friend coming into town, and I'm like, and then
Don't let Dave talk to
and then he'd
him.
be like, and then he tells me, and I'm like, you just had to say Jen. You didn't have to say I have a friend coming into town. That sounds
Right? You're like, I know her too.
exactly.
We're
People like
friends
to
too.
gatekeep friends. You know,
Yeah.
you got to gatekeep the good ones in this industry.
Well, let's pretend I don't know anything about you, and there's somebody else listening right now who doesn't know anything about you. The podium is yours. Tell us what's going on.
Oh, it's like from the beginning, like
From the
where do we
beginning, from the very
start?
moment
So,
of birth.
When I was 3 years old, I
You
moved.
pulled the
I
hot
actually,
pot.
when I was 2, my mom actually moved us here to Denver. So technically, I lived here for like 6 years while I was a kid. Yeah, but that's not interesting.
So you can have a native sticker, basically, is what you're trying
Yeah,
to say.
yeah,
You
that's
can-
what I'm trying to say.
Automatic
Tattoo.
I'm part of the
tattoo.
club.
Automatic native.
Yeah, granted, I was 8. That was how
Oh,
many
look,
years
see?
ago?
Organic farming, just Jenn Doe in the building.
Hey.
See, I told you.
I've heard of organic farming.
Nice, very nice.
You're responsible for it. You invented it.
No,
Oh.
no, absolutely not.
Farming.
Oh, look at
Dave's
that.
really slow. You have to explain
Yeah.
all jokes and
Yeah.
any kind of little side angles.
I'm trying to assume, and you,
That
as
sounds like-
should you, that there are some people out there who
Everyone
don't
knows
know
Jen.
the backstory.
Everybody knows Jenn Doe. That's the
There
problem.
are.
Yeah, they're like, well, Adam Dunn you mean Jenn Doe? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No.
There's plenty of people out there.
if
that
they
don't
love
know
hash,
I tried.
they probably know you.
Yeah. So I guess I kind of got like my start in the public eye because I won the first. I was the first woman to grow and extract a High Times winning hash entry.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually when I met Mila around then. It was a couple months before, but she was the first person that came up and gave me a hug, getting off the stage.
Had a
and-
girl.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm actually pretty excited that the whole High Times thing is getting reignited because it's. Like I said, I'm still the only woman to do that from a single source. And then when High Times went to shit, like, it's fucked up. I want somebody else to
Well,
get
you
in
can,
there
you can
and
look
do
at it
it.
both ways. You could be like, well, if
Yeah.
it comes back, I won't be the only one. So now you can just
I don't
want
want to be the only one.
Call Matt now and tell him.
Don't
to-
call, don't call, you, no, don't call.
Matt.
Wait, you're on the air.
Dude, I already have like so many people like
Matt,
back
bring
in
back the cup.
never got their trophies back in the day.
Really?
Oh yeah, what about
Oh.
that booth we still are old, right?
Oh, there's
Yeah.
so many. There's so many loose ends, and it's
Yeah.
also like one of those ones where, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting, but it's also like there's so. I mean, it's been kind of relaxed since they haven't been around because
Yeah.
part of it was like they created a lot of fucking tension wherever they went. Like didn't matter what
Yeah.
state they went into, they would piss off somebody, whether it's the people that are getting involved or it's the fucking venue or whatever it was. There was always like rubble left behind.
The magazine High Times when they came to a town when it was completely illegal and everyone can get in trouble for even mentioning it or having the scent, and you think there was any other? No, that's the way it was always going to be.
No, but I mean, it was the same. Like when I did the first one in '93, when we organized it, it was like we would walk around to coffee shops, going like, "Hey, yeah, we're organizing
dab?
the Cannabis Cup," and they're like, "Fuck those guys!
Fuck you.
They're like those guys owe me 10,000." It was always somebody owing money and some bullshit, and so they had a lot of that to deal with. And the thing is, there was a moment in time when Matt was
Righto.
involved and when everybody was was on the come up, and it felt like
12
it was
years.
kind of getting somewhere. Then it got sideswiped because then they had like another guy come in and try to like buy it up, change the vibe. That didn't work. Then that other fucking guy, then that Adam Levine or whatever, he bought that, and then that's when it really.
Yeah.
He had the kiss of death, like he had literally. like,
Adam Levine, the kiss of death.
I
But
mean,
you
there
know
was a
what?
certain time that, like, I mean, as a judge and a competitor there for many years back in the day, right before it kind of went to shit.
Sour diesel.
Like, I don't know. They switched the judging and stuff, so it almost felt like you were having to, like, whoever the sponsors were that were putting the most were winning the shit. You know, like,
But
is
you know
it?
what? That was
Yeah.
the thing, though, and
Oh.
I think that there's been such a large conversation in recent years about cups and the ethics and the morality behind it, and how it's positioned, and how the judges get to, see the entries, how much time you get,
Oh, we've
how you
seen it.
judge
We've
them.
seen every,
do,
we've seen every faux pas that you could
Yeah,
possibly
yeah.
do, where it's just like. So
Well,
it's
at
in your-
least they never gave us samples in the actual packaging of that. At least that never. Oh wait.
That did happen.
No, that
yes,
totally
that
happened.
happened all the
so
time.
this was no, but this was also the evolution of them adapting to other regulated markets, and
best packaging goes too.
I mean, you have to. If you want to play with the rec market in certain states, you just have to abide by the rules. And the unfortunate thing is now it's not blind. And that was my favorite part of the competition, was having this kind of like hide and seek and almost testing your own ability to be able to test quality, and then really put it to be able to see who's the winner in the end and how your entries stack
I
up.
mean, they're still trying, and there's still some competition. But the problem is, it's like it literally brings out the worst in people whenever you have these competitions, because you'll be like,
I
people
quit
that-
entering for a
people-
long time
people that-
because you don't make friends.
no, it definitely, it's like, and everyone's just shitting all over each other, and you're just like, God damn, like,
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is ways to do it, and we will do it when we're doing ADSI. What we always did, which was
Which is coming in November.
we work in groups, because it's better when you're working in groups. Because if you're all by yourself and you're doing your thing, and then you're like, it's like you get lost in the sauce anyway, and you don't really know what.
Vibrates broken.
Hard to compare stuff. You
Well,
know?
part of the joy of it is sitting there with your other fellow judge and judging.
Exactly.
things.
So it's like
Almost.
the way we always did it at ADSI was always in groups. It was always like table. Every table had their like little leader at the table who kind of knew. At least you have one guy or a girl at every table that knows their shit, so you know that they can at least round everybody else up.
Yeah.
Because you can't always have. And the problem is that when it's like the Secret Cup vibe, where it was like always the competitors being the judges, it sounds romantic and cool, but it's also like you don't really get you're not going to get a straight answer out of anybody, because everybody there has got fucking something in there. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
vote for three. Whereas if you have people that you respect and they're not have nothing to do with any of that, you get a much better fucking judgment. And some people just don't want to hear it. You know what I mean? They don't want to know. I've had people, I won't name any names, but they have handed me samples that I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like,
Bad.
did you just harvest this like an hour ago
Oh,
or
wet
something?
as
You know?
fuck. Yeah.
And they're like, I just did this. I was just like, dude, you're never gonna. Don't even waste your time.
still a
dude.
little
It's like,
wet, but it's really pretty.
Yeah,
Like,
but you know what's the
no.
other problem too is like
No.
they're so highly selective at curating the people that participate. And this is like one of my biggest problems is I don't want to keep going to these competitions to see the
same
same
people, yeah.
5 circle jerk of people say
yeah.
which Z cut
The
is
same
their
5
favorite.
dudes
Yeah.
with runts.
Yeah.
Listen, I have no problem with a good runt strain, but the problem is there's too many bad ones. So maybe just focus on something else that makes you a little bit more unique. Maybe focus
Yeah.
on curating a profile that's a little bit more attuned to something you want to be known for. But
Yeah.
people are just really too responsive to what the trends are, and they're so
yeah.
quick to
Okay,
jump on
Skittles.
cuts.
Yeah. No, and
well,
like,
Skittles was one of those
please.
ones that if you are a grower, you knew right away that you didn't want to grow that plant. But if you're
Yeah.
a smoker, you're like, oh, this is amazing.
I mean,
And so it
and
had great-
Skittles is
it
Girl
has its
Scout
own-
cookies, is GMO, is
Mhm. I
sour
like GMO.
diesel.
Yeah, out of all those ones,
They're
GMO
phenomenal.
would be
They're
the one.
phenomenal when done right. But
Yeah.
again,
Hey, done right.
yeah.
That's my tag. That's my tagline. So
when
don't.
it's just a straight Skittles contest, though, it's like, man, this is fucking boring.
Oh hell yeah! No, and that, well, things get into these trends, and so it's
Oh,
like,
big time.
and I mean, Europe is even worse because when you get to Europe, it's like they're following us.
Yeah.
So they're like, it's like, oh no, we're back fucking 3 years ago again. We're like, and occasionally, and I think the key is like hash is the biggest difference because hash is evolving everywhere
Nobody
at a speed
broke.
that's pretty
Just watch
amazing.
for the
'Cause it's like,
flash.
damn, like But what's funny is that people are now, because it's gone so far to the extreme that people are now appreciating the simple ways, which is what you're a specialist at. Very few people are air drying hash these days. Everybody's
Yeah.
got a freeze dryer, which, like,
Like no one's doing air
it's a
dry.
cheat.
No.
It's such a cheat
Yeah.
code,
Yeah.
and it's like it does make your product amazing looking because it's like it keeps this color that you would never have in a million years if you're gonna do it by air drying. But you also don't have this preservation that, in my opinion, is like you're giving up something, and like what you're giving up, in my opinion, is the stability of the final product.
Yeah.
Because you end up
absolutely.
with something that just turns to mush. It's fucking
I
hard,
mean, my air dry will do that too. There's a certain like 3-week process that I go through at the end while I'm actually curing it.
Is that-
3 weeks? I love you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now, in those
like at 3 weeks, there's this thing that happens, and all of a sudden, like it's got a little bit of stability, but it still has all the melt. Like it took me a little while to figure that out. But yeah, a little certain post process. I also think everybody is just cutting corners. Like the freeze dryer came in, and then people don't have to pay attention to their bag work because they're like, well, I'm just gonna press this shit anyway. And it's like, yeah. So now you've got all these people that are like, oh, I have full melt, and it's like, no, you have pre-rosin, because you didn't wash that to the extent to make that a true full melt. Just because it's blonde, yeah, when I put it in a microscope, I'm still seeing all your stalks in there. So the freeze dryer can be very deceiving because it looks clear, it looks great, but like if you have the right eye for it, it's like, no, that's not even clean.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, if you
so,
have a
so many
magnifying
corners.
glass, if you
Yeah.
look with your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I have to squint really hard and I can see that shit. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
You know, honestly, too, it's like people are just trying to maximize profit.
Yeah.
So, you know, why 3 weeks?
No.
I can tell you exactly why they're not doing it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we
that's
don't
why
have.
it's like why most weed is not literally. There's nobody curing weed at all.
Well, hey, let's give a shout out to Kaya, who was here last week with
Oh, yeah,
us.
they did have
Kaya
anyone-
air dries,
They are
Yeah.
fucking
right?
amazing.
That Kaya?
I was
No, you're thinking Kaya Coffee, Kaya?
Yeah.
No, we're thinking
Different.
Kaya Shop.
Kaya Cannabis,
Oh,
formerly Southwest
not the
Alternative
other
Care.
air dryer, because I was like, nobody's ever. Yes, Kaya.
They might though
Kaya
because
in Washington air
they're-
dries. He does a fabulous job too.
And a lot of it depends where you live too. Like some places are just not conducive. Colorado's easy. I mean, you can do it here no problem. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's just here you almost have to slow it down.
Yeah.
Whereas in other places, if it's real humid, it's fucking rough. You know what I mean? Like
I
You do
don't
cold- you have a
have
cold
people
room? Do you
that
have a
like to
cold
hear
room?
this. Yes, it's all about temperature and refinement, like your separation technique. So if you have that very separated and not compact and not overburdened, like when's the last time you put a drop of water on a table, even at like 90% humidity, and that hasn't evaporated in 2 days? It's the same thing with hash, but not if you have it all in a huge pile.
right.
Like,
So it's all about spreading it thin. And,
yeah.
well, I mean, it's people now are so hypersensitive to color, though. It's like they get fucking like
Well, that's why people are pulling it
Yeah,
fucking
but they're
6
just-
and 7 weeks instead
They're
of taking it to fruition.
overcompensating for what they don't know with
Yeah.
color.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we see this with hydrocarbon extracts all the time. Everybody's like, I want CRC. I don't want CRC. I want to bleach to shit. I don't want you to touch it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really.
Well, because what
tell you
happens
too
is
much.
each batch is different, right? So they'll get one batch which they didn't CRC it and it was awesome, and then they'll get another batch where it's like, dude, I don't think could you CRC this one? It's like you'd have to literally be there with the guy and like make the decision on the time. And of course, there's
which
also
I can tell you is not happening on a case to case basis.
and what the other difference too is that everybody's ideas are different when it comes to media filtration. So they're like, one guy will be like, oh, I didn't do it that much, and you're like, it's fucking white, dude. It's like you did a lot. And then there'll be other people who'll be like the opposite, where they're telling you they're fucking filtering a lot, and you're like, it's still tons of color in
But
there.
you've
So-
seen white rosin before, right?
Oh,
Like
for
I've
sure.
definitely seen
Yeah,
some like
I've
icy
definitely
looking.
made some white rosin too.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't doubt that. However, the problem I think is a lot of people have a misconception about what it actually is and what it does, and they think that
Well,
you're pouring bleach in something,
no.
or these particles of bleach and chlorine or something, or going through
Pool
the filters
terps.
into your no pool terps here. These are highly sophisticated chemical compounds that are used with a lot of certainty, and these are proceeds that have been used in so many other industries that to even kind of question in that regard is kind of silly to me. But
you mean what about getting the bleach in the under the skin
Oh,
to
yeah.
help with,
Inject.
It's that's my idea. Oh wait, somebody else had that idea.
Yeah, and well, the problem is too is like you were saying earlier, is everybody just harvests early when that's the easy fucking
Yeah.
angle.
Because
right there.
everyone listens to their financial advisor who
And you got to imagine
controls
how
the
much,
purse string.
How much weed has not been grown to its full potential out there?
All
Like,
of it.
So
Well,
so much of it.
let's throw this little factor into the equation as
Oh,
well.
Throwing factors.
When we don't let that weed go to fruition, take notes. When we don't let that weed go to fruition, the high is a lot faster. It's not as deep. It doesn't hold on as long. There's no duration to it. So you've got these kids that, they want to be showing off their expensive rigs with their expensive hash. And if I come in with my air dried compared to like an early pull rosin, No, they are so fucking wrecked. They're like, I
Okay.
don't like that.
Well-
I'm too high.
Well, to that point, though.
How am I supposed to take 5
You're-
dabs in this fucking in this banjo? You know, like
Yeah. I mean, to that point, though, you're
can't.
literally changing the
can't look cool.
compounds.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm all
you
for
get
it.
way more monoterps when you harvest early.
Mhm.
You know, these are compounds that are highly volatile that go off super early, so all those like really light fruity terps.
Yeah.
And then you're left with all these like really dank sesquiterpenes, and that's when you get like better for hash.
Like
So-
myrcene and shit like that.
yeah. So like honestly, I think that the problem is too many people just blindly make these decisions and they're not choosing it based on a product basis.
Yeah.
And I mean to the point of single source, like this is where I think
Well, that's the only way you know. If it's single source, you know at least what is going to be kind of consistent, right?
but you have the connection and the decision and bringing it back to the GMO, like you need to run that a lot longer than most other strains. So to have it be able to
Which
run
nobody
to
does.
its full potential.
Which nobody
no,
does. Like,
very, very
Shout out
few
Mentation,
people.
Maine.
I mean, it's like,
Very
Mentation, they
few
do a great
people.
job.
and it's weird too because it's like it's so easy to devote 2 rooms like back to back with longer flower period. That's all. Just like give them 11 weeks.
Now, I will say there's some cultivars that like I actually prefer the profile on an early pull.
Right.
You know, so like when rather than just being the hash maker and being stuck with whatever you have, like it was really great for me to be able to drive where I wanted my hash to go. You know, so certain flavors come out at certain times, and where I'm harvesting it right when I'm like, oh God, that's the one. Like I can pull it right then, you know, but I can kind of adjust the high I want. So I want something that's going to be a little quicker, a little just like sharper. Like maybe we go with rosin, you know, pull it at 7.5 weeks instead of 8. Or maybe I want this one to be richer and really fuck me up at the end of the night, you know. So I'm going to take that a little longer.
Well, very few people are also growing for effect. Everybody's growing
True.
for everything but effect. It's like,
Exactly.
like the only thing we
Yeah.
cared about before
Yeah.
is completely like off to the side now.
Did somebody yell yield out very loud, or was that just in my head?
I think that was just you, but
Okay,
I get
sorry,
it
sorry.
too. I heard that
Sorry,
too.
I did.
I mean,
You hear
yield,
the demons.
yield. I think the first thing that you figure out is that the least yielding plants tend to produce the best weed, just because
Yeah.
it's like how the small
Hated
mushrooms.
it.
Small mushrooms are better than
Yeah.
the big blown out ones, and
Shout
just
out
like
hazes.
and so you get these plants that have these like weird like they're focusing way more on the cannabinoid profile, less on the producing more fucking leaf material. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so you kind of lose the love affair with all big. I mean, always everyone likes a big giant plant just to see it, like whatever. But
Yeah.
you know it's like that's not where you're even going to look for. Like,
But
you're
you know
like,
what? This is just driving a new lane for the market in a world of mids. You're gonna have
in a world of
people-
mids.
You're gonna have people that are gonna want to pay a little bit more for someone that's paying particular attention to really devoting to whatever these plants need
Yeah.
and having specialty kind of like runs of these products available.
Well,
And
here's
not
the other
everybody.
thing.
It's
you
hard to
know,
find those
prices
people that
is
can-
what drives.
If you ask Jason Beck, they only live in California.
Yeah, but maybe
only-
don't make that your entire
most of them
business
do.
model.
Most of them do.
I've never lived in California. No.
Most of them do though, because they're also like it's a whole one-up kind of vibe thing. And I mean, Colorado's a good example of a place that it's like literally, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, because here is
Yeah.
hard. People are very.
Isn't that New York's theme?
No, this is here.
No,
when it comes to
Oregon's
weed,
known for weed,
no
yeah.
weed. You can just like
Super
in New York.
to you,
It's
New York,
gonna
you
be
can-
that
New York, you can
New
have-
York.
No, New York, you can have spray packs as long as you give them a toy.
just saying it was their
they'll
song.
fucking buy it. They're like, oh, dude, I got a thing with that. That's like
Well, here's the fucked up thing: is they like it.
no, they love it.
Yeah, and who the fuck am I to be
I
like,
know,
no, you can't like
Don't
that.
waste your
Like,
time with
alright.
them.
It's
Don't you waste your time with
it's
them. They're beneath you.
really bad.
Well,
It's just where we're at though, and that's like
Yeah.
because there's like a lot of people who've never had good weed to begin with, so like for them the flavor of the blunt was better than the flavor of the weed, right? So they
Yeah.
liked that, so they got stuck on that tip.
But you
Then
know
they
what?
smoked flavored blunts,
Those
and now
are
they're
also
fucked,
the
you know what I mean?
distillate high people. So they have this belief that like their high needs to sit up here and be hyper euphoric. And you're not ever going to get that with more than half of the weed strains available. You need to get that from a hash, from a hashish, from some sort of concentrate or extract
Yeah.
or distillate. And so spray packs, I think, is the closest thing to those kind of consumer profiles.
Well, I think there's another component that comes in too, is how many people are actually growing their own seeds to pick their phenos versus, like, for example, if I pop 10 seeds and I have 4 of one that I really like, I'm going to have my top 1 and 2 that I'm like, these 2 are mine, right? But a lot of people will be like, how about you take that 3rd and 4th one and I'm going to sell them saying they're their same strain. And so people are expecting to get that first choice,
Yeah,
that
I
better
mean-
one. So
But
like,
that
how
should be
many of
more
these have been
widely
just
labeled on
watered
stuff,
down?
too.
I love you
They
both.
won't. Like,
That-
I have runts, and it's like,
Absolutely.
yeah, but is that like your fucking 7th choice of runts? Where's your first? Like, and so that kind of waters down the whole pool as well.
But that's not the
Speaking of
market
right.
we live in. The market we live in, unfortunately, is fucking Budweiser. It's the mids you talked about.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is catered to the middle. What's the company that exists that I complain about? The Yankee guy, Jeter. Okay, what the fuck is that?
They
They're
hired
basically
Fabulous to do a launch party in Boston.
they're the reason. And you know what?
That's where their money's going.
Love them or hate them, but they're the reason why we've done probably more shows and discussed it ad nauseum at why the THC number is the biggest crock of shit. It doesn't need to be discussed. The nose on this is everything that it's about, and I'd love to find out that the test profile was low on it, you know, but
Yeah, but who cares?
tons of
Proof is in
cannabinoids
the
and
pudding.
terpenes. Exactly.
If it fucks you up, why are you asking
This
questions?
is Kaya, right?
No,
No, who's this?
that's
It's
me.
you?
Yeah.
Damn, Adam Dunn.
It's weed. It's marijuana.
It's good weed.
You grew that, Adam?
I grew to that.
That sounds nice. What is that?
That is a hazelnut cream spritzer
It
cross.
does smell like a creamy banana hazelnut. That's nice. Very nice.
I've been liking that the spritzers. Those have been
For
pretty
hash, they're good. For hash, they're
Yeah.
really
Do you guys have any, or do you have any websites you want to give out? Anything you want to share with anyone who might be listening right now, who can go to your site and buy something, or
Sure. I guess
That's-
on the
that's
tip
that
of what you guys were
spritzer.
talking
Did we
about
int-
earlier.
yeah,
Well,
did
with
we
free show.
introduce Kate?
With that.
No,
Tell
no,
us
I didn't
who
get
you
to.
are.
Oh yeah, we never
we
do
got
that.
we got busy.
how did we see? We suck so bad.
Like, yeah,
was your
Kate's
job.
amazing.
It was
Kate's-
your
We swapped a
job.
Katie out for a Kate. I
Yeah.
understand.
Katie.
Yeah, I'm Kate Averick. I'm based in Boston, Mass. I own a company called Operator Academy, which does manufacturing workforce training. Really fancy way of saying I do training for solventless, solvent-based systems and all manufactured products under the manufacturing license. And really excited just to be in town for the Denver Psychedelic Science Conference, just connecting with people. Been working in the cannabis industry for the better part of the last 10 years, doing everything working for, with, and then becoming a manufacturing owner myself. And really just become a lover of hash, lover of making good products and helping people figure out how to do that themselves. And being in town has been awesome. In town, actually filming some mycology extraction videos. So helping people be able to extract at scale any sort of commercial or maybe larger scale home grow with their mushrooms. So really excited to be launching that. And
Nice.
Give your website again.
yeah, operatoracademy.org. You can find me on Meta for as long as they'll let me stay there. I just got zucked.
That's Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, well, Meta, unfortunately, when you have them all connected, the ship goes down hard. So,
My
no,
Facebook is the only thing that still exists. Like, I don't know how my Instagrams keep going down. My Facebook doesn't,
Yeah.
other than
I mean, honestly, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn
People-
if like you want to reach out and connect.
Oh, Dave
but
will be your
What's your
best friend.
LinkedIn?
He's
my
a
LinkedIn is just my
maniac.
name. I don't know, Kate Averick, / Kate Averick, AVRUCH. But yeah, Jenn is one of our really awesome educators for Operator Academy, and just really excited to be working in the industry. And the psychedelic stuff has been interesting. I founded the Massachusetts chapter of the Decriminalized Nature group, which helped eventually lead to the 8 cities decrimming there.
Right on.
So I've been working in advocacy for a long time, and really just kind
back
of
at
love
ya.
what we do here.
There he is.
There
I
he
didn't
is.
even see him walk in.
Yeah, the Mr. Fluck is in the
Ladies and
house.
gentlemen,
The Fluck is in the building.
what the fuck is going on
What
here?
the Fluck?
There he is.
luck.
Yes, sir.
He looks like he had fun at
He
Maps.
had a good day.
Yeah. Yeah, he made it. Where were Vince
His
was
rat
here
tail's
earlier
just flapping out.
from Meow Wolf.
I know. He was
We'll,
busy.
we'll get you guys in touch. Yeah, he put off dinner to be here with us, and he ate barbecue. I watched Vinny bring a plate for him.
Yeah. So
Nice.
now his
Yeah.
dinner's ruined. Thanks, Vin.
Yeah.
Ruined his dinner.
I'm pretty sure we made him late.
That's okay. We're good at that.
So I was listening to you guys talk about iboga and ibogaine earlier, and
Oh,
I
yeah,
was back there like trying to bite my tongue because I had so much I wanted to say.
Tell us.
So I went down to Mexico and ended up doing all sorts of crazy treatments, just indigenous plant medicine, animal medicine. Iboga is. So when you guys brought up the low dose, right? Low dose is fabulous. Like before I did the full dose of Iboga, I'm like you. I'm like, I don't have anybody to do it with me, so I'm gonna set myself at the spot and just try it myself without anybody there.
But no, something tells me you'd be sitting down. You'd have made sure there's no sharp
I've never
objects.
stood up and
or-
hit DMT like that. Yeah, no, that was.
I
but,
can confer. She can hang.
Yes, but
So.
if you don't know,
Yeah.
then you have no idea. I asked around, like, it was, 12 years ago when I tried DMT for the first time. I asked around and I could find, like, very small little bits on the internet, but enough that someone was like, the only thing, I fell down and I hit my head,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, so.
No getting up. You know, that's your
No.
first thing.
I had a chair that I set in the middle of my bedroom and pillows lining my wall where my bed
So that's
was.
what they mean by go low.
And they say hit it 3 times, right? Because you got to do it in succession. And
That's
so
where
I had
third
this
time's a charm
chair.
came from, right?
Yeah. So that if you never need to do this by yourself again, I had the chair and I'd hit up my fucking banger and hit it and I'd set it down real quick and I'd sit back and I was like, okay, is it doing it? No, okay, and then I'd go in for the second one.
Until you couldn't figure it out. Then you're
Yeah,
like,
no, I freaked out a little bit actually. Like my body like left, and I looked back and saw myself laying on the bed, and I'm at the door, and I was like, out of nowhere, I was like, how the fuck am I gonna breathe if I leave here right now? So like the whole 15 minutes of it was me literally like, let me come back. Like it was awful. So, yeah, but Iboga low dose. Took
I was
about
gonna say,
14 hours.
I was gonna say that I set myself up on my first time so bad where I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in my bed. I'm gonna sit in my bed, and I had this like fucking like thing in front of my bed where, and like I just like I kind of froze, and I was like, there's like a orb in the middle, and I was floating around that sort of orb thing, and I remember I was like. I reached up and I like got caught up in this fucking thing, and I was all like, and I had a candle burning, and I just was thinking to myself like, burning, like everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm gonna be dead. And then, and then it came like after I kind of got out of that. Then I did get up, like did everything wrong, did everything you should do wrong.
sounds
Went
like it.
downstairs, like I remember going down the stairs, like the stairs were going, and I was like, made it across my room.
You said down the stairs.
Yeah, made it across the room, sat on my couch,
Brave.
and I had this
Kids
huge,
these days.
huge place. And that's when I was saying about last week when my cat came up to me because he came like an inchworm, and he was like, vroom, 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 and then he like, and I was like, all right, now I'm back, like I'm with my cat. Oh, I'm all good now. But it was like, it was definitely everything you shouldn't do on DMT.
Yeah.
Don't burn candles. Don't burn candles. Don't
burn
don't get caught up in some fucking thing with a burning candle. And everything in my head was like flashing.
Don't be
like,
walking around.
and don't get up. Walk around.
Sit down.
Yeah.
You know what? You're brave for even letting your pet near you while high. I feel like looking at people's faces, looking at like pets' faces, it gets a little in and out.
What if your pet is part of you?
I mean, well, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to merge. You got to be careful.
I'm there already. My dog and I have imprinted on each other.
Oh, but cats, they know everything, like especially when drugs. They're like, "Pooh, you're there. You're with me now." And like, you're like,
Yeah.
You're mine, human.
I had my little dog, and she was
Meow.
great. She was my little homie. Yeah.
We need one more yo tip.
"Oh, here we go. It's party time."
Oh. Yeah. Vinny.
Vinny for the
Vinny's
win.
bored.
Vinny's for the win.
He's like, enough of this drug talk.
I know.
This is good.
We don't even know. This is like one of those unknown things in
We
the
don't know how
system.
this
Nobody knows how
happens.
this works.
I didn't even
Yeah.
fuck with Mark, so I got my own little scene
Oh
here. It's all
yeah,
ready to
it's
go.
pretty good. It's pretty good. We could entertain ourselves for hours.
We got Travis hooked.
Travis
Can he see
wants.
that?
Oh no, he wants to be part of it. And he's like, I want to be
I
there.
want a little of that.
Oh, that was
You
it.
didn't see that on the screen there?
You mean, oh.
Oh.
Yeah, Travis.
Yeah.
It's instant. Yeah, there you go. Dave's got it. He's got it going on now.
He's
That's a
been
good
to
one.
a dead
That was a
show.
good.
You
That
a
was
spinner?
that was a good color. It's good color combo.
Depends on how much
Depends on
acid
the
I
day.
took that night.
So what do you got planned for this next few days? You gonna staying through, or you're
I
gonna
party.
Hanging out until Sunday, and then I'm gonna drive home.
Vinny's throwing a party.
driving home? Oh shit.
Yeah.
We're driving home.
Damn.
She's in Utah.
In
Yeah,
Utah
she's
right
driving.
now.
Oh, sweet. That's nothing.
No, it's not.
And
But
Utah's
Well,
got medical
I mean-
reciprocity.
They do. And they.
I was gonna say
they
you're
don't
not gonna
have
get
very
nervous
much.
driving through Utah because that's where you got to go.
Mhm.
So you're like,
Exactly.
hey, I'm not even nervous. I'm not even nervous.
No.
This is
I mean, that's where I started too, though.
Well, you got a story.
Right?
You got a whole
So,
story. I got an
yeah.
address. I got a story. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm just going to
I
somewhere.
have no drugs
Yeah.
on me, Ossifer.
Yeah.
No.
No, I actually moved away from Utah. 12 years ago to get away from going to jail.
Utah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a
I
great
went up to
idea.
Washington and have been avoiding Utah
Oh,
ever
you
since.
moved out of Utah.
Yeah, but now I'm
I
back.
understand.
Okay.
She was getting away from Utah.
Yep. Now I'm back.
Escaping
though,
Utah.
and
Because
Yeah.
Seems
Utah.
to be a story.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I hit a deer and 2 things happened in Utah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you mind explaining what's going on here with this like leash on a plant bit?
One of you was
dog
supposed to
leash.
agree to
Freak
wear
on a
the
leash.
collar.
It's a freak on a leash. This is
Oh,
my
yeah,
freak
no.
show. Freak show on a leash.
Nice.
So I
You ever see
got-
Freak
Oh,
Show?
like freak show
Got it.
genetics?
So is that what this is, or is
Oh,
that just
yeah.
straight freak show?
That is
Wha-
freak
oh,
show
okay. This
times
is how you-
this
okay.
this one.
Oh, and look, you can't even
Yeah.
see any
I
of
love
it.
the freak show
No.
structure.
Ugly
Do you find that these flower nicely?
You're gonna find not so many full freaks in there. You're just gonna find like
Yeah.
extra leaves popping up here and
That's
there,
walk around.
swirly stuff. But if you back crossed
like
it
wavy gravy.
to
I get the
Yeah.
bit.
a
Yeah,
full
it's good.
blown,
Well, I have some of the freak show seeds. I grew some, but they were so terrible with any envisioning any yield that they were really just ornamental plants in my fucking greenhouse with my flowers. It was great.
I mean,
Take a cut.
sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes you grow for fun. You know, sometimes you grow it for hash. Sometimes you grow to smoke.
the thing is for hash,
No
it's
wrong
actually pretty
reason.
good because they're not tight, all dense buds, and they kind
Yeah.
of stay loose, so they do work good for hash. Oh, speaking of hash, woo, everybody's a trichome. Act like a trichome. And then, but I just love it because it's like when you're like, even if you don't like purple weed, it's fun to breed with because you can follow the trends. You know what I mean? You can see, oh, look, 60% are purple this time.
I
And
like
then I thought,
purple
I
weed.
grow it again, and now I'm up to 85, and so you can see your progressions real quick. Whereas if you take like an OG and a sour and you mix them up, it's like you're kind of like gonna get something that's similar in both sides, and you're not gonna see the differences so much. So it's, from a breeder's point of view, it's fun.
Yeah.
And I think also it doesn't really have a lot of, it doesn't dominate anything. So
Yeah.
when you cross it with something, it kind of retains that. Like I did a Trinity cross with it, which it tastes just like Trinity, you know what I mean? But it has some freaky leaves and good resin count, everything about it. Like it didn't seem to inhibit too much. It only keeps whatever you got going on.
Mixes well with others. I
pretty-
like that.
Yeah.
Plays nice with others.
Yeah, like it's no fucking Jack Harrer. Get the fuck out of here! Everything is Jack.
Everything.
Everything
Fucking
is Jack. Jack. Right, that's what Jack's like.
I heard you like Jack, so
Chirpy.
I put Jack in your Jack.
Yeah, I put so much Jack in the Jack. Yeah, you know, and it's one of those things where if you don't like it, it could
You
be like
better.
1/16 Jack, and it'll still be too much for you to deal with.
You
Yeah.
use it as a negative. It tastes jacky. And people are like, oh,
Well, it has
darn."
turned into that
I mean,
because
I like Jack. I like the
I like
flavor.
Jack. Me too.
I'm not the biggest fan of the high for myself, though. It gets me a
It's
little
fantastic. Zing, zing, zing,
bit. It
zing,
gets
zing.
me a
Straight
little
to
bit
business.
anxious.
Oh, wait.
you
So
know?
we have zing, 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 and then bloop.
bloop and
Yeah.
and
So we have we're putting
Spectrum.
new words together. Yeah.
bloop was UFO talk. That's UFO
Yeah.
talk.
Oh, we're having him back
UFO
on.
or entity talk?
Well, it was ship's bloop away.
Yeah.
They bloop.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Right.
We had a man
Stuff
in black.
happens and
We had a man in
bloop.
black earlier here. So
Yeah.
a man in black,
Yep.
formerly known as.
You guys want to help us do our ads?
I'm in big
We're
fucking
gonna
trouble, man.
sell some
I'm
stuff.
coming to your house.
Yes.
Yeah, what are we selling?
Yeah. What
Right now, we're going to talk about barbecue. Did you get a chance to have any barbecue?
No, and I waited so patiently, so I really hope there's still some over there for me.
I think
'cause
he's
I'm
gonna hang on to
Is
something
there
for
some
you.
left?
starving.
Is there
That-
barbecue
You
left?
kept some for the ladies.
we got food.
Yeah, we got a hot
Yeah,
item. That's a
yeah.
hot item over there.
Is this like a perk of the show? You get like a
Yeah,
sausage.
I've
link or two?
heard for too many years about this goddamn barbecue and just had to like sit in Maine and drool over it, and now I'm so
It's
excited.
hard when you're just watching or listening
Oh.
to the podcast to appreciate
I
the
know.
barbecue-ness of it all. But
Yeah.
no, soon come though. We're gonna have full-blown Mexican.
Well, maybe you need to do
4th
like
of
a
July.
reaction to vid.
Yeah.
You know, you need to do before and after barbecue.
ASMR.
Yeah,
I don't think you want barbecue ASMR. It's like
Yeah.
mac and cheese.
Not the
we've
greatest.
we've had
well, some people might really like that.
Yeah.
right?
we've been talking about this food
It's like when they
and
drop the
eating
hot
it for a
thing in
long
there. You
time.
ever
Yeah.
seen
What's
that?
your favorite?
Yeah.
It does
What does it do in lotion? What
Yeah.
is it doing?
exactly. Mac and cheese is a good
Fucking
one.
What's my
Yeah.
favorite, Vinny?
Mac and cheese is definitely one.
Burn ends and
Yeah.
mac and
Sloppier one.
cheese.
Weird.
And you know what? I got to tell you,
Listen to the listen to
the wings are coming up.
Yeah.
Like I want the wings now too. And then the other day, the brisket you made, and when you sliced it like like almost like you remember the tribe.
That is literally the most Jewish answer I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Burnt ends and then brisket. I was holding my breath, being like, "He's gonna say brisket," and I was like, "All right, burnt ends, solid."
Well,
choice.
bagels is coming up any
That's
second
so
now,
good.
so don't you worry. It's gonna get.
No,
really
I'm
I
not
like it.
stealing Vinny's thunder. He did. So you come down to Sohai Cafe, Viper Pit Barbecue at 4300 West Alameda, and it would help us out if you told the guy that runs the place, he looks like Vinny, that you heard about on the Adam Dunn Show. You want the mac and cheese with anything, okay? The coffee.
I got some mean beans too.
Ooh, yummy.
Mean.
I really
What is
enjoy-
barbecue without beans? Thank you.
Exactly.
Like, that's important.
That was the name
We got
of this
special.
I was
place.
gonna say,
We
if
got
you
special
spent
beans.
Yeah.
if you spent any time in Maine and you're not like bouncing to eat beans, I don't know what's wrong.
So the
Right.
wings practically fall off the bone. They're absolutely amazing. The coffee is Ozo. The
It's
barbecue
like a
sauce
it's like a
has some Ozo in
cartoon.
it.
It's like a cartoon when you.
Oh, yeah. You go to ozocoffee.com.
Do you have chicken wings in there still too?
Oh, yeah.
Save at least one or two for me.
You
You go to ozocoffee.com,
Ooh.
and in the
Now I know
promo
Jen loves
field,
her coffee.
you
I
enter.
do like my coffee.
I can just
Don't-
tell. I can just tell.
Do you know what the code is,
I'm not
though?
like an every morning coffee drinker.
Done deal 2025 gets you
Isn't it
20%
mornings-
off.
Mornings
Done
roll-
deal 2025 Ozo coffee.
Yeah,
Yep,
it
that's
is
it.
100% worth it.
Yeah.
It's fucking.
I feel like you
I
need
mean-
to do the. Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
So, do you need a
Nice
job?
call. She might.
We would.
Can she do it remote?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
It just
got
happened
skills.
to be that I
Yeah.
had that one.
Be
Right?
excellent. Yeah.
So while you're at Ozo, grab some essentials, 20% off anything in your cart. If you are growing at home, if you're growing
Oh,
anything,
now we got Jen.
Oh,
Jen knows
yeah.
all about Jeremy and Bill.
Buildasoil.com.
I love these guys. Build a Soil is
855
great.
877
Look at that
Soil.
smile.
Yeah.
Look at that smile.
Tell us more, Jen. Tell us more about how much you love Bill.
Yeah,
Soil.
tell
Oh
us.
my god.
And Miles and the whole crew.
Trustworthy products, you know, that's really important for everything. And
Literally, he will test every single
Yeah.
product, and if it doesn't pass muster, and not only the quality of it working, but
Yeah.
also like the back end of the story of the thing. Like if they lie and say, "Oh yeah, we're 100% organic," and he finds out it's like, no, we're doing like municipal waste products
Yeah.
that are in there or something. He's
Yeah.
fucking, it's out. You know? And there's been products like that,
Yeah.
which they were really good. Everyone loved them. And then he found out that the source material was bullshit.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, you know what? These guys, gone.
Yep,
I
honest
will not
company.
name names.
They also work with a really good friend of ours, the king of the Wooks,
Yeah.
Miles Felipe.
yes, we
Pretty
love
much put the
Miles.
W in Wook.
Miles
Oh, yeah.
actually is the one that hit me up to go judge at Build a Soil Days when they had it, and it was so fun. I got to tour the facility, and I love seeing where they pull their soil from and all their additives and how they literally make it all in house. Like it's just such an efficient process with even such small space. It's just incredible what they're able to do, and you know, keeping it that small batch is obviously going to
Yeah, and
keep that quality
and
control.
and they answer
Yeah.
everything. If you got any questions, I don't know where your tip went to.
Oh yeah, very informational. So many videos.
Buildasoil.com,
Buildasoil.
855 877 Soil.
Jenn Doe approved.
Jenn Doe
Oh, there we
approved.
go.
So we're using them right now. They're Yo tips. They're little wooden tips made out of recyclable, renewable birch wood to keep everybody safe when smoking a joint and make any joint hit better.
I was gonna say this is a really classy endeavor you got going on here.
Classy. That's what they usually say.
I'm pretty sure we got our discount increased last week, right? When
Did we?
Jesse,
I don't know.
yeah,
Is that what happened?
I think so. So you want to check out yotip.com, enter Done Deal at checkout, and the discount is probably a little bit more than it was the week before. You want to get some tips, you want to get some rings, papers, the filter tips, everything they do. They're going to be contributing money back to spinal cord research when they get cash flow positive. So if you
Nice.
need a med card in the state of Colorado, it's always good to have one if you qualify. You go to holoshealth.org, you enter Done Deal
Get
at
them while you
checkout.
can.
Tell them you heard about it on the Adam Dunn Show. You're going to get 20% off. If you need any type of microdose mushroom therapy right now, he does that too. I'm more for the cannabis thing, but I don't judge.
Oh.
What? What do you got against mushrooms?
Nothing. I don't think we need to be getting them at a doctor's office.
No, I agree with that.
I mean,
I
they
don't know.
grow
But
out
some
of poop.
people do.
so-
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know. There's a lot of people that without the guidance of the doctor and it being administered by the doctor, they would never
I'll take
fucking
that.
do it.
I'll take that.
But more
Absolutely.
so-
I won't.
More
So we
you know
can agree
what?
to disagree.
Some people just don't want to be a burden to others too. Is really like a huge reason I found that people like going to these places.
Yeah.
And honestly, at the conference, there was a couple of really great. They had a whole row on all of the Colorado facilities,
Love it.
and just a whole bunch of information on like, you know, how many people were going to them and how often were they repeating and what were they going for, and it was really insightful. You know, I think a lot of people appreciate the support and non-judgmental and not going to like a partner and then having to go.
I
see
dig
them.
it. I want to also know the price every time, right?
Yeah.
That's I know. Dr.
you
Joe does not
haggle?
charge a lot.
No, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does
So-
the insurance cover it yet?
Holos, not yet. Holoshealth.org. So dabx.com. You enter done deal at checkout. You get 20% off
amazing.
anything in your cart. I've known him for over a decade. Christian Ratto started a great company that's gotten even better over the years. There are big announcements coming out real soon. You can go to their website.
Big announcements. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. You go to their website.
Woo.
You want to get a go. Comes with a cleaning kit. If you enter done deal at checkout, it's $159 shipped to your house. So get them while you
nice.
can. dabx.com.
Nice.
Yeah,
I just gotta say real
The
quick.
people of Utah need that. Did you know you cannot combust in Utah? There's a no combustion law. You can
Oh,
only
then-
vape.
This actually, I think it's called the Utah version.
So
It
the-
should be.
The people need to know this because I'm lazy,
Yeah.
okay, and I hate cleaning.
Careful, mine might be a little dirty.
This whole internal portion here, the atomizer, comes out and gets cleaned, and the cleaning kit typically comes with a secondary one, if I'm not mistaken, right? And you can swap the thing out and then pop out the bottom, and then there's a nice little silicone tray with your reclaim. So,
Yeah, which you
you
just
know.
throw in the freezer and it pops right out like a little disc and a little fucking
Yeah.
square. No,
so honestly, I'm not.
it's well thought out, and the thing is, we've all cleaned out our fucking cardos.
And veteran owned, if
otherwise-
I'm not mistaken, right? Or partially veteran owned.
Ratto owns the company all together now. I don't know
Oh,
if
okay.
he's
Yeah.
veteran. And
He's
possibly,
a race car driver.
He's a race car driver.
He's a veteran race car driver.
They're veteran positive.
Yeah.
okay?
Oh,
At the very
absolutely.
least.
100%. So we have another partner in the space, 14er Boulder. You go to 14erboulder.com. You enter done deal at checkout, and anything in your cart, you're going to get 20% off. You want to try the new live resin vape cartridges? The flower's amazing. It really is one of the only places you can get top quality rosin for $20 a gram. So you go to 14erboulder.com. The greatest bags. They're not. I don't know how they make glass, but only plastic,
Yeah.
because they really keep your weed as
That's
fresh as they would
yeah.
be if they were in glass. You go to grovebags.com. You tell your sales rep you heard about it on the show.
I think they're better, fresher than glass. I mean, the thing about glass is it's nice for presentation and to like you're going to smoke it that night, that day, whatever. But
Yeah.
for actually storing it in it and hanging on to it and then coming back to it and being able to, especially in Colorado, unless you got a perfect little microclimate going on, those are going to store way better. Like you can just take that, keep it in there as long as the environment's not crazy extreme. Fucking, I've given these guys weed, and 6 months later they're smoking it and it's still got something going. In Colorado, there's nothing has 6 months. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're lucky if you get 6 weeks
Yeah.
before the shit's just
6
you know,
days.
6 minutes when you're like
Yeah,
roll a
it's
joint.
like-
Oh fuck!
You like roll a joint, you leave the jar open, you come back, you're like,
No.
holy fuck, it's dry, dude. Like that didn't take long at all. So, yep, awesome product, and you can get them all custom made, which obviously
James Bean, man, on the scene.
is he
Is he
here?
here?
Oh, there he is up top.
Right. Whoa! Look at that shirt. That's fuck yeah!
Slide
Look,
in.
are you dancing?
And I gotta pull it down. I gotta-
Wait, put him on full screen.
No, we
Hold
gotta do
on,
Heart
wait.
Attack first. Hold on.
Hold it. There we
Oh,
go.
oh, look at that! Look at that! Logos and everything. Look at
And the hippo.
wow. Good job.
HortitechDirect.com. Tell them you heard about it on the Adam Dunn Show. You'll
Oh yeah,
get 5%
you should be able to slang a
off.
couple of these for us. Go slang a couple of fucking greenhouses.
You
probably
slang
could.
greenhouses?
Go slang
Sure.
slang some
Yeah,
greenhouses.
they're only 30, 40 grand. You sell 2 or 3 before the show's over in a few minutes.
A couple grand for you, a
Right.
couple grand for us. Yeah, we'll make some
Everybody
money.
makes
Everybody
money.
makes money.
HortitechDirect.com. They make a greenhouse for any climate, any environment, anywhere in the country. Just tell them you heard about it on the show. The greatest secondary product if you have an Adam Dunn in your life. which means you have a very messy person who gets rosin globs and is the true definition of shatter back in the day when it would shatter everywhere and it would shatter into the carpet.
Are
onto the
you that
floors.
guy?
That is that guy.
That's
This
okay.
is the cleaning product
That's
you
okay.
need. Terpwipes.com/done.
How about like shag carpet with shatter in it? That is the worst.
Yeah,
Oh,
no.
you knew it was never coming out. There's
You're
never
that
no-
guy
there's
where I hand you your dab because you didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, were you all contaminated?
No, shattering it everywhere.
Oh,
like,
that's the
I've known
worst.
too many. You guys really are a personality type
Yeah,
because
there is.
I've known a couple and I'm
Because
just.
why heat the dab tool at all?
God.
The worst is
Why?
the
Yeah,
worst is when it
Why?
was too cold out. When it was too cold
Don't.
out though, and you went to hit it. You're like,
Yeah.
Sure. Again, why heat the dab tool at all? Why not hold the shatter in your hands? It doesn't become shatter anymore.
I mean,
but
I
anyway,
think we need to bring back the parchment packs. Those are
parchment
messy.
packs,
with the little key envelopes and the little.
Oh yeah.
looking
little
like Coke.
sticker.
little
Tiny,
coquette.
tiny
Yeah.
crappy print sticker at home. That's what I want.
Terpwipes.
I used
to buy the gold
It's
one.
like Sharpies and fucking, Sharpies and fucking.
Oh,
Ziploc.
Sharpies work great. The smell, love it. Doesn't contaminate the hash at all. No.
Great.
Terpwipes.com/done deal.
Numb nuts.
So Adam is in Aspen right
Not
now,
me,
I
Adam.
believe.
Adam
Weiss.
Yes.
You go to numbnuts.
He said he was working on stuff for us.
He's got them. I'm telling you, he does. He wrote. He's got a whole bunch of new products for us.
Ooh.
Numbnutsco.com.
I mean, THC peanut butter is fucking like that's like such a stoner thing. It's so stoner.
It's beyond
It's
stoner.
beyond-
Binds well. It's
Oh,
I mean,
it's
it's a really
perfect.
great fat for it. It
I
protects
know.
it super well.
I know.
And it
Yeah.
pairs with
You-
everything like spoons.
And it-
just
and you
straight
can't
in.
Yeah,
say
it's just
no.
like your
Yeah.
mouth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Couple chocolate chips. You just
Don't even
dip
need
it
'em.
on there.
Yeah, but those are
Oh,
always a good
nobody
addition.
said need.
Yeah.
There's a
Want.
desire, sir.
Desire. That's it right there in those little square containers.
got
But you go to
these out
numbnutsco.com. Done deal at checkout. 20% off any CBD peanut butter.
Some of that
Pet CBD infused.
Yes.
Okay.
Jerome Baker's
infused
glass.
with pets.
So shout out
Random
to,
pets
to
just
Jason
round up and
Harris
put
for
in.
making the show last week for Patreon. Even after going through what he went through, he talked about it on the show. That means you should, if something happens to you, go see a doctor. JeromeBakerGlass.com.
Dream Factory lost it.
Legend.
There you go. He absolute legend.
Legend. He
And
has
still a
some
legend.
crazy
And with
giant
us
pieces of
because we
Vegas.
had good medicine
missing
for him.
Even missing a
Yeah.
toe.
Missing a toe.
And there we go.
He's like-
Nine-toed
he's like
Harris
reverse,
now.
He's like reverse fucking
What?
Jerry now.
Oh yeah, you didn't hear?
No.
He's reverse Jerry.
He was at the Sphere.
Yeah.
He stepped on something. He got a small blisters infection, and it
Yeah.
turned into staph, and
Oh my
they had to take his
God.
toe in Hawaii.
That's how Bob Marley died.
Guys,
Yeah.
where are your shoes?
Holy shit.
And the-
As
no
a
anesthetic.
barefoot lover, I get it.
I know.
He had to
But
put his
holy
foot
shit.
down. They used a hot hatchet. And
Right?
Island style.
Solder.
Island style,
man.
man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Choppy D foot. Oh, wrong foot. Sorry, man.
Bite this pineapple. Like,
do you know this company right here?
I heard
Seeds
about
Here Now.
I
.com,
love that
com.
company.
You do? Could you do the ad? Because this guy
Well, what do
doesn't
you
know
want me to-
anything about them, and he
Right.
wanted
Just
to
he-
know.
they just hired him.
he just
They just
zoomed
hired
I've
in.
this
been
guy.
I've been rocking with Seeds here
Oh.
now for a decade, at least a decade, I think.
That is so me.
Maybe a little more. That's
Dave-
cute.
It's so me.
DJ
I
Dave.
cut Dave
It's not AI at all.
He fucking
No.
hit it up in Tulum.
I like stap you.
This
Oh.
video is AI.
That guy moves better than me, though. That's
No.
not fair.
Yes.
Not a guy.
Isn't that what the kids are saying? They just avoid culpability?
Yes,
Right.
kinda. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's
So
totally
I
not
send
me.
everybody to Seeds here now. You love them.
Do you use the
Yeah.
.com or you just type
Yeah.
the Seeds Here Now and hope that it?
It
It
takes it all
comes
works,
up.
Dave.
If we're
Comes up?
not smart enough to find it just with what I said, then
Then you
you
shouldn't
shouldn't
be-
be getting seeds.
No,
It's
you-
right.
You're not, you need
Well,
James,
let's
you
not
love
go
her,
that
don't
far.
and they
you?
go to clones, right? Yeah, I want clones.com.
I want
You can't grow
clones.com.
seeds.
Clones.
You
Right.
are not the guy.
I want clones.com.
And I just asked Beanie,
Uh-oh.
Oh wait, do you know who
About Jenn
Beanie
Doe?
is?
At Jenn Doe?
and Beanie says,
Wait.
Jenn Doe is a renowned hash maker with 20 years of experience and multiple awards under her belt. She is notably the only woman to have won a High Times Cannabis Cup for hash making. Jen specializes in solventless hash techniques, is passionate about pheno hunting, medicinal applications, and innovating cannabis products and methods. Beyond her craft, she's a pioneer and advocate for cannabis medicine, also known for her personal journey as a patient using cannabis to manage long Lyme disease symptoms. She's not just a hash maker, but she's also a fighter for the right to use and share plant-based medicines. You can find more about her and her story in her work profiles like Leaf Nation and on her LinkedIn page.
Jen, take a motherfucking bow. Holy shit.
No,
Wow, Beanie knew a lot
Thank
more about you
you.
than Beanie.
Yeah.
Just
Adam
said
Dunn
I
is a
grew some-
baseball player.
Said I made some
I read
biscotti
some
cross or
writers.
something.
I done
was
some
like,
shit.
what? Biscotti? No, I know nothing to do with
hold
biscotti.
on. No, I won't do it.
Don't pin that on me. So how's it going?
Good. I just Jen was on. Definitely wanted to type
That's
in
the
and,
Mexico. That's
say
the Mexico
hello
that I
her
meant.
again. Oh, it's
Yes.
her.
Yeah, you figured it
I
out.
figured that
Needs to
out.
come back to Mexico.
I do need to. I'll get there.
If anyone listening wants to sponsor Jenn Doe to Mexico.
Yeah, if anyone wants to
Jenn Doe
sponsor me to
Mexico.
Mexico.
Go.
JenDoeToMexico.com.
Jenn Doe
I
live
was
in
just
Mexico.
I missed you for like a week. I was just in Denver.
Yeah, damn. I know. I saw you were coming. Yep, you missed it. Should have stayed for the conference. It was great.
I've got one
Yeah.
of these going right now.
Nice. Oh, a little double.
barrel. Nice.
Nice.
Locked and loaded.
One's a Deemster. And
I was
one's a
gonna
Nug.
say, right?
Why the hell is
We're
it
in
a
Colorado.
double? No,
You
you're not
have
wrong.
to ask,
Yeah.
what is in this vape pen?
Yes.
It's a
Or this
serious-
gummy.
Yeah.
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 Okay,
not
I
weed.
feel like I'm new. I learned this weekend that there's
And I got two of them
Molly
just in case. I got
gummies.
backup.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you found that guy too?
Yeah.
They haven't
How
really
was
made
that?
it a
It's not.
weight.
It's still no matter what you do,
Yeah.
you can't. It doesn't make sense to make it like you have to chew on it more. Like that's the worst flavor in the world. Like if
Yeah,
you
it's
know
so,
the flavor,
it's so
Yeah.
dumb.
if you know the
my
flavor,
general rule of thumb is suck it up.
Yeah.
Suck it up and take it the way that it was made. You know, just like I don't know. You don't need to do all this extra stuff.
Suck it
well,
up, buttercup.
It's nice if you want to. But
yeah, but
Well,
the
if you're
idea
gonna
of
do-
chewing, as we tried to do that back in 2009.
You got to cover the bad taste.
And with Chris Bliss, and it
I
was
don't
like.
know. It's part of the blessing. The battery.
I was like,
acid.
"This is terrible, dude. I don't want to do this at all. Like,
It's part of the journey.
like, not a good idea."
It's part of your spirit journey.
Yeah, your spirit journey.
Well. So, yeah, you missed out. All the trippy hippies
So
were
back
out
on my
here.
page, if we were still doing my ad, I didn't hear my ads for sale and stuff. I didn't hear my things for
No,
sale.
well,
guys,
Dave,
'cause some of the stuff.
because
What
we
are
don't
you
have.
talking about?
He's trying to get more airtime.
No,
Yeah, you
I
got
know,
to
he
tell
got
me
really
what are the
nervous.
discounts. What
I
are
always
the
get more extra time.
Well, you know, we had
Well, I was just saying,
normally
usually I have a
have
professional
Mark.
there that reads my ads.
Right,
He's
I'm not-
very
I'm just
smart,
a
he's
friend.
very well equipped with my knowledge.
Yes, but he's not here. So it's only Vinny now.
I know that. I know.
And,
so
and Vinny's been
but I
serving.
wanted to give you guys listeners a little inside tip on this month's
Yeah, do it.
Breeder of the Month. and
You're
deal.
on camera right now.
25% off.
You're the best guy.
You're the best.
I know.
The best.
25%
You're the
off?
best.
So here's the deal.
Around.
25% off of the I'm showing you my screen, but you can't see my screen. The Breeder of the Month, who happens to be Breeder X. So who is Breeder X?
Oh, Reader
If we look at Vinny was to
Wait,
get
what does Beanie
Breeder
say?
X and scroll through his page, scroll through the page. Beanie won't tell you. I fucking erased it. So Breeder X is a very well-known breeder, and if you look at the crosses, you'll know what they are. He didn't get paid for doing the second round of this, shall we say, ghost breeding, and so he decided, fuck it, I'm selling it myself.
You know, Mark does
And
your
so
ad
if
much
you
better
look
than
at
you
the
do.
crosses, you will.
Is this like a Jeopardy question?
I'm giving you insight. I'm gonna have-
It is.
Help.
It's like a Jeopardy
Just
question.
don't
Can I
talk
give
about
you
his
inside
shirt.
information?
We don't talk about his shirt. Anything about his clothing.
Dave's the worst. All right. Don't.
If you look at the Breeder X crosses,
What are they? Because we can't see them.
Yeah, can you tell us what some?
We don't have anybody at the keyboard right now, so
Are
nobody's
the
putting
crosses
your
in the
ad
room
up.
with us?
Everyone needs to go to seedsherenow.com and you need to click on Breeder X.
It's all jokers. It's all crossed with like a joker's mail. Gastropop with jokers, Pete Ring with jokers, Father with
There's your
jokers,
hint.
SFVOG with jokers.
Jenn Doe is stumped.
Gastropod.
You have stumped the expert.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go to the website, but
I need to get a call in now. Somebody call in.
25% off though. That's dangerous. I'm gonna spend way too much money. As always.
Whoa.
James, where does Jokers come from?
So
Oh, yeah.
that mail and that line reeks of compound.
There you go. And you just gave it all
So
away.
when
So basically-
Compound got bought by Node, and Node didn't pay the breeder because Compound wasn't doing their own breeding, they outsourced it to somebody,
Inside
and
scoop.
that person didn't get paid, and so this entire line was supposed to go to them, but they didn't pay him for it, so it went to me. So we have
You are the
fuck
fucking
great
greatest,
price,
James.
great gear.
Great price.
Yeah.
Great
Special
price.
price. Special price.
Special
What is it?
price.
Yeah, $68, considering they were selling them for $350 at fucking Emerald Cup. Yeah.
What?
Good.
Seeds are not.
Seedsherenow.com. Done
Oh,
deal
he's
at
back.
checkout.
He's back.
Compound,
He's back.
Compound
Back.
sold apples and bananas, the whole line for $350 to $400 a piece at Emerald Cup.
Fuck them.
That's crazy.
Get them
And
at
didn't pay the
seedsherenow.com for much less.
Muchos less.
Muchos less. And then you know what you do after you do that?
Less.
And you filled your card up at Seeds Here Now? You go to adamdunshow.com and you buy that jacket right there, that cult jacket, and submit, give in to your cult master, Adam.
Yeah, that's it. We
That's
can all.
nice.
I do not own
Nice.
one. And you know what
Where's
you
our
will get?
jackets?
You'll get a free pack of Adam seeds.
That's right.
As well as a free pack of James Loud seeds.
Yeah, he said he was going to give him, so we're going to
Yeah,
make him give
and we'll hold him
You
to
get
that.
some roses for Mr. James.
I don't know if you'll be getting
Yeah,
roses.
I saw that. I
but-
saw that roses thing. What was that about? Was that just like a?
I think it's just a
Marketing.
ruse.
What's the
I
roses
think
thing?
you can't show the plants, you know.
Oh.
That was my guess because
Is
I've never.
it?
You can't grow a rose
Clever
like
marketing.
that. It doesn't grow like
What?
that.
Can't show the plants where?
What?
Everybody's showing plants.
Yeah, everybody shows plants everywhere.
I heard if you go
I
to Jenn
know,
Doe's
I
thing,
know,
it's
but
got
I'm saying
plants all
maybe it's
day,
like
every
a
day.
shtick.
Facebook never got
No,
busted.
people keep reporting
need
my
one of those
shit,
jackets.
man.
I would love one of those
You-
jackets.
They're $59.49
You gotta get
on
back seeds. You
adamdunshow.com.
gotta order them. Yourself. Yeah, there's
Gotta
no-
order 'em.
We don't
Once in a while,
have.
there's a 15%
Come straight
off.
from the Colts.
Wait, you can get them for 15% off? How do you do that?
I don't know. I got mine now. It was a special deal. I got
Special price. 'cause
Yeah, it
you-
was.
Oh, maybe because they know you work.
Cult leader Vinny,
I don't know.
They were like, oh, that's guy.
It worked.
adamdunshow.com.
Anyway, pick up some
And
merch.
then you want to join Patreon, and you get to see a lot of the landlady after the show,
After show
all
antics,
the time.
the after show antics.
Lots of antics. Things just usually
You
go
never
off the
know what
rails.
goes down. on
And my favorite part, no Dave.
that. Oh, maybe this week though he's
No,
hanging
my
around.
puppy's at home alone.
Oh, then you know it's
Yes,
worth
that's
money.
the best part.
It's
You
worth-
get know me, but you know what the best part of it is
Oh.
actually?
See,
you
no
do-
shirts of guests.
You get to follow the Stop that. You get to follow the progression of Adam's garden, which is a real benefit for somebody who is growing week after week, and you want to see what should be happening. You can
Or
follow
not,
along.
Or not.
No, you do pretty well at taking your videos
No, I know.
each
No,
day.
I'm saying, but you could be watching what to do or not. Because sometimes I'm like, oh fuck, I'm doing that all over
Just
again.
look at that.
What is
See,
that?
he's the greatest at AI.
Wow. He spelled it wrong, but that's okay.
You missed
This
an
my
end.
secret
It's
I'm
two
gonna,
ends.
Jenn Doe's hatchmaking plant.
I'm gonna
It's
let
two
it slide.
ends.
It's two ends.
Jenn Doe
ends.
has like she has a massive hatchmaking plant that people don't know about.
It's two ends.
Two ends. Two ends. That's the
ends.
other Jenn Doe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were so close. Just keep your head
That's
in the
the
way.
Jenn Doe that used runts.
Yeah.
Yes, my head's in the way. There's
Lots
two
of
ends
runts.
there.
Yes, of course there is. Just behind your head.
Jenno.
I mean, I really would like one of those if my name's spelled wrong or not. I don't give a shit.
She's like, that's my new fact.
Everybody
That's
needs to
your-
go to
your SEO.
seedsherenow.com
Yeah.
or iwantclothings.com. Enter done deal at checkout. Get taken care of very well.
And next week we're gonna have a big sesh, right? Is that what's going on? I heard something.
You're coming to town again?
No.
Oh.
Oh no,
He's taking over
no!
the
But
show.
next week,
Show takeover.
We have a huge drop. I'm taking over the show. And I've got
Taking over whose show?
Our
very
show.
special guests. One of
show?
them just has
Oh,
a
sweet.
new
Yeah, he's taking over.
freak line.
Yeah. We're gonna talk. Oh, I just gave Jen some
things.
freaking haters.
You guys
Rob.
are gonna have a freak
Yeah.
off on the show.
And
We
Yeah.
don't talk about that out loud. We're
Here-
going to get
here's your-
shadow
here's
banned.
your- here's
Here,
your
you can
show.
have your pack of
Right.
freak.
That's your freaky D's, and that's your
Yeah, especially,
yes.
he could be called as a witness.
And you guys can
We don't know.
trade since the regular season. You can trade back and forth, little
Right.
mails and things.
And then there's a possibility, maybe, Indian Land
Baby
Race will
oil,
be
what?
with us as well.
Oh, Indian Landry, we love him. He doesn't. You know him, of course.
I do.
He's
I've
great.
been.
He says it's
I've
been
been
like
talking
5
to
years
him.
since he's talked to you guys.
I've been talking to him about potentially going out to teach some of the young farmers
puppy's
how to get a
moving
jump on the
around.
hash.
That'd be good. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
So
we'll
are
see.
we doing
Thailand?
Patreon?
We'll
Everyone
see.
wants
It'll
to
be
know.
awesome though.
We doing Patreon?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course.
Sending out links.
Got a
See you in
puppy.
a little while.
See you on the other side.
It'll
You're
be
gonna-
a long
James
break.
Bean's gonna come hang out with us, right? Might as well. You're already sitting there doing nothing else.
Oh yes.
Yeah, you're gonna come and hang out. So there
Next
you
time you come hang out, let me know.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
at like an 8-hour drive.
go. An 8-hour drive.
And a 3-hour tour.
Yeah.
The weather started getting rough. The tiny ship. Thank you, James. Always welcome. Come back on Patreon.
even.
Fill in.
Yes, we'll see you over there. We gotta
Yeah.
make him pay the big money.
I'm
now.
gonna come see you soon.
Oh,
like
yes.
hopefully by the end of the year.
You gonna go to Mexico and smoke the brown frown?
Just because.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't.
We almost
Two
saw
rings.
each other in Mexico, but we
here we go.
missed each other.
You got tags.
Oh, is that Jen's new spot? Nice. Look at that.
Oh,
This
much
is new
better.
spot here in Mexico.
Look at
I missed
that.
it.
Yeah.
She's killing it.
I know.
You're crushing it, James.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
she's,
so much.
all she has to do is show up and it's all hers. So yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
See you guys on
We're
Patreon.
gonna chain you to that one little thing right over there. It's in
I was
Mexico.
actually told in Mexico that I needed to be careful with talking about how to grow weed so much because they were gonna
They'll kidnap
snatch
you
me
like
up and chain me to a fucking pole.
Breaking Bad.
and make
Breaking
me-
Bad.
Hell
Yeah.
Hell yeah, they are. That's
Yeah.
not.
Thank you, Jen, and
Illusion.
thank you, Kate, for coming in. Appreciate it. And
Thank
thank
you,
you,
guys.
Vince Cadlubeck from Meow Wolf and Dr. Josh, who's doing great things in the Denver area for veterans.
And Joe.
And while he didn't
And Joe
come,
Dolce.
and Joe, and while he didn't come on camera, I'm going to thank him all the time because I think one of the reasons that we had a MAPS conference here in Denver was because of that man, Travis Tyler.
That
Fluff.
man was.
It's his. He did it.
all
So
him.
you should follow him on Instagram. He's view_SQ, and ask him questions. He's an activist and he's a proponent of healing and healthy.
He's hiding
He's
in the
saying
woods now.
don't-
He's like,
don't
Oh,
follow him.
He's like,
shh!
don't-
Don't follow him. We'll edit that out in post. Don't
oh,
worry.
don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Don't worry.
Yeah, and his number
Do you,
is
do you need the
here's-
last
And
four
his
of your
number
social here?
is
social
1-900 mushroom.
He's off Instagram.
He's off. Hey, he's
off.
out of there.
He's out of there.
Smart.
Thank you, Vinny, for running the show tonight. Thank you, Mark, for
Thank
wherever
you.
you are. You are missed, and we can't do the show without you. So please come back soon, and I hope everyone's
He
okay.
proves it. Week after
Shut
week.
the fuck up. You have no idea when you're being insensitive, do you?
He's
We had a ton of trouble tonight. Vinny had trouble. He fucked up the ads. Things happened.
I didn't fuck up no.
I know. Just take one for the fucking team, Vinny. Jesus, you ever been in a band before?
no.
You
There
ever
goes the
heard
bus.
critical
Fucking
feedback?
Right?
Oh.
We need you, Mark. We need you, Mark.
Practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums.
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetic modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing.
Me?
Want you to smoke the natural herb.
Sweet.
Some call it marijuana.
Sweet.
Some call it sesame.
Sweet.
Some call it lamb's bread.
The tea.
And some people call it
And good night, everybody.